Hello everybody, welcome to the Grand Prix for Bahrain. The main racing for the titles are decided, Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes, but the dead rubber races are going to be very, very exciting. This is the first of 3 Duel in the Desert races here, Bahrain, Shakir and Abu Dhabi. We've got a lot to play for. Welcome to Duel in the Desert 1. We move away from Turkey, where Lewis Hamilton was crowned a 7-time champion, to the deserts of Bahrain. Welcome to the Bahrain International Circuit for the first of a double back-to-back. This championship has already been wrapped up, but with 3 races to go, there's still a lot to be decided. Bahrain this weekend, Shakir on the outer loop next weekend. 2 weeks' time, the season rounds out in Abu Dhabi. Lewis Hamilton may be the world champion. Valtteri Bottas still just about confirmed in second, with Max Verstappen in third, but the battle over 4th place is still hotting up. Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris, Alexander Albon, Pierre Gasly and Lance Stroll all stand a chance of being in the 4th place position. On the second page, Lance Stroll leads on 59 points, Ocon on 40, Vettel 33, Kvyat, Hülkenberg still in 15th, ties at Alfa Romeo, Raikkonen and Giovinazzi on 4, Grosjean 2, Magnussen 1 and no points for Latifi or Russell. In the Constructors' Championship as well, we see Mercedes leading and the champions are 504 points. But the battle for third hotting up. Racing Point 154, McLaren 149, Renault 136 and Ferrari 130. That battle for third is still there. And of course, Alfa Romeo on 8, Haas on 3, Williams still with no points. It's the 2020 Bahrain Grand Prix and this is the Grand Prix Watch Along here on YouTube. So let's go back in time and take a look what happened in all the sessions leading up to today's Grand Prix. So let's get on to the first practice session then from Shakir. And it was Lewis Hamilton who last time out became a 7-time world champion. Set the fastest time overall from Valtteri Bottas. Sergio Perez, 3rd quickest overall for Racing Point as well. Followed by Carlos Sainz 4th and Pierre Gasly rounding out the top 5. Pirelli running their prototype tyres for 2021 in both Practice 1 and Practice 2 this weekend. We're seeing some interesting times, but FP1 was affected by just a little bit of dampness. It was raining heavily overnight and this morning as well. I know, rain in Bahrain, but however, it was dry enough for the time that Practice 1 started, but time's a little bit off from what we usually see. It was a 1:29.033 from Hamilton in the first session as well. Bottas was 5/10 off as well. Racing Point just ahead of McLaren, Renault, Ferrari as well in the Constructors' Championship. Sergio Perez, 3rd quickest in the session, a 2nd off of Hamilton's time, but Lance Stroll, his teammate, was down in 9th place. Both of them were on the softs. Carlos Sainz, 4th overall. Perez just a little bit off the factor there, so the McLaren Racing Point battle still very close to call. Pierre Gasly was briefly top of the session on the medium compounds, but went down to 5th, rounding them out overall as well. Danny Kvyat, who looks to be out of Formula 1 for 2021, sadly enough, was down the order as well in 17th. Alex Albon 7th, but 7 thousandths off of Verstappen's own time in 6th. That was a great time, and Albon led the session for the majority before everybody set the times on the softs going forward. Renault split by Stroll. Ocon P8 on the softs. Ricciardo P10 with Ocon, as I said, P9 up the order. With Stroll P9 in the order. Ferrari, well, they topped practice 1, 2, 3 and qualifying last year, but they couldn't do it this time as well. Their dreadful season looks to continue as well. So Leclerc ran wide at turn 3 and Vettel having lap times deleted at turn 4 as well. Vettel P12 as well, not good at all, 11th and 12th. Kubica was in it for this session in place of Kimi Raikkonen. Doing well, he was finished his DTM championship. He finished 13th ahead of Giovinazzi 16th, proving that Kubica should really be in the car more often, even with his arm. He's a fantastic driver. Grosjean brought out the first yellow flag of the session, running off at turn 7. Coming down the hill, the car flicked towards the right and skidded across the track and then went backwards. It was very bizarre. Flat spot in the tyres as well, so it looked to be a delamination issue as well with the rear tyre. They are still saying as well. Kevin Magnussen, who is going to stateside next year. Both of Grosjean and Haas in talks with IndyCar. However, Magnussen is going to race with Chip Ganassi in IMSA and looks to also be doing some IndyCar races, so that'd be a delight to see them on the IndyCar roster. Williams rounding out the standings, Latifi P19 and Roy Nassani, who's standing in for George Russell in FP1 as part of his run-outs for the season, was down in 20th place as well. Russell back in FP2. The only interesting thing from Q1 though was a 360 from Verstappen and Grosjean's bizarre incident. Let's take a look at the times then from an uneventful free practice 1. Lewis Hamilton topped the first practice session on a 1:29.033. Valtteri Bottas was second, a 1:29.482. Sergio Perez third, a 1:30 exactly. Fourth place for Carlos Sainz, a 1:30.018. Pierre Gasly in fifth place, a 1:30.049. Max Verstappen was 6th, a 1:32.94. 7 thousandths off that, we see Alexander Albon in P7, a 1:33.02. Drop further down, we see Esteban Ocon in 8th on a 1:33.84. Lance Stroll is 9th on a 1:34.26. And Daniel Ricciardo rounds out in top 10, a 1:35.08. Drop further down, we then see Charles Leclerc 11th on a 1:35.89. Sebastian Vettel 12th on a 1:36.28. Robbie Kubica 13th on a 1:37.32. Romain Grosjean 14th on a 1:38.32. Kevin Magnussen 15th on a 1:30.854. Antonio Giovinazzi 16th on 1:38.96. Danny Kvyat 17th on 1:31.020. Lando Norris 18th on 1:31.392. Nicholas Latifi 19th at 1:34.72 and Roy Nassani is 20th at 1:32.801. Free practice 2 was where it was all at here in Bahrain. Lewis Hamilton, late effort on Mercedes' part, but they got the top spot and third fastest. Verstappen splitting them in second. Perez was fourth, proving that Racing Point does have some speed, with Daniel Ricciardo taking fifth place as well. Some fantastic runs from them this weekend as well. 2 red flags brought out, the first of which was by Alexander Albon, coming into the last corner at turn 14, running wide towards the left-hand side of the track, getting onto the AstroTurf and onto the paint, the metallic paint that's painted, that's covered currently with sand, lost the rear tyre, got spun round towards the right, drifted into the barrier, ripped off the right-hand side of the car and came to a rest back on the track. The red flag brought out immediately. New gearbox, new engine, new tub, basically a new car looking to having to come its way for Alexander Albon. A massive repair job for Red Bull to get it sorted. The session, however, restarted, and then 20 seconds later, out came the red flag straight away. Why? A wild dog had managed to get its way onto the circuit. A beautiful little dog, which thankfully is okay. It left the premises as easy as it came in, which was via a hole in one of the grandstands. But the red flag was brought out immediately as the dog got onto the circuit, and it looked beautiful. Smiling almost, with its tongue out, going through the gravel traps on all fours. Fantastic from that little dog. But that did delay the session, and then it unexpectedly restarted as well. No time from the stewards. Car scooted at the end of the pit lane. Suddenly, the red light turns to a green light, and the session got underway again. When it did, as well, Hamilton was first flying lap, only going off for 6th. He encountered traffic on his second run. With 15 minutes to go, he got comfortably ahead of Verstappen as well. Verstappen unable to improve on a 1:29.318. He said on the mediums early in the session, his best effort on the soft tyres 0.082 slower. The difference between the two tyres marginal in terms of time. Many drivers complain of the softs losing life quickly. Shakir, historically, the rear tyres are destroyed here quite often. Bottas slotted into third, ending up ahead of Racing Point of Sergio Perez as well. And the runner, Daniel Ricciardo, Gasly was 6th AlphaTauri. Rounding out the top 10, Norris 7th, 8th place for Stroll, 9th place for Kvyat, and Albon took the top 10 before he shunt. Esteban Ocon was P11, narrowly ahead of the two Ferraris. Vettel, who on the radio when the dog came out said, "Who let the dogs out? Woof, woof, woof." And if I'd known I was allowed to bring dogs to the circuit, I would have bought mine. But unfortunately, he's in quarantine. He said on the radio. Lewis Hamilton's response to the dog being on the radio as well, saying, "I just hope it's not Roscoe." It wasn't, don't worry. Going further on as well, Giovinazzi was 15th, Magnussen 16th as well. They're changing positions again. Raikkonen ahead of Kubica, 17th fastest as well, tailing over the times. Latifi back in the order as well, and George Russell P20. So the most representable times of this weekend we'll get before qualifying coming in FP2, because FP1 and FP3 take part in the day. It's a bit unreliable to see what times we'll get there. So FP2 was a busy session, and we got some action. Maybe this is the point that people are trying to say. Maybe Bahrain would work as a 2-day event. A practice session in the evening, followed by qualifying, and then the race, because only one session is counted as meaningful track data. Think about it. Night races should be 2-day events. Saying it now here first. So, let's take a look at the times from free practice 2. Lewis Hamilton tops the second practice session as well on a 1:28.971. Max Verstappen is second on a 1:29.318. Valtteri Bottas is third at 1:29.336. Sergio Perez fourth at 1:29.403. Daniel Ricciardo is fifth at 1:29.462. Pierre Gasly sixth at 1:29.551. Lando Norris is seventh at a 1:29.841. Lance Stroll eighth at 1:29.871. Danny Kvyat ninth at 1:29.9. And Alexander Albon crashing out but rounding out the top 10 at 1:30.014. Esteban Ocon is P11 on a 1:30.085. Sebastian Vettel 12th at 1:30.110. Carlos Sainz is 13th on a 1:30.271. Charles Leclerc 14th on a 1:30.407. Antonio Giovinazzi 15th at 1:30.627. Kevin Magnussen is 16th at 1:30.849. Kimi Raikkonen 17th at 1:30.928. Nicholas Latifi 18th at 1:30.973. Romain Grosjean 19th at 1:31.119. And last but not least, in 20th, George Russell on a 1:31.636. So let's get on then to what happened in the third practice session for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Nothing much, actually, sadly, because there was a day session and a night race. So often FP1 and FP3 we don't see much of. However, Max Verstappen had a rear wing issue. It broke and started flapping up at the back, which pushed the floor of the car right down to the ground. They had to come in and repair that. Lewis Hamilton had something wrong with the steering wheel on his car. The FIA still not releasing that, neither are Mercedes, but still Max Verstappen topped the third session, a 1:28.355 overall. He did that with 10 minutes to go of the session. Hamilton and Bottas second and third, with Albon fourth from Sainz wrapping out the top 5. So Mercedes and Red Bull going into trouble, but there still seems to be a lot looking forward for Max Verstappen going into today's qualifying. He could take pole position. Below that, Gasly, Norris, Kvyat, Stroll and Perez round out the top 10. Everyone very much going through the motions today of what was going to be practice 3 going into qualifying. The computer predicting a Verstappen pole position. That could be something as well. But nothing much really happened going forward. It was mainly that Alexander Albon's crash from FP2 has meant that going into FP3, he's had a brand new power unit put in and a brand new survival cell of the monocoque, the tub. So it's brand new going for him as well. So he has got a lot of work to do to get that car ready for qualifying, as in dialing it in and getting the settings right. But it was a pretty uneventful session here for FP3. So let's take a look at the times. So Max Verstappen tops the third practice session, a 1:28.355. Lewis Hamilton is second, a 1:28.618. Valtteri Bottas is third, a 1:28.721. Alexander Albon is fourth, a 1:29.018. Carlos Sainz is fifth, a 1:29.455. Then we get Pierre Gasly 6th at 1:29.472. Lando Norris 7th at 1:29.567. Danny Kvyat is 8th at 1:29.585. Lance Stroll 9th at 1:29.660. And Sergio Perez rounds out the top 10 on a 1:29.672. Daniel Ricciardo is 11th on a 1:29.684. Esteban Ocon P12 on a 1:29.691. Sebastian Vettel 13th at 1:29.859. Antonio Giovinazzi 14th at 1:29.970. Charles Leclerc is 15th on a 1:30.183. George Russell 16th at 1:35.59. Romain Grosjean 17th at 1:36.52. Kevin Magnussen is 18th at 1:37.59. Kimi Räikkönen 19th at 1:38.23. And Nicholas Latifi is 20th at 1:30.917. Let's go through then with the qualifying one report, and we can see that Antonio Giovinazzi, Kimi Räikkönen, Kevin Magnussen, Romain Grosjean and Nicholas Latifi were all eliminated, but Hamilton was fastest. Stroll and Albon were going very, very impressive overall in the complete race run of Quali 1 and Quali 2. Impressive pace for qualifying for Mercedes, demonstrating why they're still already the ones to beat coming into this weekend after winning the championship. The junior driver of George Russell of Mercedes was at Williams. Great form as usual, got out in Q1, the first out of the zone, and went up into Q2 until unfortunately Latifi was eliminated, so only one Williams making it through. As you can see, I'm not in a Williams shirt. Further down as well, Stroll made some setup changes between the final practice and qualifying, enabled him to go through. Albon looked strong, having put yesterday's accident behind him in the crash in free practice 2. So, on to qualifying 2. Ferrari failed to make the cut. So, both Vettel and Leclerc were eliminated. Stroll, Russell and Sainz falling down as well. Sainz in the McLaren being eliminated. Who would have thought that? He starts 15th on the grid as well. After the rear tyres locked up coming into turn 1 and the car couldn't move. So that triggered a red flag while a crane came onto the track to recover it. The only red flag we saw off the session. My fault as well, with the commentator's curse saying just a second before we hadn't had a red flag, all of a sudden Sainz locks up in spinners. I put my hands up to that one. Gasly can only go 10th fastest as well with his final time. Both Ferraris, however, of Vettel and Leclerc, plus Lance Stroll, the pole sitter last time out, failing to make it through to the last part of qualifying as well. Into the last part of quality then. Q3, Hamilton on top. Well done, Lewis. Absolutely fantastic, getting ahead of Bottas, but Red Bull just behind. It's going to be a very strong race day. Let's take a look then at the grid for the Bahrain Grand Prix. So here's the grid then for the Grand Prix of Bahrain. A Mercedes front row, Lewis Hamilton on pole position, alongside him is Valtteri Bottas. Max Verstappen starts third on the second row with Alexander Albon. Row 3, Sergio Perez and Daniel Ricciardo. Row 4, Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly. The fifth row, Lando Norris alongside Danny Kvyat. Row 6, the two Ferraris of Sebastian Vettel alongside Charles Leclerc. Drop further down, we see on row 7, Lance Stroll and George Russell. Row 8, Carlos Sainz and Antonio Giovinazzi, who's had a seal broken on his car for the gearbox as well. So watch out for that. That could trigger him a 5-place grid penalty when the final grid is revealed in around about 3 minutes' time. We'll update you for that in the live. Going further down, we'll see Kimi Räikkönen and Kevin Magnussen, Romain Grosjean and Nicholas Latifi on the 10th row in 20th place. All of the teams have got a free runner strategy from 11 below. We expect them to start on the soft compound tyre to go to a medium and then a hard if the safety car comes out. Megan's predicting a one-stop. But we're treacherous here at the weekend. She is expecting a 2-stopper if the safety car comes out. The top 10 are starting on the medium tyre. They can run longer into the stint. Expect a pit stop around about lap 19 to 21, she says. So it's going to be a great, great race. We can't wait to get started. Megan Birch and Ian Birch about to join me in the commentary box to take you through the Grand Prix as well. So let's take a look at lap attack at the Bahrain International Circuit. Let's take a look around the Shakir circuit, the Bahrain International Circuit, 3.362 miles, 15 turns, 3 DRS zones, and an elevation change high at 40 meters. It is the trickiest circuit on the calendar in terms of constant time. Start the lap now. Already in 8th gear, flat out on the overtake button. Maximum fuel usage as you hit the first real heavy braking zone on the track. Down to 2nd gear for the right-handed turn 2. Left as well, up the hill towards turn number 4. Open up the DRS zone for the first time. Now, swoop round turn number 4. Now, don't go for the apex all the time. Let the car drift out as you get the better run through 5, 6 and 7. Jump the curves a little bit into the braking zone 9 of turn 8. Really heavy. Really put the power down through 2nd gear. Now, turns 9 and 10. The trickiest corners of the track. A double left whilst braking. Turn 10. Hardest to crack. Go for the outside wider line. You get a straighter one for the 2nd DRS detection point on the run down the national straight towards turn number 11. Flick the car into the left. Put the power down mid-apex to drift you out wide through 12 and into turn 13, my favourite part of the track. Get too much on the curves, the car will spin you round. Into 14 now, quick flick to the left before opening up the DRS once again. And straight down now, under the sand dunes as well, into turn number 15 and 16. The really 2 last braking points on the track. Flick the car into the left. The little corner there counts as the last corner. Flat out to the line, DRS open again in the first zone. And that is a lap of the Bahrain International Circuit. And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome up to the commentary box for the watch-along coverage. Joshua Birch alongside Ian Birch and Megan Birch in the commentary box. Welcome you two. We're in for an interesting duel in the desert today. Anything can happen, and it usually does. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Hello. Strong surface for this race. It comes from Shropshire.
It does, right in the heart, and the tarmac is abrasive. And Megan, we saw yesterday in qualifying, it's tricky to switch the tyres on today.
Yes, and it's also a night race, which should be exciting.
The first of 3.
So the tyres will be cooler.
And it is the first of 3 night races in a row we get.
Everybody's expecting a two pit stop race.
A 2-stop race seems to be the more likely. Going forward as well, it's possible.
I will predict that one of them,
yeah,
I'm not sure who it is at the moment, will try and take that. One of the minor teams,
yeah,
right, or even Red Bull will try and take that to 2/3 into the race before trying to changing their tyres.
Everybody at least has one set of hard compounds. Some
it's going to be very
2.
hard to do here, but if you are a midfield team or a lower team, if you want to be more points, you've got to do something different. Red Bull have often done it in the past, and you never know. Someone might try it here. Personally, I don't think they'll get more than halfway. Do you, Meg?
No, and I personally think that at least one person will crash.
Oh, well, there's a 4 safety car streak.
One of the things here that's, let's talk about Alex's crash in practice. He did push, but it's because he thought he was on paint, and he wasn't.
Hit the sand dunes in a way, didn't it?
Yeah,
just
because
spat him off into the wall. Yeah,
the yellow part of the off track is actually yellow artificial grass.
Yes, yeah,
and that's what caused that crash.
We are almost set to go for this Grand Prix. We're just having a flashback of what's happened throughout the year. From Austria to Bahrain, we're into the last 3 of the triple headers. 2 races in Bahrain. The next weekend is the Shakir circuit on the outer loop. Then we get Abu Dhabi. It's been a crazy year, crazy races, different winners, different podiums. 10 drivers have been on the podium. Big, massive pile-ups. A boring race in Russia, and then balmy races in the previous 4s. We visited the Eiffel Grand Prix, the Portuguese Grand Prix, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, and last time out at Turkey had to be contender for Race of the Year, and it was everyone slipping and sliding. Today, it looks to be a different type of challenge, you two, because it may be a night race, but as you picked up on, it is a important venue because it's a night race. The conditions are much cooler than what we're used to in the desert.
Which doesn't give you as much grip, and also if you can't get enough speed up because you don't feel you've got enough grip, that reduces your downforce, and it needs to be a downforce track. In fact, many of them in practice looked like they'd got that wrong. The titanium blocks were working even, they were spectacular even before. So there was like Verstappen. I was thinking of the Red Bull.
Yeah. So we're just getting ready to welcome our radio listeners. If you're watching on here on YouTube, the FOM intro is on. So when we will go quiet, when it fades into the World Feed pictures, you can sync up. Sit back and enjoy the Bahrain Grand Prix. Wonderful desert racing for the last 3 races of 2020. Formula One makes its first stop in the Gulf era for the Bahrain Grand Prix. The Bahrain International Circuit in Sharjah hosts the 15th round of this COVID-effective season. However, we may have the champions crowned in both the drivers with Lewis Hamilton and constructors for Mercedes. The fight is still on to see who will finish 4th in the Drivers' Championship and who finishes that all-important 3rd in the constructors. The circuit is close to the Mountain of Smoke, which is the highest point in Bahrain, 134 metres, that's 440 foot above sea level. Around this circuit, though, which is just 3.363 miles, they'll only go as high as 40, and up towards turn 4, the highest elevation gradually changes up towards the back half before you fall down the sand dunes of turn 6, 7 and 8 into the middle half of the sector. But they have to negotiate turn 1 first of all. Ferrari last year, Vettel on a fight back after spinning with Hamilton. Leclerc was easy to make him go through around the outside, and this is why Vettel was on a fight back. While overtaking happened with Hamilton under the acceleration, Verstappen and Vettel had both accidents. FP2 was Verstappen spinning, and in the race, Vettel did it. And it was a similar situation at turn 11, although Giovinazzi tagging the back of Danny Kvyat last year for the Grand Prix. Moving further on, here's the tyre compounds for this weekend's race. And this is an important factor. The soft tyre, the C4. The medium tyre is the C3. The hard is the C2. The hard is 1.2 seconds per lap slower. The medium is 0.6 a lap slower. But we predict that it's going to be a 2-stop race. So watch out for the hard tyre. Here's the starting grid. Once again, for the 98th time in his career, Lewis Hamilton is on pole position. Valtteri Bottas alongside. It's 2 by 2 in the desert with Red Bull behind Max Verstappen with Alexander Albon on row 2. The third row sees Sergio Perez alongside Daniel Ricciardo. The fourth row, Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly. Gasly finished 4th here last year. Previously, it was his highest result before winning in Monza this season. The fifth row sees Lando Norris alongside Danny Kvyat. Ferrari both failing to get through to qualifying 3. They're punished with the 6th row start. Vettel ahead of Leclerc. Then on row 7, Lance Stroll alongside George Russell starting 14th, back to Q2. Carlos Sainz retired from Q2, finishing in 15th place. The rear's locking. He's alongside Antonio Giovinazzi. The 9th row of the grid sees Kimi Raikkonen in 17th alongside Kevin Magnussen. And the 10th and last row, Romain Grosjean, a poor qualifying for him in the Haas, alongside Nicholas Latifi, who just can't get to grips with the circuits. Alongside me in the commentary box is Ian Burge and Megan Burge. And as we've said today, this is going for something a bit different, isn't it? Because Lewis Hamilton has broken most wins, most podium finishes, and all the time wins in Formula One. He's had a hell of a season. He's the greatest of all time. But the question is, can he end this season on a high after winning a title? History proves he tends to fall off the peak at this point.
I don't think he will. I think he learned from Nico the season when Nico won the last few races, then went on to win the title the next season. I don't think Lewis is going to be that daft anymore.
I agree. Megan?
I don't think Lewis will want to stop his streak because I think he wants to get to 100 podiums.
You lose that momentum, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, you lose the momentum once you realise that your big goal's gone. I mean, he was playing a tennis match with his father during the two-week break, and he lost it, yeah. Here's the starting tyres just quickly. The top 11 starting on the mediums, although Vettel's will be brand new. Leclerc going on the hard tyre, the same as Grosjean and Latifi. The only driver to start on softs is Carlos Sainz, so he'll have some quick race pace already as we get 15 seconds until the parade lap.
Yeah, going back to the tennis match between him and his dad, it was a typical dad thing, like me, the little drop shot over the net that, and Lewis wasn't ready for it. He's a much better driver than he is a tennis player.
He has to lose something.
He does.
Yeah.
Maybe he's good at tennis, and he was playing the piano last night on his Instagram Live. So he was good there. Megan, the predicted pit stop strategy, you were saying a one-stopper for the mediums to lap 20 to 30 to put on the hards, but you think a two-stopper laps 16 to 26 and then 34 to 44 to put the softs on. Do you think that's a good strategy call or not?
It would make sense since they're quite half-distancey throughout.
Just about, yeah.
I can't see Carlos Sainz because he hasn't got any putting the others on, so I think he'll have to put the hards on.
Yeah.
And I think that is the strategy change. I think McLaren might put Sainz as far into the race on the starting set of tyres as they possibly can, so reducing the amount of time he's on the hards.
He's got 3 brand new set of soft compound tyres. So as you say, Sainz is in a great position. But as you say, late into the race to try and get back up and put the hards on. You're absolutely
the only
correct.
thing you can say for Carlos is that he changes his tyres when he wants to.
Yeah.
And then if there's a safety car, he jumps in and changes them to softs.
So we're on the formation lap now, and it all seems quite perfectly normal. I can see the Red Bulls both trying to warm up their tyres after the disasters of what happened yesterday in both free practice 3 and qualifying, especially for Alexander Albon.
Yeah, just backing up on the back straight away to try and desperately get some clean air and keep the tyres as hot as possible. Down to the tricky part of turn 9. The previous winners, well, Hamilton's won here 15 and 19. Vettel won 17 and 18 with fantastic battles with both Hamilton and with Valtteri Bottas. But Rosberg won in 2015 as well, the last year. So he did. Going forward, he retired in 2016. Yeah,
he retired according to thingy as to become an eco warrior.
He's racing in the Extreme E Series with Lewis Hamilton on the same team. So the fight is
also,
almost on.
Our girl, Chadwick.
Jamie Chadwick is driving.
Jamie's going to drive Formula Extreme E.
Yeah. Jamie's joining the Formula E Series as well because Formula E and Extreme E have teamed up for global partnerships. We're coming on to the start-finish straight. As I said, it's unusual here as well because it's a late start. It's 2:10 UK time. Next weekend, the race gets underway at 5:10 UK time. So they've got a unique situation here that they are completely racing under the night. Usually with this Bahrain Grand Prix, it's a twilight affair. So where they have to deal with the sun setting into turn 1. They don't this time.
The reason the track is so expensive and abrasive with the Shropshire stone is because of the fact that they felt that the sand off the desert, which often blew in sandstorms across the track, would make the track slippery. So they gave them the most abrasive surface they possibly could, which is we really haven't had a sandstorm here for about 5 years, have we?
No, not in terms of a race that's been affected. We've had snow affect it as well. So, Nicholas Latifi lines up at the back of the grid. The Bahrain Grand Prix has been won from pole position 6 times. It's been won from the front row 10. Who will be the winner today? 5 red lights on. It's lights, camera, action in Bahrain. Great start from Hamilton. The 2 Red Bulls slow away. Already, look at Danny Ricciardo having to look midfield. But in the second phase of the start, Bottas has fallen away. It's Perez up to second. Albon fighting with Bottas. Verstappen is also caused up in the middle. They all get through cleanly, but Bottas, a terrible start. All round up the hill now. And we've got an accident too. That's a big one. How? Big accident. Oh, big one. Oh, my word.
Sorry. That is horrible.
Red flag, race stopped.
The car is there. It is not. It's not what it looks like.
The car's exploded. Okay,
the car has exploded. Hopefully, who was it?
I think it's Romain Grosjean,
it's Grosjean
in the Haas car.
I can see his car on the tracker.
Apologies for the language, but if you saw that's horrible.
It's not as. I hope it's. I saw the car. The car. I think it's just the rear of the car that exploded. Hopefully Grosjean's okay.
The cars, remember, are under load a lot. You can push them around with your hand at this acceleration, and immediately the pace.
Who went off on the other side?
Grosjean is off. Russell's gone wide. Kvyat too. They're all still circulating, but it's Romain Grosjean who has gone into the wall, and the red flag has been called out immediately.
And
that is a horrible start.
We're not seeing the scene. So
no, we're
that
not.
is worrying.
Yes, so
I think there was 3 cars involved, and I
thought one go off from the other. And before I saw Vettel, and I think it was either Albon or Verstappen, collide a tiny bit, and
We've got a McLaren with a broken wing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to pick up on. I saw Carlos Sainz collect one of the racing points midfield. I think it was Stroll, and that's why I said big accident. And I think Grosjean took avoiding action and then just slammed into the wall.
I've never seen one of these cars explode in a crash like that before.
That car absolutely exploded.
That was like something you see in a race.
And
the curse of Megan.
No.
Megan said there would be a crash.
Okay, the red flag is out immediately.
It's awful, this.
So we'll come.
The fact that we're not seeing the vehicle.
Yes, we'll bring it down.
Is worrying.
We'll bring this down. So just to confirm, Romain Grosjean has hit the wall hard coming up through turn 3. He's smashed into the wall. The car has exploded visually in front of us. It caused a very human reaction with us all here in the commentary box. The race immediately has been red flagged. So the cars are coming into the pit lane.
Unimportant if the lad's really badly
There's
injured.
debris on the pit lane
We
track.
must point out as well, for anybody watching,
And it's gone.
we must point out that these cars are the safest in Formula 1 history, and all the drivers do wear fireproof overalls, fireproof underwear, fireproof leotards. They are completely fireproof.
In IndyCar, they actually have air pumped into the back of the helmet now, just in case of something like this.
So the red flag's out.
The red flag is out, and there's concern
of course
all around the paddock because that was such a dramatic incident.
It was a horrible accident, that one.
I do apologise for my reaction. But
I think you are completely understandable. That was a human reaction.
You know.
And he's okay!
He's okay. There he is.
Oh.
That's all that matters.
Romain Grosjean is out of the car, conscious, sitting in the back of the medical car, helmet off, and he's okay.
He looks shaken up and he's sweating.
Oh.
And he actually looks like he's got a swelling to the face, so hopefully that's not a burn.
Yes, that looks, it would be immediately on the medical. So that is a violent accident. The race has been stopped. It will be restarted on the opening lap, but immediately, as soon as the lights went out, we saw Sainz get a front wing damage. He touched one of the racing points, and then all of a sudden, a car flies into the wall, and I saw the red flag had come out. I was thinking, what on earth is going on? And then the picture caps up as Grosjean slams into the wall, and the car explodes.
I know that Roman's children actually watch the race.
So if you,
that sight of their dad in the medical car was just so brilliant for them.
And, of course, it reminds me, of course, of Ken Miles' son, who tragically was... first of all, he watched him crash while testing the Ford GT40 at the America base, and it crashed and exploded, and he watched him and thought his dad had died. And then, tragically, after the Le Mans race, while testing at Willow Springs Raceway, the car had a failure, crashed, and caught fire, and unfortunately, he did watch his father die.
Charles Leclerc just heard the news that he's okay.
Yeah. So
we just see the relief on his face.
If you're just joining us here for the Bahrain Grand Prix, the race has been stopped on the opening lap after a horrific fireball accident for Romain Grosjean.
His hands.
Yeah. Okay. So they're just cleaning him, but
no. Look.
He's being gingerly.
They have got him out of the fire by the look of it. He's all smoked.
Well, Romain Grosjean has got smoke on his overalls. He's got the fireproof. Has got the extinguisher on. So remember also, these cars have extinguishers inside them. And, well, that is good news that the medical ambulance is being brought back, but has not got anybody on the trolley. But Romain Grosjean is being helped by... He's being helped by Dr. Ian Roberts. But Grosjean is awake, conscious, walking, but no doubt dazed. I would like to see a replay of how this happened now that we know that everybody is okay. And, of course, we hope all the marshals are also okay.
I've just seen the car. It's destroyed completely.
It looks to be destroyed.
I can see the relief on all the drivers' faces that he's okay.
It's concern and worry for their friend.
I've never seen a Formula 1 car explode on impact, not since the 70s.
No, I haven't.
In fact, I haven't seen one since Berger.
I think Berger was the one I was thinking of.
The moment he hit into that piece of debris, it just
exploded.
Wasn't that in Turkey?
Something
we
exploded
had a fire
at the
in
back.
Turkey,
Yeah, we had a fire in Turkey.
What's
and
at the back?
Verstappen and
engine and fuel line.
Max's dad in the pit lane. I remember that. That was dramatic.
Yeah.
The fuel, because that's when we had refueling, and the fuel nozzle was leaking, and it leaked down, and all of a sudden the car was engulfed in flames. And if you look at Max's dad, just round the eyes. Now, did you see that? Right.
What?
Valtteri Bottas is literally shaking.
Yes, I did actually, because I was thinking the same thing.
He had
'cause I was
tears in his
shaking, yeah.
eyes.
He did have tears, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a shocking thing to see. Sebastian Vettel's just taking it, and it does take the wind out of you seeing this.
What it reminds them, it reminds them that what
just
they're doing
staring.
is dangerous.
Yeah.
He's just
Now,
staring into space.
I'm
shocked.
concerned that
So the race
I'm
has been
concerned
stopped,
that although we've got him
Yeah.
out alive, right? He did look
Dazed,
quite
yeah.
dazed, quite concussed.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would like to see a replay. The fact that we're not seeing a replay is affecting our broadcasting standards because we don't know what to call. All we saw effectively was Grosjean hurting towards the barrier.
Lewis, very religious. He looked like he was
Yeah, he's
deep
looking
in
above there.
thought there. That's understandable.
Yeah,
We're all a bit shook up.
I'm still shaking. I honestly saw that and I thought, we've just seen a fatality. Thank
Honestly-
God everyone's okay.
Honestly, I'm
Yeah.
still a bit shaken up. We're
It
still.
was-
Well, until they
that was
got
scary,
him
yeah.
out the car, everyone thought the same.
I think everybody shared the same thought there of what just happened.
Thankfully,
Yeah.
This is really bad for Roman.
He might miss next weekend if he's concussed. The 21-day rule.
Yeah,
He might.
because the 20,
yeah.
20 this
I
might
think he'll
this
miss
might
rest
be
of
his
the
last
season.
leg, and if
Okay.
his wife probably insists this is his last race.
Okay, we're taking a look at the start once again. A great start from Hamilton. Bottas bogged down on the first start. Then look at Verstappen going up into second. Albon is now challenging. Ricciardo's on the outside. Now, let's cut further back. The two... Yeah, look, it's Haas and Grosjean. So look, it's Vettel hitting Leclerc. That forces the racing point off the track. And what happens is Grosjean gets on the dust... Oh, and that just caught fire massively. It hit the Amco barrier. The front of the car was ripped apart.
And the front of the car was also on fire.
The-
Why is
wow,
that?
let's take a look. So it's
did he
Kvyat.
survive?
Grosjean cut across to the middle, hit Kvyat, and Grosjean went direct. So it's Raikkonen off the track. Grosjean cuts across the middle of the track and goes full speed into the Amco barrier. Debris everywhere. The car explodes, but the front half of the car and the back has been completely separated. Grosjean got himself out of the burning flame and jumped over the barrier with Dr. Ian Roberts helping him out.
How dramatic.
I'd just like to point out, Romain Grosjean went through the Armco barrier. He went through it, directly through it.
He jumped through flames as well.
Can I just point out, without...
There's some cuts to
yeah,
his,
he's cut to the
his
face.
suit.
Yeah,
There's some cuts to his suit. He looks pretty much
that's
dazed but okay.
Look, the
But
car
look
was
at
ripped in
that.
half.
His
Now,
seat
how is
part.
that possible?
How is he still alive? His seat was literally ripped from the back of the car.
I've not seen that bad of accident since the footwork in Monaco 1990 with, I forget the driver, but everybody clapping and applauding that he's okay. If it wasn't for the halo, Romain Grosjean would have just been killed.
He
That
would've.
car, the front half of the car has been separated from the back of the engine
Also,
and it went through the barrier.
Also, the most worrying thing there is that the front of the car was absolutely engulfed in flames.
Yeah. I'd just like to
Totally
point out as well that the Armco barrier, all of it, has been completely destroyed. So we're in for a very lengthy red flag period.
Now, we do know that the engine section
Yes.
and gearbox comes off the car.
It's
We
designed
had
as a
that-
safety cell.
We
yeah.
had that with Grosjean when his car was hanging off on the fencing.
Yeah, back in Monaco,
and
yeah.
it was just a
Look
simple
at-
case.
Look at that. It's complete. So there's the rear half of the Haas car.
It's melted
That
it.
the engine half and the gearbox, that's on the engine, all ripped off. The front half has
Well,
gone through the Armco.
I hope you like talking because that is going to take an awful long time.
Well, the race has been stopped on lap 1, so it will be a complete restart to this Grand Prix.
I won't even
but
restart it.
This race might just be called off and done tomorrow. And
I
look,
would.
there's a wheel that's ended up on the other side, past the little reservoir on the track. That is the most dramatic Formula One crash I have ever seen in my life. And for a driver to walk away from a destroyed car, been ripped in half, engulfed in
Oh
flames, and literally, Grosjean, I'm seeing the cockpit of the car now, engulfed in the barrier. The halo, the car's gone in sideways. The barrier's come onto his head. Grosjean has got out of that alive. I'm seeing the front of the car
Looking at that,
deep in the middle of the barrier.
I'm sorry, but looking at that, I would say that but looking at that, that his seat was ripped out of the car, and that is the only reason we haven't lost him.
I think the seat was out. A bit of Gilles Villeneuve when his seat was thrown.
If he was in that front bit that was on fire, which we know from the other shot is still there, this car has broken into 3.
I'm amazed. It has.
How has that happened?
I've no idea, but I tell you what,
this car has broken into 3.
I'm amazed. I am honestly astounded and very much relieved to tell you that Romain Grosjean is alive. I cannot believe that. That, for me...
Michael Massey there.
For me, without the halo, he would have died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I don't know. I think the halo... From what I've seen of the debris, the halo is still on the front of the car.
The halo is still on the car, look. Look, it's just there, look. He's ended up right in the middle of the barrier.
It's one of
That's
the
not
only
the
things
front
that
of the car.
survived.
The front of the car's here.
Yeah, no, look, there's the front of the car in the barrier. The safety cell has come apart and has flown him into the barrier. So how on earth he survived? I've no idea. He went full throttle. That's that part of the track. It's 192 miles an hour, full throttle, into the Armco. There needs to be tyres there.
Actually,
Yeah.
Alex is there, and Alex's crash on Friday
Look, it's
wasn't as dramatic as this, but virtually was the same thing.
It got on the dust as well. And, of course, Kvyat touched the back of Grosjean as well. And, well, we're in for an enormous delay here.
As you said, he's actually gone through that barrier.
Let's take another look at it. We're back with the start again. So forget the front lot, which we see from Hamilton and Bottas. A great start from Ricciardo. Unfortunately, that's been neutralised effectively. But watch the back. Watch the Ferraris. So Vettel and Leclerc. Leclerc's had a bad start. Vettel's had a better start. They come together at turn 2. That kicks off the chain event. So that's Raikkonen getting a puncher, cutting off Sainz.
Stroll was involved as well.
Stroll goes across the track. Leclerc's caught up with the Ferrari. Grosjean just comes to the inside.
He clips
Kvyat. Doesn't know he's there. Doesn't know he's there, and all of a sudden, he's heading towards the barrier.
Can I just
car goes through and explodes everywhere.
Can I just say, I think, by the look of that, he had no steering.
He didn't, no. I don't think he did have steering. Let's take a look. So that's Magnussen going through. Kvyat keeps on the throttle. Grosjean's just alongside him. So we've got Raikkonen off the track, 3 cars abreast. Magnussen goes to avoid. So does Grosjean, and Grosjean hits the side. I think you're right. I think he had no steering to get back that slide.
Yeah.
You can even see...
Let's take a look. So look, there. He just dives out behind Magnussen and just straight into the barrier and engulfs in flames.
May I just say, that could have been so much worse because, luckily, Kvyat managed to step away from that because he nearly went into it himself as well.
We're going to see on board with Romain Grosjean now. So everyone...
You can see him looking back as well.
Grosjean gets a good start, lunges up now towards the back half. Magnussen's in front of him with Kimi Raikkonen. There's Danny Kvyat just ahead of him. So Kvyat drops behind Grosjean now at turn 2. All mayhem going off. Stroll's off the track. Sainz is moving around everywhere. Raikkonen goes onto the dust. Grosjean's got nowhere to go because Magnussen's in the middle part. He comes over, collects him, and now we lose the picture as he hits the barrier.
Can I just say...
And he gets out of that. He was in the middle of a ball of flame, and he got out of that.
He was turning that car to the left, and yet the left-hand wheel wasn't turning.
No, it wasn't. And
he
jumped out as well. Yeah. So we are under a red flag.
Was he on fire?
I think he was on fire.
You've got to cool him down because he's been in those flames. He could have
the helmet's
minor
melted.
burns, if not. Look at that.
The helmet is melted.
It's where?
At the top half. So how?
Where his eyes are, but we've seen his eyes. They're fine.
He looks like he's been taken to the hospital, obviously. And that accident, all 4 tyres locked up. And as soon as he hit it, I think he ruptured a fuel line. We've got tears in the Haas mechanics as that happened as well. And luckily, Romain Grosjean, conscious, okay, dazed, obviously. But honestly, I'll tell you what, the racing gods and whatever god as well, any of our viewers believe in, they had their hands over the Formula 1 paddock today.
How did you know, Megan? You said that you feared that there would be a big accident here.
I don't know. I just got a bad feeling when I woke up this morning.
Well, I had that feeling back in Turkey. Nothing happened, and then it must be the premonition for this weekend.
Thank you. Thankfully, nothing happened then.
When I woke up, I just felt so...
We have
I
an
felt like someone just punched my gut.
We have an
Yeah.
update. Roman has some minor burns on his hands and ankles,
I
but
said his hands.
but otherwise
okay.
he is okay. He is with the doctors now. That's from the Haas F1 team.
That's
so
fantastic.
he has burns on his hands and his ankles, minor, but he is okay. That is the best news. So now we must turn our attention to this
and that
Grand Prix.
young man,
Yes.
he thought he'd lost another Frenchman just then, and can you imagine? He's
Look at that.
after the tragedies he's had. Right now, we're going to cut the Armco barrier completely off.
They're going to put some
sides.
tyres alongside as well.
And if this was a European track, all that would be saved.
Yeah.
Because there'll be any things. I don't know whether or not.
I think this time
Bahrain
Michael,
are very much, the
Yeah.
leader, the ruler of Bahrain was brought up in England.
I think this
public
time
school.
it has to be done.
A lot of things a lot of things in this country that we can't talk about are things,
Yeah.
but he is very much into Britishness.
Yeah.
So they're just- look at that.
Soldiers that march,
Yeah.
medals, and
I think they'll have to preserve the crime scene for this one because it is
Yeah.
a very serious accident, and we need to
well,
understand
the
why
FIA
that car.
do.
We need to understand why it engulfed in
Rather than
flames.
crime,
Yes.
I know what you mean by crime scene, but I think the FIA will need to know why that car came through that barrier.
Also, why did it engulf in flames? Especially, it didn't even engulf in flames at the back.
You're right. Yeah, it ripped up at just the front. So that's where the fuel line is as well, just alongside the car. So that is the scariest accident I think I've ever seen in Formula One. Not since Berger, I don't think.
There's a lot of discussion going on there as
I think
to
that-
how this
yeah.
has happened. That the car has actually gone into looks like 3 different pieces.
Just to confirm, because people are just joining us and are asking what happened in the chat, that we have a red flag on lap 1 because Romain Grosjean veered off the track at high speed at 190 miles an hour on the opening lap after being tangled with Danny Kvyat. Smashed into the Armco barrier at 190 miles an hour. The car split off into 3 parts, burst into flames, and the race immediately was red flagged. Grosjean somehow managed to get out of the car under his own power. He's been taken to the medical centre. He has minor burns to his arms, his hands and his ankles, but he's okay. The car has gone through the Armco barrier. If it wasn't for the halo, he would have been unconscious and trapped in, and we would have probably lost him. The race has been red
Thankfully,
flagged.
all that hasn't happened.
Yeah,
and-
he is okay.
But what I do say is the mentality of these drivers, will it be
Yeah.
affected by what they saw? There is a number of drivers there that are in shock. Valtteri Bottas was shaking.
The adrenaline running, and then you've got to expect
I
it
know
to,
people say get on your bike and do it again.
this is going to be tricky.
And I know, they did when Senna died.
Hold on.
Yeah, Megan.
Can I just say, look at that.
So,
The
okay,
entire side of his car has crashed into his side.
the engine split in 2.
Lance Stroll there worrying about the safety of his drivers, and one of them his
His
own
son.
son.
I think
engine.
the reason it caught fire, it looks like the engine on the back was
It's
split
ripped
in
off,
half.
and
yeah,
ripped off,
and it spilled the fuel
one-
everywhere.
The,
Do you
f- the
think-
fuel cell,
And the battery.
didn't.
Yeah.
You'd have to drop a crane on it to break it,
I
but
think-
the impact
Jean,
might have been that bad.
Jean Todt has just walked down and has hugged and congratulated Dr. Ian Roberts. And I think Dr. Ian Roberts deserves a medal because he went there and immediately was on assistance to help with Grosjean despite the massive fire.
Well, he was there that quick. Whereabouts was this? It was
turn 1.
It's it
Turn,
was
just coming out
there.
turn 3, yeah. So
It was
yeah.
there, so because the medical car was set there. Mind you, was the medical car following? Because
Medical
it's
car
on
was
first
following.
lap.
Yeah, the medical car was following.
Because it's so dramatic that scene where you saw Roman leaping over the barrier and was being caught by the driver of the medical car, who is
Dr. Ian Roberts and Calvin van der Linde.
Van der Linde. Van der Linde, it was clearly Van der Linde who was
Yeah.
catching him.
We have a delay of a minimum 45 minutes, we've been told
Mind
by
you,
the
it said
stewards.
medical delegate, so it could have been the doctor.
Could have been the doctor, yeah.
'Cause
That would have
he's
been
a
Dr.
fit-
Ian Roberts.
He is a
yeah.
fit man.
So we're going to hear from
Despite
Gunter
the fact being a
Steiner.
bit chubby.
We're just 2 seconds, Megan.
The latest what I've got, he's doing okay. Obviously, he didn't have any deep medical. I don't want to make a medical comment here, but he had light burns on his hands and his ankles where the glove is with the overall, but it's light stuff. So obviously he's shaking, and for sure he's going through all the checks which you need to do after an impact like this. But he's conscious. He's fine. But I didn't have any direct contact with him, just with the people there. So he seems to be okay.
So we can't broadcast him all, but that was Gunther Steiner talking, saying he's okay.
I've just received the moment of all our faces.
Okay, so we've just seen we've just seen it back. A photo has been sent to us. All of us, miles of God, and I don't want to see that again.
I know.
I tell you what, we
have been so lucky this afternoon.
Yeah,
I've never been more shocked in my life.
What Gunther's just said about the injuries to Roman, how is that possible that he's got off so light? It's so brilliant.
I think the engine being cut in half actually somehow made something crack in the
batteries. Yeah.
But also,
there's more to the right-hand side of that.
It had the ability to separate the seat from the cars. So I think that was both a hell sent and a godsend that he was able to get out of that.
Motorsport Broadcasting has just tweeted as well. So glad to see Roman Grosjean is okay. Completely the right decision taken by F1 regarding the world feed direction. No need to show images until the situation is clear. We've had some very lucky escapes this year on both 2 wheels and 4.
No, because Roman's family, including his children, regularly watch. I mean, he often talks about the fact that he's 11-year-old when he does have incidents. He's very critical of him.
Yeah.
Of what you did wrong, Daddy. That 11-year-old is going to be so glad to hug his daddy. Yeah, you can imagine that.
I think for once a human reaction in all of us in the commentary that we didn't care what happened.
Also, you know, you think about if if you were one of his children watching that, how horrific is that?
I think Magnussen is now back in the paddock, and I'm not sure if this is a retirement.
I don't think Kevin should drive.
No.
And I honestly don't think Valtteri should drive.
What happens if they get spooked? If there's another crash, they could end up having
this is the situation.
Shock. I personally don't.
This isn't the first time we've had this sudden change of direction causing so much damage. We had it in a Formula 2 race where he just clipped the back of the car and then boom to the right. There's got to be more runoff near the barrier.
Yeah, we're happening in Russia this year. Haas mechanics now come with Michael Masi to the circuit. I just want to also point out as well the fact that we saw. Remember, you're on Channel 3 now, by the way, with Dad. Just want to say again that we saw a few incidences going forward. The only time I can remember a race this dramatic was the Grand Prix as well. No, we don't. They can go get it.
Of course, they've got to go.
Yeah.
They've got to send the specialist out there because the battery.
Yeah, the battery is. You need the rubber gloves to collect it, and that's what it's exploded. But I'd just like to point out, as Megan goes away to make sure everyone's okay, we'll have another look at the start. But I think the difference is, I'm remembering Spa 1998, the big accident there.
Yeah.
That was different to this because, yes, everyone was involved, but everybody got out of the car and was clearly okay. This one, it's more the shock value to the drivers that the car's just got into the wall and has exploded. It's a reminder these guys are driving bombs on wheels, effectively, and it's gonna terrify them. And everybody has fear, and that I think, I've not seen a Formula 1 car do that in decades. That is unbelievable.
Now we can see it is only in 2 parts.
So
it's the wheels that have gone in different directions.
I don't like the fact that the car was on fire for so long and Grosjean is nowhere to be seen. The marshal's there immediately. Dr. Ian Roberts is straight away trying to help, and he goes into the fire. Dr. Ian Roberts goes into the fire and gets Grosjean out.
He does.
And Grosjean gets out of his own accord. Dr. Ian Roberts deserves the highest medal. He just ran into that fire to get Grosjean out.
Because he's got fireproof stuff on as well.
But only half a mask. Not a full crash helmet.
Do you reckon he's the one that has undone the belt?
I'm not too sure because he looked like to catch Grosjean.
Remember, the safety car train in these situations.
There was a brilliant feature from Sky a couple of years ago. Oh, I don't want to see that too many times. Thank you very much. That's I'm remembering I've just remembered another one. Luciano Berti, 2001 in Belgium when he hit the tyre wall at Blanchimont and was in a coma and they all had to boot up and go again. I think that's a very similar situation to what's going on here. Yes, Grosjean's okay.
Bertie had a few
but
incidents in
yeah,
Belgium.
Yeah, it's the fear that there's now going to be put in the drivers.
We were lucky there. And it brings people together. Famously, Hakkinen.
Yes,
and
Hakkinen,
what's the other one who's now a steward?
Sarlo.
Grew up on the same street and hated each other all their lives. They were rivals.
Yeah. Oh.
And then when Hakkinen had his accident and was in a coma, Sarlo spent absolutely 4 or 5 days at the hospital holding his hand.
He did. When Hakkinen had his accident in 95.
Then they were friends again for a bit and then they fell out again.
Ferrari, when he rejoined Ferrari in 99. I must admit, I'm not liking seeing this again and again because that is the most scared I've ever been watching a Formula 1 race. And we've had Jules Bianchi sadly pass away. We've got
to work
out. Okay, we're seeing another image of Grosjean getting out of the car. He was conscious immediately. He undid his belt and quickly jumped out with Dr. Ian Roberts there.
Yeah.
So Grosjean, luckily,
and it was the doctor.
Was conscious. Yeah,
it was the doctor because he's got glasses on.
Yeah, so it was Dr. Ian Roberts who pulled him out. But luckily, Grosjean, despite going through the Armco barrier, was able to unbuckle his belts and go back through. I must admit, I think for once.
How scary must that be? He's absolutely engulfed in flames.
Romain Grosjean, who doesn't have a drive in Formula 1 next year.
Respect to you, Roman, for getting out of there.
I completely agree. That is terrifying. Terrifying.
That shows how fit he is.
Yeah, he was able to get out of there straight away. And luckily, the halo means he didn't have that thing as well. Megan's back with us. So 2 seconds.
Bigger screen. The thing I went to get is going to be brought.
Okay, Megan, say what you're going. You went to race control to have a quick look. What did you say?
Yeah, I saw. He literally crawled through the barrier.
He did. Yeah, I saw. And that. Oh, look at that car. The engine.
Look at the engine there. Something there.
Looks like the oil line and the fuel line was ripped apart as well. And there's what's left of Romain's car. Hamilton's now watching as well as the car explodes in the Renault garage. And Hamilton can't believe it either.
I saw the thing that really helped him was them spraying him.
Yeah, they cooled him down with the
as he was getting out because
it's the CO2.
It kept the flames away from him.
Because he was still that hot, he would have caught fire again. The fireproof suit's doing everything, but Haas watching.
And he was surrounded by flames.
We have a minimum delay of 45 minutes. The race is effectively red flagged on lap 1. It will be a complete restart, but everybody's so relieved that everybody's survived that one, and all the marshals are okay as well. And Formula 1 has been very, very lucky today, but I'd be very surprised. We're in a night race situation, so we can have a red flag. Reminder to you all, it is a 2-hour race completed within 4 hours. So we have 4 hours, so that was 2:10 UK time until, 6:10, is it, UK time? Yes, to complete the race. So any time until 6:10 UK time, we
Haas
took a
having a debrief there is what they think had happened.
I think that honest opinion, I don't think we're going to get a restart to this race today.
I don't want one. The drivers are all in shock. They're bound to not be bound. Their heads aren't in the right spaces now.
Something will happen again. Yeah.
I would do the race tomorrow when everything is done, when the barriers are secure enough and they can actually improve upon it. So that does not happen. Also, give a check to Gasly's car.
Giovinazzi looks
and Kvyat,
Yeah.
Giovinazzi
and
also
Gasly,
looks
because they were
very
close.
Romain Grosjean, Jenny Gow has tweeted, Romain Grosjean has suspected broken ribs and burns. He's being transferred to hospital.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, we heard the helicopter revving up.
Yeah, just as on air a couple of moments ago. So, a very scary start. And I must apologise for the language I think even I said as well during the broadcast, not just you, because that is the scariest accident I've ever seen. I
apologise for it, but I don't
care either.
I don't have to apologise because I don't swear.
Yeah.
When I see that guy like that.
Yeah, that was terrifying. I do not apologise either. I thought he'd actually hit the electrical box because I knew it was there.
I thought he died.
Ingenious.
Straight away I thought, oh my God, did I just watch someone die?
Using the forklifts now, we've got to get that strut out.
Yeah, they're just removing the Armco barrier to replace a new one in. Romain Grosjean, then, as Jenny Gow says, has got suspected broken ribs and bones and is going to the hospital with burns as well. She's also just tweeted, Jenny, one of the most shocking incidents I've seen in my F1 days, thank God, and the halo that he was able to walk away.
I remember when Alonso crashed in Australia. We were very amazed that the car didn't catch fire then.
So what happened?
That
Why
was-
is it
that
caught
wa-
now? Yeah.
Yeah, it was as badly damaged.
Something had to have caused that.
Yeah.
Things don't just spontaneously combust.
Well,
like
as I
that.
said,
We've seen
I
big
said,
accidents
I think
before.
We've seen bigger
I
accidents
think-
than that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think he had a bust left front suspension.
Yeah, I think as soon as he hit with Kvyat, he bounced up a little bit. So I think
Yeah.
when the bounce back,
Still.
it just damaged the wheel.
Something caused that.
When he tried to turn away from that barrier,
He didn't, did he? No. All four
well,
tires were locked.
he
yeah.
did.
He
He
locked
turned
up
like that,
And then there's something
and
else.
the,
Yeah.
the front right turned, but the front left didn't.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he crashed into someone?
Oh, I was worried to take Kvyat with him
Yeah,
for
I
a
was
second.
worried about the
He nearly
people.
did. Kvyat just managed to gain control
Yeah, but
because
apart
his
from that,
wheels weren't
what
locked.
about what about
thankfully.
the marshals?
Marshals, yeah, they're okay. Luckily, no one is injured.
They
we
were
lost
there.
the marshal quite a few years ago, about
2013 in Canada.
Is that the thing that goes?
That's the wheel
That's the
tethers.
tether, yeah.
They've come through. So Karun
didn't work on this
No,
occasion.
sadly.
Too much velocity.
They take so much power to break apart.
So it's an instant now that Karun Chandok is watching on the Skypad. So here's the two Haas cars. So this is Latifi right at the back. Off the track, coming back on is Lance Stroll, as you said. Lance Stroll was out of position on the grid, started 13th. Off the track goes Kimi Raikkonen. Now we've got a gaggle of cars just in front. We've got Verstappen, so we've got Vettel, Leclerc, and we've got Magnussen blocking Grosjean's view. Grosjean pulls to the outside of the track, but doesn't know Kvyat is there
This is the view from Latifi's car.
and collects him.
He must have been terrified.
Kvyat turns away to try and avoid Grosjean, but there's the contact between them, damaging the front suspension of Kvyat. I think damaging the front of Grosjean and then just too much under rotation and has gone straight into the wall. We're on board with Grosjean now. To give you a closer example, we'll have to talk to you. So off the track, there goes Vettel sideways. Through off the track goes the racing point of Lance Stroll, who's now down the order. Now look, Grosjean can see that we've got cars coming back on the racing line. And then it all concertinas up. There is Vettel making contact with Sainz. Raikkonen's run out of room on the outside to try and overtake. He's forced onto the sand and the gravel. And then Grosjean can see
Is there
the
a
gap
puncture?
on the inside. I'm not too sure, actually. Oh, hello. Yeah, I think you're right. Because look, there's the debris that Megan pointed out. Hit the front tyre of Grosjean there.
That's what locked his tyres.
That's what locks the tyres. It's a puncture.
See? There.
Yeah, good spot, Megan. You said it immediately. A puncture and a delamination on the front right of Grosjean's car. He's turning that way. Raikkonen's already off the track.
That's why he was only able to go left.
Yes, so that now forces... Look, there's the delamination on the tyre immediately as well. It's cut the tyre. There goes the debris. Grosjean's still turning towards the right. Then he tries to immediately turn to the left, as you pointed out, Dad. Can't. Drifts over. Collects the side of Danny Kvyat. Look, there's the turn in, but at this point, look, he can't turn the car. The puncture's already happened. Look, there's the suspension failure because the tyre's blown a nanosecond just before he hit Danny Kvyat. The suspension fails. He's already then hit Kvyat at the same time, and he's got no control over that, and just goes all four locked up straight into the barrier. So that's what happened.
The engine line's quite close to that, and with the debris hitting it, it must have cut it.
It must have gone into the air intake and cut the line, as you say. So yeah, that must have been what happened. So and
we now know that the other debris is actually
from Sainz,
from the front suspension and from Sainz. So we know that the car only broke into two. But the point is, the monocoque, the rear of the monocoque, was actually severed in that.
The survival cell doing its job.
The survival cell was hit that hard that it broke at the back. There he is.
The
going
medical
off to
helicopter's going.
medical centre.
So the medical helicopter taking Romain Grosjean to hospital now, and that means that's within an hour.
We've been so lucky this afternoon.
So we're going to see a red flag of around about 90 minutes to maybe 2 hours. This is going to take a while.
Look at that. You get the rear of the car.
Scrap metal, anyone?
Actually, there's the gearbox.
So the engine was attached to the car, yeah.
The engine's still attached to the rest of the car.
Yeah.
That's what caused the front of the car to go all flamey.
And here's the front of the car. Let's have a look at that rear.
Let's look at the back. You can see the engine has been ripped. There's the second part of it.
There's the
There's
first
the third.
part of it,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's where
The engine's actually been broken in two.
it was bolted onto the back of the survival cell, so that's what caused the explosion on board with Grosjean as well.
The Haas engineers are looking at the
Yeah.
engine area.
Yeah. So
That's what caused the fire.
a series of unfortunate events, nanoseconds, small bits of debris resulting in large explosive accidents here in Bahrain. And the luckiest driver of all time, I think, is Romain Grosjean to survive that.
He's had a lot of crashes. If this
Yeah,
is
can
the
I just
worst
say,
one.
Can I just say that the back of that car
Yeah.
ain't as bad as
Front.
the front.
The front's.
Front
If you touch it, it'll probably become ash.
Yeah, it's very much burnt, isn't it? The medical car looks to have an oil leak. On the front of that Mercedes, as Dr. Ian Roberts is talking with Kelvin van der Linde,
Well,
who
we
is
have
the
another
driver.
one, so
Yeah.
it's just behind to the left.
So there are two safety cars.
Yeah, there are two medical cars. Yeah.
as well, yeah.
It might be a bit of water though.
So
dropping.
we are under a red flag.
I wonder if that was caused by the heat.
Yeah, I think it would be, just the heat of the car.
Although there's not much to show on the car other than that.
I've had enough of heat today.
So Vettel has just said, just a reminder, I will auction off
10%.
my diversity helmet. It'll be the only one of my Ferrari time that I will give away. The auction will start after the race, so stay tuned to my website. That was just an automatic tweet for there. So if you want to,
I'd moved if Michael Massey had moved, or if you,
yeah,
it's not a position you should be in when they're trying to lift a.
yeah. That's past the circuit as well. I'd just like to point out as well that Michael Massey did not stop this race. It was an
look.
automatic procedure.
They're putting a different style
Concrete.
barrier in.
Concrete barrier going alongside the circuit.
To be
now.
honest, I've always preferred the concrete barriers.
I don't. It killed Senna.
I just prefer them because at least then the driver will go over it.
Can I say, I think they're going to put concrete barriers in as well as tyres.
Yep.
I think they're going to get
They
a lot
only
of
work
tyres.
well with the tyres.
And of course, that means they've got to re-homologate the circuit a little bit. They've got to make sure it's safe. So we're in for a length. This is why I say I don't think we're going to see the race restarted today.
I don't know
going
the way they're working.
It seems to be a bit quicker.
Right, this is they
like
realise
yeah.
this is going to be a temporary thing. The good thing is we're under lights. There's no no darkness going to come by.
And that's
Right?
the clock has stopped, by the way, but it was only running at 1 minute 30 something or other before the red flag came out.
I
so
don't want them to carry on.
it's a 2-hour race completed in a 4-hour
Well, what are the
period.
regulations? But I think the regulations say a complete restart, don't they?
Well, the red flag came out on lap 1, and it was before. Now, here's the interesting thing as well: the race has been stopped before the first sector timing line. Because if you look at the crash here, if I show you here, there is the sector 1 timing just here, and the accident happened here, and it automatically triggered the red flag. Because because the car was ripped off, it sent off the emergency halo light, so the race was immediately stopped. Michael Massey had no control over that. It's an automatic procedure that the red flag would come out. So the race was stopped before the first sector time. They've completed the remainder of this lap. We're now officially on to lap 2. However, I think this would be a complete restart procedure on the original grid. I can't see them restarting, but regardless, it will be another 5 red lights.
I don't want them to restart. I don't think anyone's in the right headspace right now.
This is our 4th red flag of the season. We had 1 in Monza, 2 at Mugello, and now 1 here.
Look at IndyCar. Was it Wickens' accident?
Robert Wickens,
They restarted.
Yeah, it took them a while, though, didn't it?
Yeah.
Is that Grosjean's car?
No, that's... this is a front wing.
Robert
No.
Wickens is getting better and better every day.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's beaten up.
It's a seat.
He can
cover.
walk out
Yeah, go on.
inside his wheelchair now.
Yeah, great news. and
Whether
great recovery.
or not Robert will ever race again, I don't know. But look at Alex. Alex Sinardi did.
Yeah. People asking, when is the race restarting? We have a minimum of a 45-minute delay. And that was announced 10 minutes ago. And the red flag has already been out for 43 minutes. So already, this red flag might just take about 2 hours.
The thing about this COVID lockdown
It's been out for
is
43 minutes?
It's been out for 43 minutes, yeah.
that a lot of people who don't usually mix with each other
Yeah.
have been mixing at the track in the compounds where the Winnie Bagels have been.
Yeah.
And so you're getting a lot better relationships up and down the paddock. I mean, I personally don't believe Lewis didn't know who
No, of course not. He was just winding.
He was just winding them up.
France tossed up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, because France had been.
The car's still on.
France had been
Sorry
a
to
bit-
cut across you. I think the car's slightly still smouldering because the battery, this lithium battery, will burn for days.
This is the problem,
Yeah.
right? It's this lithium
So we're
battery.
not touching it.
That car belongs in a museum.
Yeah, I would put it in a museum.
He survived that. That right there is the testament of how safe these Formula One cars are. The halo protected Grosjean. The car burst into flames and he was still conscious enough and safe enough to get out.
Your mum would get the pledge out while it's in the museum and go, "Oh, I've got to do this."
Do you know,
Would
she
polish
actually
it, yeah.
walked in just as the accident happened.
Oh, is that what happened? Oh, right. What was their reaction to it? Because I think David
Shocked.
was painting.
Yeah.
What did David say?
Shocked.
Oh.
I'm surprised they didn't drop the paintbrush.
Well, your mum's seen this sort of thing
Yeah, so's David.
on a number of occasions.
She said it's the worst accident
It's usually
ever.
an IndyCar where we see this sort of
Yeah.
accident.
Yeah, into Armco
yeah, like-
fencings, yeah. Don't
and
worry about that, we're still broadcasting.
One of the strangest things in IndyCar was the one where the lad from Yorkshire died.
Just
Getting
Wilson,
another
yeah.
Just
replay
in-
of the start
and
of
it-
the race.
It was the front nose cone went
Yeah.
up in the air, and as he came round the corner, it landed on his
It
car.
was terrible, terrible.
Flew
It all started when
incident.
they went
2
free
seconds.
abreast.
Yeah, so Meg, we're just watching a replay of the start. He did. No, it all started there. Look, that's Ocon hitting the side of Sainz, forces off Stroll, and then Raikkonen goes off. Grosjean goes to the middle of the track, and just the car explodes. That is the scariest accident I've ever seen.
A wheel literally nearly hit Latifi.
The halo would have helped there. wouldn't it?
Yeah, I was wondering about George, because George
Yeah.
nearly had a Haas wheel
Back
hit
in
him
Belgium.
In Belgium,
Yeah.
do you remember?
And that was Grosjean as well, actually, wasn't it?
You can
Yeah,
see
it was Roman, yeah.
Bottas nearly making
No, it was
contact.
Giovinazzi. It was Giovinazzi. I'll correct myself.
Was it?
Yeah, it was Giovinazzi, I think, in the
We're on board
Alpha.
with Perez now.
So this is Perez going off the track. Now, Perez is up into 3rd place. He capitalised big time on the start from Bottas. I think I remember calling it at the time. Of course, I cannot remember what I said at the start because it's been completely overtaken. So apologies if I'm contradicting myself as we watch the start back. Lando had a great start. Bottas, I think, was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Because, look, the contact there, look, he was forced into the middle, touched the side of Ricciardo as well. And, Norris as well. As one ball with Sainz. Norris got front wing damage as well as Sainz.
Yeah, as I
it's
said,
Sainz and Norris.
in the commentary
Yeah.
that the McLaren front wing was scraping on the floor.
So it's both Sainz and Norris who have front wing damage as well.
Been a bad weekend for McLaren. They've not done well at
Yeah.
all. They had the incident yesterday which caused the red flag.
In the qualifying, which Sainz locked up on the rear.
Wasn't his fault.
No, it wasn't.
It was something to do with the
Brake-by-wire.
brake-by-wire system locking
Oh,
the brakes.
It all nearly happened with Vettel. He was quick on the brakes,
Great
wasn't he?
reactions by Vettel,
Yeah.
but it's what it calls behind. It's concertina effect.
Yeah, the Constantino effect caused all of that. And I think it's a redesign of turn 1 and 2 is needed here.
You see, Sebastian can only react to the things in front of him,
Not behind, yeah.
not behind. It's up to everyone else to
Look, yeah, do you see how quickly the red flag was called? Immediately. Because it was an automatic procedure. As soon as Grosjean
Yeah,
went
it
in
was
the
a
wall.
transponder red
Yeah.
flag, wasn't it?
Yeah, we've seen that before happen.
As soon as this transponder goes down, that's it.
Red flag. Because they need to get the ambulances out there, the medical helicopters out there immediately.
Also,
Yeah.
it
They have
engulfed in
medical-
flames.
they
If
have
they
a
didn't call a
medical-
red flag, it would be a bit hypocritical.
Yeah. Oh, Stroll
They
off
have
the
a
track, yeah.
G-force
nearly did it.
indicator.
Yeah.
And that must have been really, really hard G-force hit there.
If someone in the group chat can help him out, that'd be appreciated. We can't unfortunately say any of that. I know what you can see, but if someone could help him out, that'd be appreciated. Going forward, we're on board with Carlos Sainz. Let's watch Sainz now with his damage as well. Going into turn number 1. So look, this is the Constantino effect. Look at so there's Norris getting his accident. Here comes Sainz now. Vettel goes wide, cuts the inside, and there's where Leclerc touches his front wing, and there's Giovinazzi doing the same.
All
And
the
both of them
European
having,
broadcasters have got encryption on their thing, but there are sites.
Yeah, unofficially, of course. That was how quick. So the red flag was already out straight away. So the red flag came out before all drivers hit sector 1. This could be a complete restart, which saves Valtteri Bottas.
I'll
'Cause
yet
he's
again
down in
reiterate,
6th.
I don't want them to restart. I
Yeah.
don't think anyone's in the right headspace right now for that.
The drivers, I think, are just in
No,
shock.
Sainz
as we
has
are.
got damage to his car because he would be the one that
Yeah.
benefited from this because in a red flag situation you can change the tyres.
So he can, so he's lost out on the effect of having those softs on.
Ooh.
He went in an angle.
Yeah,
That's what saved him.
when all four locked up and Grosjean went in an angle sort of sideways when he hit the barrier.
You can kind of see him trying to get out of a car there.
Look at the halo. It's
The
beating
rear of that
up,
car,
man.
the flames were all where the
It's
the
full in
moisture
the
is
car.
coming out of the gearbox. It's
It's full.
I can't
the
believe.
fuel. Sorry,
I cannot believe.
You can still slightly see the logo on the side.
I
Yeah,
was thinking that.
the paintwork's burnt off. There's another replay of Romain Grosjean's
That's clearly
car
the
burning.
flames in the rear are coming out the gearbox.
Yeah,
He
so
was
the-
in that car for at least 30 seconds. engulfed in
More.
flames.
more. I'll
Mind you,
let
it
That's why I said
seems
at least.
it seems, doesn't it?
longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems longer because we think
Here
if
he
we
is.
Would he have smoking louder?
smoking
Lauda.
inhalation
He
into
will.
his lungs. Yeah.
He had to have
will.
the tube down the throat to suck out all the poison in his
He
lungs.
will.
At
If he was in
that point,
that-
he'd be
that long.
very, very hot.
Yeah, so that's why, as Megan said, they sprayed him immediately. Look, there's
See,
Grosjean.
he's trying to get out through that tiny little gap.
And does it just about, yeah. And Ian Roberts pulls him out immediately. Very brave Ian
Told
Roberts.
you his hands were burnt.
Yeah. Dr. Ian Roberts does not have a full crash helmet. He has a half-face crash helmet, and he pulled him out and went into the fire.
He was clearly in pain with
Yeah.
his hands. He was wafting his hands.
Yeah, and immediately. Dr. Ian Roberts, you, sir, are a hero.
Please give him a medal.
And
or
Alan
something.
van der Merwe, the medical...
Vandermeer
yeah.
sprays him.
Yeah, Van der Leer sprays him as well. Kelvin van der Linde is the second medical car driver. This one was Alan van der Merwe, who is the DTM driver who was spraying him. So well done to you both. That is
Even-
top-notch job, period. Well done. You, sirs, are a true Formula One. And I tell you what, the old guard of Formula One, Professor Sid Watkins, would be very, very proud of them both.
And the big guns are out.
Yeah, Ross Brawn is
Ross
here.
is there.
James Allison coming through. So this is unusual for Ross to come down. I think what Ross is doing is now going down, talking to all of them and saying, are you comfortable with restarting?
Getting the opinion of the
Yeah.
of the staff
Because we're in an
at
unusual
the sharp end.
we're in an unusual situation here where we have this track for the next 2 weeks because we're here this weekend and next weekend in Shakir.
Oh no! Please
So
no.
we can't. Well, we're back here on the outer loop, but we still have to. What?
Joshua's pointing out that we could actually race tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm pointing out. we
Please
could- yeah.
let us race tomorrow.
By the
Even
look
though
of
I
the
have a test, I don't want this race to be started today. Even if it means I miss a bit.
It
of
wouldn't start
the
until
start.
3 o'clock anyway, UK time.
Yeah.
what time is it now?
It's 3 o'clock UK time now, so it's 24 hours. The race would start again.
Right.
So you'll be back in time, even if not,
Good.
we'll just pick you up
Oh.
and bring you back because you're live on the contract.
I have intervention.
Oh,
So
well.
I'll just say I need to do something for family.
Yeah, just say we're live on YouTube.
Do you think they might be listening?
Good morning.
I don't care
I tell you what, I'm glad that we can laugh
if I can't make.
now because this could have been a very difficult circumstance and a very different
Yeah.
outcome. So we now, as the barrier is being repaired and the car's been recovered, Ted Kravitz
Every single
I
is
already
standing
know
by.
Sainz-
is in thought.
I already
Yeah.
know Science's answer to the. Well, do you want to restart the race? You just
well,
have to
Sainz
look
needs,
into his eyes.
Sainz needs his car repairing anyway before he starts.
Johnny's just alongside him. Not Johnny Herbert. Johnny, his race engineer, is just talking to him there. And Andrew, I think, is just on the other side, the mechanics. And now, of course, they're all getting ready. Vettel's car's being repaired and changed around a little bit. The Haas are still working on Magnussen's car. So you can see the running order on your screen. That is still the running order. Hamilton, Verstappen, Perez, Albon, Ricciardo, Bottas, Gasly, Ocon, Norris, and Leclerc, the top 10. Followed by Giovinazzi, Stroll, Sainz, Magnussen, Vettel, Latifi, Raikkonen, Russell, Kvyat, and, of course, Grosjean.
Whoever made the point about the lungs
Yeah,
was,
me.
I hadn't thought of that until you said.
Yeah.
And that is true because
look
Roman
at the
was
underline.
clearly 30 seconds in there breathing in that hot moisture.
And adrenaline as well,
and-
so you'd be
yeah.
breathing faster.
Yeah, and he was in there for at least.
His
30
face
seconds,
was
maybe
his face
45.
and his overalls were smoking when he
Yeah.
got out, which is
I'm
unusual,
surprised
yeah.
he doesn't have burns.
it's not unusual.
does.
Sorry, it's,
No,
it's
everywhere but
understandable.
his hands and ankles. I'm surprised he doesn't.
I agree with you both, but I just
Yeah, it's his boots and his gloves that
The
are
least protected part.
The
least protected
exposed,
part.
yeah.
And his helmet, the visor was all melted. You imagine from Roman's
Trying to
point
see.
of view,
Yeah.
he thought that was the end.
I must admit, everyone always says Formula One, it's been made safer, but yes, we've got very, very lucky today. Very lucky. Formula One is dangerous. Motorsport is dangerous. It says so on the back of every
Another
ticket.
thing is that an incident like that,
They're all still looking at the screen. Look.
you worry about the shock
Everyone's
afterwards.
Yeah.
shocked.
Not only from these people here that work with him, people at home,
Yeah.
but more importantly, Roman. The sheer shock
For
of
him,
what
yeah.
happened, right?
Is that going to affect him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think he's out for the season.
I don't.
Do you think he'll come back?
No,
I don't
not next weekend.
He's got three.
No, at all.
He's got 3 children under 11,
I don't think he. Yeah.
and a beautiful wife, and
Imagine
This
how
might be
she
his.
felt.
Yeah.
he's got a lot of money.
I feel sorry for his
if
wife.
I was him,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would contemplate
Her
retirement.
heart was probably beating out of
No,
her chest.
I want to say I feel sorry for his wife, who was probably commentating on the French TV broadcast and having to report on that live. If she still is the French TV reporter for
I
Formula
think
One,
she
feel sorry
does.
for that.
I think she does the French version of the One Show now, but she used
Well,
to do
yeah,
that.
she did.
She used
That's
to
how
be
they
the
met.
pit lane
Yeah.
reporter.
And they met in GP2.
She
yeah.
started GP2. She was the reporter on GP2.
And
She's a blonde lady, isn't she, or a dark? Is it?
I think she's
got
dark-haired now, but she
dark-haired
was
now,
blonde.
She was blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, however, honestly, I don't think we've got 2 weekends left after this. 21-day concussion rule. I don't think we'll see Grosjean back in the race this year. So
We're not gonna.
Can I just
Not in
point
the
out-
race this year.
does that promote Mick Schumacher to the Haas seat immediately into Formula One, or will they get Hulkenberg in because
Hulkenberg.
because
is
Schumacher's
closer.
still got to decide the Formula 2 title?
Think
So
it's-
yeah, will
They'll
they
get Hulkenberg in. He's the reserve driver for Fisher.
It seems to be the ultimate reserve driver.
Yeah.
Robert Schwartzman as well.
I
throw
just
him
don't
in, Callum
feel.
Eilert.
I just don't feel. If I was Roman, I wouldn't race for at least a year.
Yeah, I think that was a shocker, isn't it?
You've got to get over
Yeah.
something like that. That is
He
a
could have
life.
post-traumatic stress because of it.
Yeah, that is a life-changing crash.
Yeah.
Right. The last time we had
2 seconds. Let's hear from Kelvin Anna van der Meer.
Can you describe what you found when you first got to the scene?
Big surprise for us as well. We've never seen that much fire. I mean, in 12 years, I've not seen that much fire at an impact like that. So we just took a little while to process what's going on. I'm sure it was only a second or so, but it felt like ages. And then Romain just actually started to get out of the car himself, which is pretty amazing after an accident like that.
You must have felt a huge sense of relief when you saw that happen.
Yeah, not yet. Some relief when we got back here and he was okay. It was very impressive. It just goes to show all the systems that we've developed. Everything worked hand in hand. The halo, the barriers, the seat belts, everything worked how it should. And without just one of those things, it could have been a very different outcome.
That's all we have to say. That's Alan van der Meer talking to from there. Of course, we have in situations like this, we have special things that they do broadcast live because they get cut into news shows, things like that. So we can broadcast interviews like that because the news pick it up as well. And thumbs up there, Alan van der Meer just giving a thumbs up to Gunter Steiner, and Gunter Steiner going and fist bumps and congratulates and says thank you to Alan van der Meer, the driver, and I think Dr. Ian Roberts as well will go in there as well. And
He's looking for Ian Roberts, I think.
Yeah, no.
Thank you very much,
No,
guys.
no,
Honestly, I mean, I
he
was
did most
I
of the
was
work.
surprised how you fucking reacted.
Oh, yeah.
I was.
Gunter Steiner just saying thank you. I was surprised how quick he got there. That we just cut into that interview there, but
in
yeah.
Gunther's own way, which was similar to my reaction.
Yeah, yeah, that was. Apologies if there's any language. I didn't hear any, but
I did.
okay, I apologise. So the Armco barrier.
He's the boss of the lad that's
Yeah.
got injured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Anybody who objects to that, well,
No, nothing at all. I think it's a situation.
there's a film on the other side.
The Armco barrier that was at turn 3, which Grosjean punched through, has now been replaced by concrete barriers that are slotted in at the sides that you see at festivals and at street circuits, such as in Formula E and demos, like in F1
I think
London.
what the drivers will be saying to Ross is that this is the third time a car has shot off,
This weekend, yeah.
and clearly there is a problem.
There's something wrong with this circuit with the grip levels.
Where's Magnussen?
I mean, is it...
Kevin's going to
yeah.
race. You can tell.
I think, yeah, he's going to go back out again. He's very brave. Every Formula 1 driver who goes out and does this again is very, very brave. So we understand, from the information I've been getting coming through, it will be a safety car restart, but they will form up on the grid and have 5 more lights and the race will go. So it'll be a standing restart with another 5 light procedure and go again.
And
it will be
by the look
lap
of it,
3.
it'll be in another 15 to 20 minutes time.
Yeah, so
if
it will.
it's happening.
Yeah, so we've been under red flag now for an hour. This is our longest red flag period delay since the 2010 Korean Grand Prix in terms of hour duration. If it goes over 2, it's longer than Canada last year.
Of course, the Amco barrier, that's where one of the Marshall points is.
Yeah.
So it
can't
didn't
block
go
it
all
off.
the way across.
Yeah, you can't block it off either completely because the marshals need to get there. So this is very interesting.
I saw that there was people right near where
Yeah,
he crashed as well. They got out of the way really, really quickly, and they were lucky as well.
I always
yeah.
remember the cameraman about 2 years ago, and all the debris came through the fence,
yeah.
and the cameraman just
abandoned,
carried on.
yeah. Brave people. I remember the cameraman in British Touring Cars.
British Touring Cars had jumped.
Yeah, Tom Oslo Cole
as-
barreling over, hits the cameraman's scaffolding, knocks it over.
Knocks it over onto the
Yeah.
the marshalling point below, which was, I think, the medical
Yeah, it was the medical area, yeah. And the
Area.
commentary box was just there as well. But I just had to point out, the cameraman got up, laughed, and gave a big thumbs up to everybody.
Yeah,
British humour.
He actually stayed with that
He
scaffolding
did, yeah.
unit until the very end, then jumped.
Yeah.
He didn't jump to begin with. The thoughts that quickly went through his head
Yeah.
that if he jumped first, the unit could come on top of him and kill him.
Yeah, so
he
stayed
kept with
there.
it until it was nearly down on the floor and then jumped.
Yeah, Lando Norris is now laughing with his engineers. I think he'll race as well. So I think this red flag period is also helping them all because it's relaxing the drivers just a little bit. It's effectively like we're going to have another Grand Prix, effectively different one in effect because they're all
I
going to come
don't think
down.
Bottas is going to race. Look at him.
Bottas, I think, with the masks on. It's hard.
He has been clearly affected by this.
I think that. Yeah,
He was shaking earlier.
I think he's calming down. That's but you need to get the drivers calm. You need to get them back and focused, and then they can go again. You can't just if this race had restarted within 10 minutes.
You can't just let them race straight
Yeah.
away.
We've got to have a calm down period. Everyone to go down and then go. I think Damon Hill's agreeing with us. Actually, we're not. This isn't being broadcast. It's just coming through our ears.
So I said.
I think, Damon Hill just talking about Gerhard Berger's accident in Imola at Tamburello, where he went in backwards, skidded along the barrier, and it caught fire, and he was able to get out with burnt
He
hands.
said the same thing kind of happened with Grosjean as well. I said.
Well,
I see sights as stress relief as a tennis ball.
Yeah, he's throwing up and down, just catching
Good.
it, keeping his reaction sharp because he's got another lights out procedure to go. Just an also factor to point in as well, going forward, was what we saw when we made a joke of it a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about Gerhard Berger. I think we were talking about Imola at Tamburello and the accident. We made a joke when Berger did hit the wall and was caught fire. He came back in, his hands were all bandaged up to the paddock, but such a spirit with him and all the other drivers. They were all laughing and joking and calling him Bird Burgers.
Yes.
He's been grilled. Grillhard Burger.
Grillhard Berger it was.
Yeah, so they were all laughing and joking, and I hope Roman comes back with that same fighting spirit that Gerhard did. Gerhard Berger, of course, did something that only Michael Schumacher and Ralf Schumacher had done, race on the day that their parents sadly passed away. 1997, Gerhard Berger replaced Jean Alesi at the German Grand Prix for Benetton, took pole position, and sadly in the night's passing, his father passed away, raced and won his last ever race.
I think
Raced it for him.
And Benetton's last ever race win.
I think Jensen actually raced after John had died.
I think he did, yeah. Yes, he did, yeah. Australia,
He thought that's what John would have wanted. John being a racer himself in rally.
And of course,
Rallycross.
Michael Schumacher and Ralf Schumacher both raced in San Marino in 2003.
Yeah.
And then after the night their mother passed away.
Also, I remember the incident, I think it was in Canada.
Yeah.
Where Ralph had a really bad accident.
Oh, America.
America.
Banking, yeah. Indianapolis, yeah.
And the Michael asked, is he okay?
Yeah.
And an unusual thing, he was answered by
Williams,
who his brother drove for, who changed their radio channel to his
said,
so they could speak to him personally and tell him the full facts.
Yeah, and that was great. And he broke his back, of course, Ralf Schumacher in that accident in Indianapolis in 2004. But it always frustrates me, that race as well, because they never red flagged it. and they took the safety car through all the debris on the start-finish straight.
One
That's
of
a
the
bit
things
stupid.
was,
Yeah, it was.
one of the things was nowadays you have satellite broadcasters like Sky,
Yeah.
who have their own channel.
What does it mean?
And,
Secession suspended.
That's just the red flag coming
That's
out.
just a red flag down.
Can't I just say red flag?
That's the official term. Session was suspended.
But-
Go on, over to you.
In the past, it's been all about we've got to carry the race on as soon as possible because of the schedules for the TV.
Yeah.
Whereas that's not true nowadays. The vast, I know in America you're probably watching this on NBC.
Yeah.
And
Or
and-
ESPN. Or,
and-
yeah.
you choose the NBC daytime,
Yeah.
and so your schedule will be. They would have to cancel the future programs.
Which I think is a football match.
Whereas Sky Sports F1 in this country,
This is it.
this is it. This is what they're there for, and they will broadcast until the end.
And same here. As long as they're on air, we're on air, broadcasting it.
Well, actually, as you say that, you've just gone over, and I
Oh.
need to go now.
Do you know?
I'll tell you what, though. We're 30 minutes away from sunset here in the UK, so it'll be a night race. We start in the night.
It was very strange. We were commentating on the qualifying yesterday. We came in and it was bright outside, and we were actually shocked that it was dark outside when we left. When we left,
It was proper pitch black. It confused them. It confused me.
You know, I woke up this morning with something like, would you know when you felt like someone just punched your stomach?
Yeah.
I felt that, and I got up, and after an hour, I was like, I'm going to have to do my homework now because I know I'm not going to get out of that box until late.
Yeah.
that was weird.
It's happened as well, unfortunately, the red flag. This
You
time
just
I looked.
get that feeling.
Well, I've just checked everything. I'm getting messages left, right, and centre about today's race. And
Good
I'll answer
film,
a few
by the
later.
way. If you do want to,
Yeah, go on.
if you've got an hour and a half to spend,
Oh, I think we do.
Yeah.
Ian Carmichael, left, right, and centre. He's sent to be a Conservative candidate.
Yeah.
Or a Labour candidate, and he falls in love with the other candidate, and they've got to keep it a secret. They're a romance secret, and it's quite a good 1950s, 60s style comedy.
Yeah.
Left, right, and centre.
I'd just like to point out
Oh, I get that now.
the stewards have released. They released this at 2:33 UK time. So about 45 minutes ago, a delay of a minimum 45 minutes. They then released, just a few seconds ago, a 10-minute warning will be given prior to the resumption of the race. So we are now in an effective constant delay, a rolling delay, where we will wait for that 10-minute signal to restart. So we're no longer in a time frame. We're now in that period of 10 minutes to wait for the restart. So this is interesting.
This is Sebastian's famous helmet that he was.
Yeah, he's auctioning off.
He's
Yeah.
still auctioning it off, is he?
Yes, today, yeah.
It's with the rainbow on it.
And it's
All
the
people.
equality and diversity
Equality
on it,
and
yeah.
diversity, yeah.
Fantastic if you want to get involved in
Of
that.
course, Sebastian is good friends with Roman because they are, although they clash a lot, they are the drivers' representatives on the committee, aren't they?
They are, yeah. Both of them, they're president and chairman, as you said. Well, an interesting fact coming into this is that there's never been a red-flagged Bahrain Grand Prix.
Well, there has now in dramatic circumstances.
Yeah.
And that comes in its...
I'm still worried about Valtteri.
Valtteri is not moved, has he, in 45 minutes? We've been red flagged now for an hour and 7 minutes.
He hasn't moved.
And he hasn't. He's standing all that time.
I know we had a situation with Valtteri a few months ago.
Yeah.
Where he continued to race, and Lewis as well, when in their personal life there was tragedy, and
Nicky. Yeah.
not Nicky. It was.
Oh yes, yeah.
I think it was Valtteri had someone close to him.
Death in the family. Yeah,
Death in the family
I remember.
about 2 months ago, and
affected
before
them all,
that,
yeah.
Lewis had his auntie die.
Yes. Yeah.
And people forget that these guys are really professional. Right, but they're human beings.
This is one of their own as well.
Yeah, well, so were their aunties and uncles.
I know, but this is...
going back to Senna's death, I don't believe Senna should have driven that day because Roland was one of his closest friends. They were like buddies with Berger, weren't they?
Oh, that's got to have been uncomfortable, him having to jump down on burnt ankles.
Roman Grosjean has been taken to hospital with broken ribs, broken bones, and, as you said, Megan, burns to his hands.
You see, what would happen is that those gloves and those shoes would have heated up
Yeah, massively.
And so even when he's got out the car, they would still be burning him. And that's possibly why they were holding him up, as well as the fact that he wouldn't have had enough oxygen. I'm so grateful. This is Lewis. I'm so grateful Roman is safe. Wow, the risk we take is no joke. For those of you out there that forget that we put our lives on the line for this sport and for what we love to do, thankful to the IFIA for the massive strides we've taken for Roman to be able to walk away.
And that was him just a few moments ago on Twitter. So we're now into a procedure where we have to shape up and go again.
He's
Still
distracting
no sign.
himself with his scooter right now.
He's just wheeling up and down the pit lane.
He's also listening to music.
actually in Renault. And this is a time as well where social distancing.
He was
so
worried the other day that when they said there was a dog on the track, he thought Roscoe had gone out. Because he's already lost Coco.
Sadly, yes, at the start of the year, just before the season started. So if we're in
Because Lewis used to have 2 bulldogs, didn't he?
So we're just waiting for the period. So I'm going on to the dreaded Twitter. So get in touch at Joshua Birch 99. Send in all your questions and I'll answer them as well. I've got the phone out for Twitter. And top thing immediately is Formula 1 driver Romain Grosjean's car bursts into flames after a crash on the track as well. No, you're number 3, Dad. There you go. You want to?
You've got to think to yourself that Kevin Magnussen's got to drive in the same car that just split apart.
Yeah.
The same style car.
Dr. Ian Roberts and Alan van der Merwe, whoever is staying in the FIA hotel, buy these boys a large brandy tonight, says Will Buxton.
Give him a medal. I would.
A lot more than medals. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, well, a British driver who dragged someone out back in the 70s.
Daniel Purley died, sadly.
There was a lot of flames and he went into the fire.
Yeah.
No, it's the guy that rescued Nicky, wasn't it?
Today has not been a good day.
That was John Watson, yeah. John Watson ran into them.
In IndyCar, our British girl driver raced
Pippa
into...
Pippa Mann.
Pippa Mann raced into the flames, burnt all her hands.
Danica Patrick.
Getting
Look
her
at
friend out.
He's
Megan?
I feel like Vettel's on the verge of crying or something. And he's near Ricardo. Well.
It's been a very
upsetting. It's very upsetting.
Him without that much.
Because they're driving these flying bombs.
Yeah.
You know, these cars are literally got a lot of fuel right behind the driver.
And that's it. That's what caused up the accident, didn't it? It was very bizarre.
Yeah.
And we're just in a red flag.
It's something that they all try to put out of their mind when they're racing, because of the fact they know where the and it is enforced. It's, although in this case it's not worked. I can't believe that the fuel tank
the fuel
has been broken, because that is one of the things that the FIA have been very stringent on
for years now, haven't they? Trying to get it back in focus.
That fuel cell goes under so much testing and pressure to make sure it's okay.
Just hello to Ali, who is, of course, the boss on BBB Racing 1, which is the esports. And he is saying, bro, I am shocked watching it right now. And he's forwarded an image as well from a camera we haven't seen of Grosjean getting out of the flames and Ian Roberts helping him. That is shocking.
That's a dramatic picture.
I want to see Valtteri because he was pretty shaken up. And I can imagine that everyone around that area was also shaken up, though Valtteri was taken.
Look at Fred
I think
coming
one
over.
of the hardest, him and Leclerc.
Yeah.
Just taking it hardest.
The senior Frenchman in Formula 1 coming over to... he's French, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, coming over. Fred Vasseur is... half these guys on the grid started with Fred in lower formulas. And, you know, he's one of the mentors of Gasly. And he would be good friends with Roman.
And I'm just having...
He's obviously updated him. He's put his mask up above.
Race control, and this is what I was just about to tell you. Race will restart at 18:35 local time. So that is 12 minutes away until the race will restart, and we'll go into a green flag. And that's caught everybody out. So they'll have to boot up and go again. It will be a standing start. The grid for the resumption will be published on the document system. So that is on the FIA information that we get here.
Gasly will have to finish his chocolate bar quick.
Our driver track is telling us to upgrade.
Yeah, sorry, I've had to take it off. as we just see. So we
well,
have...
that's okay, because there are no drivers
no drivers at the moment on the
or
circuit.
drivers on the
And
circuit.
Max is having to redo his shoes.
So we've got I think we have a grid. No, that's the other one. So I do have the information in the commentary box. We'll get that to you immediately so we know the grid.
If we're going to have to do another hour and a half, I'm going to have a drink.
Okay, well, Ian Birch will walk back to the walk away, and we'll get ready and boot up again. That'll say what it is. So we'll boot up and go again. The session will restart at 18:35 UK time. Megan Birch will move over to seat number 2 and join me in the commentary for a few minutes. And well, Megan, I think a situation that we never want to see again in Formula One.
No.
Did he take the key?
Yes.
Lovely. I was about to say he'd be locked out of the main building. A situation I think we agree, Megan, that we never want to see that ever again in Formula One.
No.
That was
Testing
horrific.
for reactions.
So are you comfortable with the race having a standing restart?
No, I'm not comfortable with restarting.
No, after that accident, I'm not too sure either about seeing a restart. It's a worrying situation to go forward.
Quite good reactions from him there.
So we're just in a restart. So now we get ready to go down again.
I don't know why, though. I feel like for 4 people, it's affected quite a bit. Maybe 5 even. It's Valtteri, Charles.
Yeah, just keep going, sorry.
Though also, Magnussen seems so determined right now.
We're just waiting for the restart. We have the restart grid.
Kvyat and Gasly for some reason.
We have a restart grid. We'll give it to you in just a moment's time as we get ready to go.
Latifi's just shocked because he saw that all happen. I bet it's one of the times he's both happy to be at the back of the grid, so he is far away from that.
So yes, we do have we have a restart grid. An update as a precaution. Roman has been taken to hospital, which is what we're understanding, what we've been told. So we have a restart grid, the race restart grid. Lewis Hamilton will be on pole position. Max Verstappen alongside from Sergio Perez alongside Valtteri Bottas starting 4th. Alexander Albon will be 5th. 6th for Daniel Ricciardo. Lando Norris 7th. Esteban Ocon 8th. Pierre Gasly is 9th. 10th for Sebastian Vettel. 11th on the grid, we will see Lance Stroll. 12th is Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz 13th, Antonio Giovinazzi is 14th, Daniel Ricciardo 15th, Kimi Raikkonen 16th, Kevin Magnussen 17th, George Russell 18th, and Nicholas Latifi will start in 19th place. That is the restarted grid we have been waiting for going forward into this race. So that is the restart. We'll have that document printed out to me now and brought to the commentary box so we can put it in and have a restart procedure. So, Megan, the race is going to go again. The race will restart on the 3rd lap of 57. So how many laps will it be? A 55 lap race in total? Yeah, so it'll be a 55 lap race in total. Lewis Hamilton walks back and gets ready. Cars are to get in their correct grid positions on the way to the grid. It will be a 5-light procedure. So the cars are to get in their correct grid positions on the lap to the grid. We've been under a red flag for 1 hour and 17 minutes. It will be 1 hour and 25 minutes, the total red flag period. The race will restart and go again. Megan, if you could just go get the grid for me from the printer, I'll fill in some time. Bert Mylander, the safety car driver, will lead them through as we get ready. The stewards are just conferring with everybody, making sure that the results are correct, and we'll go again for this Grand Prix. I didn't expect, as I'm sure you didn't and I didn't. There's Bert Mylander and Richard Dacker, the safety car team, watching on. I'm sure you didn't expect, I'm sure I didn't expect it certainly to be in this situation. A nasty accident from Romain Grosjean where the car caught fire, but the race will now restart. And we will go again for what will be 55 laps of the Bahrain Grand Prix. 2 laps taken away due to a red flag. So we will go again. Thankfully, everybody seems to be okay, and especially Romain Grosjean, who got out of the car under his own power. So just being told that despite Bottas is 6th on our timing monitors, he is moving up to 4th place on the actual grid. So that is going to be quite fascinating. So if anyone's wanting the official grid, it is dock number 32 on the streaming devices. We have it here in the commentary box. as well. It's go to FIA.com. So it's Hamilton, Verstappen, Perez, Bottas, Albon, Ricciardo, Bottas, Gasly. No, Bottas. Well, that monitor here hasn't adjusted itself to the actual one, so ignore that as we get ready to go green again. The commentary box will be taken aback with us all, and we'll hopefully get going again soon. Yeah, he was in there for 30 seconds as well. I was just seeing from Ali, Daniel Ricciardo smiling at least, and hopefully he'll get going on the track. As we're now seeing the revised grid. Well, the timing tower still saying the results, so we're not seeing that just yet. So the race will restart behind the safety car, then we'll go green once again. So a reminder, on lap 2 of 57, it's going to see an unusual situation where the red flag will be out, but the safety car will also drag them away. It's going to be very, very bizarre. I can tell you that again. As they all try desperately to get it right back into the same position. But the race will restart in the right order. Now, it's a 2-hour Grand Prix in a 4-hour period. We've taken 1 hour and 30 minutes away from that, so we should be okay going into this race procedure. I can't see why we wouldn't have a constant start. So we should be able to get the full distance of this race in. Whatever the race will bring here, it's going to be an interesting one. Back into the commentary box comes Megan Birch with the printed grid. Ian Birch will rejoin us in a few moments' time as I drop it. Thank you for that, Megan. If you want the grid, there you are. There's your starting grid for this race, taking forward. As we'll just have to wait and wonder what's going to happen. The restart grid. Oh, sorry, Megan. Oh, well, that's done. So Romain Grosjean taken to hospital. Seems to be okay. We're getting ready for a restart. Megan Birch rejoins me in the commentary box for this one. Megan, what's going to happen?
On fire.
Sorry, say again?
Everything's on fire. I was just shocked because the front wing was also separately on fire.
It was a bizarre start to this one, and I never want to see that ever again in Formula One. Let's make that never happen. So we are 2 minutes away from the restart. They've actually had to put a warning, graphic content on at the moment on the information we've just seen in the commentary box. We're on board with Romain Grosjean now once again, watching the accident from his point of view. Watch the debris, Megan, as you spotted actually there, punctures the tyre and it immediately goes out of position. And this is on board with Danny Kvyat, Grosjean just sort of guides into it when the debris hits him. And, oh, nasty, nasty. So,
Right.
we're ready for the restart then, for the Grand Prix.
Oh, that just...
Yeah, go on.
I don't even have words for it.
As soon as that happened and the car exploded, human reaction took over for everyone.
Yeah, I even have a photo of all our reactions.
Well, it was sent to you, wasn't it, by one of our viewers at home?
Yeah.
That's a scary accident, scary day in Formula One. And lucky, so lucky, Romain Grosjean was able to get back through and seemingly will be recovering shortly.
You can actually kind of see it in the reflection of your glasses as well.
Well, let me see.
Hold on. I'll turn the brightness up.
Yeah, you can see the flames and the reactions of my glasses as well, so that's going to be a shocker. I have the restart grid in front. Hamilton, Verstappen, Perez, Bottas, Albon, Ricciardo, Norris, Ocon, Gasly, Vettel. So 19 cars will take the restarted grid for today's Grand Prix, and the race will go again. So the safety car will come out. The red flag is still in effect. We'll be on lap 2 of 53. The race will restart on the 3rd lap, and the red flag has now gone away, and the cars are all back together again. Should be going quite good. Ian Birch will rejoin us, I believe, on the way to the grid and get ready for another lights out procedure. Thanks for all sticking with us here on YouTube for the watch along coverage. It's not been the race we wanted to bring you, I'm afraid. An hour and a half of chat due to a massive accident. Ribosome says the impact was so heavy that the car was cut in half. That was scary. If that's the first time you've seen it, I can agree. Yes, it was. And apologies, by the way, still for the language that I think all in the box, and the reactions
Apart
of us.
from me, all I said was, "Oh God."
It had to be a red flag immediately, and when something that happens, you can't just keep talking as like or commentating. That was an horrific accident, and speechless came over everybody as well.
When
But,
something like that happens, you just lose your filter.
You do. Honestly, it's so bad. The race, though, is about to restart, and it will restart with Lewis Hamilton as the race leader. The safety car will come back out, and the race will go again. So we will wait for the procedure. The lights are on. The safety car message has come out. The red flag is still in effect, though. We'll restart on the second lap of 57. The red lights will come again, and lap 3 will be the new restart procedure. Watch on the timing tower as well. Everyone will come back out. I think they've gone into the correct positions now. So the drivers are going to have to negotiate all of the corners going forward and one by one go round. Megan, we could be in a weird situation here where cars are ducking in and out to retake grid positions. So
Probably.
we might see more than one formation lap behind the safety car. So, new starting grid confirmed. We are all set for the Bahrain Grand Prix Take 2. And the green light is on, and the restart of the Bahrain Grand Prix begins after a 1 hour, 25-minute delay due to an horrific accident. We are restarting. It will be a standing start with a new 5-light procedure. Cars are to get in their correct grid positions on the lap to the grid. This is effectively the new parade lap for the Grand Prix. Bottas is already overtaking. Cars getting in position. The grid is Hamilton, Verstappen, Perez, Bottas, Albon, Ricciardo, Norris, Ocon, followed by Gasly, Vettel, Stroll, Leclerc, Sainz, Giovinazzi, Kvyat, Raikkonen, Magnussen, Russell, and Latifi. That is the grid going forward. Ian Birch is rejoining us now, coming into the commentary box for the Bahrain Grand Prix Take 2. Hopefully it's a lot more exciting and actually gets going, unlike Bahrain Part 1. Our 4th red flag of the year, that was. We can now get going once again. Ian Birch rejoins us, coming to the back of the commentary box now.
How long was that red flag?
The red flag at end was 1 hour, 25 minutes, almost the endurance of a Formula 1 Grand Prix. So as we move over and get ready, switch the microphones back on. There's your headset for you. There's the restart grid if you want to take a look at that. They're on their way now, getting into position. Welcome back.
We're just having discussions, me and your mum.
Yeah.
We think Roman's got more than 3 children.
I think he has got 4. I think it.
No, your mum says up to 6.
Is it? Oh well. If one thinks 6, one thinks 6.
I know Johnny's got about 5 or 6.
Yeah. Sorry, just adjust your mic for you there. Yeah.
All girls in Johnny's case.
There's the confirmation. Safety car will enter the pits. It will be a standing start to the Bahrain Grand Prix. Take 2. This time, let's hope it can go better than before. This has been our 4th red flag of the year, as I said. 1 in Monza, 2 in Mugello, and now 1 here in Bahrain.
Well, I think it can be better than before because of the fact that
Yeah.
the first start of this race was the most horrific in 10 years. So
Yeah. So the safety car is still out on the track. They've just taken away the red flag graphics as it's now entering the pit lane. We're now into a formation lap. So reminder, lap 1 happened. This is lap 2, an effective formation lap restart. Lap 3 will be the official start to this Grand Prix. It's a bit like...
According to visitors, he has 2.
He only has 2.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know he has 3.
Yeah, I've seen 3. We'll keep an eye on that.
Roman has
recently
talked
had
about
one?
3.
I think he did, yeah. So
Maybe
we'll
that's
keep an
what
eye
it
out
is.
as Lewis Hamilton comes to the grid. So grid order.
Your mum's got 4.
Here's your starting tyres. Gasly dad has changed from the softs and has gone to the hards. Vettel's on hard tyres. So is Magnussen.
Is Sainz back out?
Yeah, Sainz back out and he's gone soft tyres again. So Sainz has gone soft. Kvyat's gone soft as well. The rest of them are on mediums. So the safety car has come in. It is now officially the 3rd lap of the Grand Prix. So this is the official start to the Bahrain Grand Prix. It's 3. Megan's telling us 3 kids for Romain Grosjean.
I don't think one of them's added 2.
I know the eldest one always gives him grief for
Yeah.
the things. I don't think he'll give him grief this time.
No.
I think he'll give him a hug.
That'll just be mean.
So, grid order. Hamilton, Verstappen, followed by Perez, Bottas, Albon, Ricciardo, Norris, Ocon, Gasly, Vettel, Stroll, Leclerc, Sainz, Giovinazzi, Kvyat, Raikkonen, Magnussen, Russell, and Latifi bringing up the rear. We have been under a red flag for 1 hour and 25 minutes due to a huge accident with Romain Grosjean. He's in hospital, awake and recovering. It's time to turn our attention to the Bahrain Grand Prix. The restart procedure will have 5 more lights. Here we go again then, folks. 3 on, 4 on, 5 red lights. Action! Take 2! Good start from Hamilton. It's a better start from Verstappen, but it's a better start from Bottas. The two Alphas immediately almost into the pit wall together. Into turn 1 we go. Verstappen holds off from Perez, drags him out wide. Albon trying to take Bottas again. I can't do it this time. Now, cross your fingers and join with me. Can they get through turn 3? Yes, they can. But Bottas pulls to the inside of Perez into turn 4. Can't pull it off. Bottas stays third. Albon tries to go round the outside, holds it round the outside, off the track goes one of the Ferraris. I think that was Leclerc, and he's been caught out by Gasly. Big slide from him. No crash. We're good. Downhill now towards turn number 8. Holding it back side by side. That is Kvyat trying to get past Lance Stroll. Russell's dropped down to 19th. Latifi's moved up the order, and we have a yellow flag in the second sector. Someone's off in the background. It's Lance Stroll is off, and the safety car is called immediately. Another accident at the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix Part 2.
This is cursed.
Safety car out. So another delay. And it's Sector 7. So yellow and safety car again, Dad. It's Stroll out.
It's Stroll.
Oh,
it's
another
a
accident.
dramatic one because Lance is upside down.
Lance Stroll is upside down at turn number 7. This will be another red flag, I'm afraid. And he's out of the car.
This
He's
is
hurt,
cursed.
He's hurt.
He's hurt, but he's out of the car. And I can't imagine they're not going to have to stop the race again.
He's up. He's just winded.
Lance Stroll upside down. He's out of the car and is walking away. But another big accident at the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix.
I can imagine about what just happened. He was terrified.
So safety car. Let's see what happens. So it's Kevin Magnussen going round the outside. And where's the accident? No, it's one of the Toro Rossos.
It's
It's
Daniel
Kvyat. Oh,
again.
You're right. Upside down, flips over.
Oh my God, he's not
Lance
having a time
Stroll.
with it.
So Stroll's already had one of the McLarens go through.
His Stroll inside.
So Kvyat lunges up the inside and for the second time today causes contact with one other driver. Kvyat must be feeling so unlucky today because he's now flipped over Lance Stroll. So lucky, Stroll is out of the car, but another big accident.
One of those incidents where the front wheel hits the drive wheel of the other car and just flips it.
Another big one.
Who put a curse on this race?
Oh, Stroll upside. I did say during the red flag.
And yet again, Sebastian has to avoid.
I did say during the red flag period as well, this has got all the feels of Imola 94. No, we didn't lose Romain Grosjean. He hasn't passed away. He's still okay. He's alive. But it has the feels of everyone's been shocked. So everyone's reactions and nerves are down. And accidents happen. And that's what's happened.
We saw a number of drivers.
And Vettel just said, again, man, not again. This same as Austria. Yeah. And Lance Stroll crawling out of the car. And Ian Roberts once again right there to help him. But that racing point is upside down. The safety car is out again, and it's. I can't believe they're not going to have to stop the race. They might
I think
be able
Sebastian's
to get us
got a point. Why did Daniel Kvyat PK do? Come off it.
That's a
Sebastian.
Second accident now.
Right, you used to call him torpedo.
Yeah.
Right.
Fuel's leaking on the track. By the way,
this is something Daniel used to do.
Yeah.
And I agree with Megan. I think they're not in the right frame of mind. Daniel, the new Daniel, will not have taken that chance.
I agree, yeah. Megan.
I think it is crazy. I think Halo saved him once again. Otherwise, he would have bashed his head on the pavement.
Yeah, he was upside down quite dramatically, wasn't he? It was just an under acceleration. But another big accident at the start of a Bahrain Grand Prix. This race is not kind, is it, today? And I think tension's running high. Magnussen's pitted. He's now dropped down to 18th place as well. He's going to join the back of the queue. This is Vettel's start. or restart, I should say, down towards turn 1. He had a poor getaway, actually, and he's immediately having to defend. Round the outside came one of the McLarens. That would have been Carlos Sainz coming through. Vettel's on the radio. And Vettel saying that Leclerc chopped him off and not knowing that he was there. And same as Austria. That was Styria, the second race where they came together. So Leclerc forced him back through. So, yeah. Vettel saying all morning, talking about giving room. And Vettel's very angry on the radio, saying
I think
that,
I don't think he's talking about Leclerc. I think he's talking about
Kvyat,
Daniel Kvyat.
Yeah.
You can hear the emotion in his
That's
voice.
Bottas. Sorry, Megan, to cut across. Bottas has just come into the pit lane. He's put on hard compound tyres and has gone through. Yeah, Magnussen's pitted and he's put on a fresh set of hard tyres. We're hearing it again in our ears from Vettel.
You can hear the emotion in
Yeah,
Vettel's
he's angry.
voice. He's both angry and upset, and I can tell he's scared.
Yeah, so they've put
Something wrong with those tyres that they put on during
Bottas,
the
yeah.
red flag.
So, yeah, they've took them off immediately. So that's dropped Bottas down to 16th place. He's having a fight back just like Turkey now.
Oh, but he's dreading being in the back. He's cursed
Yeah.
at the moment.
Well, Russell's up to 14th.
Clearly, you know, as we saw, he was
13th,
shaking.
13th.
Yeah.
After the incident, he was shaking.
Yeah,
and,
Vettel was, yeah.
And no, not Vettel.
Bottas.
Bottas.
Yeah.
Valtteri was shaking like mad, and I
Word speechless. Have they got?
I am that they've continued with this race. I knew they would.
But already on a restart, we've seen Lance Stroll flip over. Thankfully, the car didn't catch fire. Thankfully, he's okay completely.
There's an awful lot of
nerves
stuff on there.
There's debris. There's
debris.
Fuel almost looks like as well.
This race is cursed. I'm going to say it now. It's cursed.
Sainz saying, should we restart? And Sainz saying, thank God he's okay on the radio.
The Halo did its job,
There's a lot
like
of that
Megan
today.
said.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that today.
Oh, this is not good. This is feeling another dark day. They've got to be careful out there. They've got to keep their emotions in check. They've got to refocus. Grosjean's fine.
Let's just hope accidents don't come with freeze.
Well, he's not seriously injured.
He's
although
injured,
he
though.
has some
Yeah.
very bad burns. As we said, that suit and the his lungs are what we're worried about. But he is alive and he has been flown to hospital.
Wait, is that?
Sorry to cut across here, Megan. Yeah, look, it's flattened the camera on top.
A Renault.
And no, it is the camera. It's the camera, the FOM camera on the top of Lance Stroll. It's been flattened into the monocoque. But I also want to point out the front wheel, the tether's come off. The front wheel's gone completely.
The tether again?
Yeah, the tether's come off the car. The
That's
wheel
the
should have
second time
today. Yeah, because it came off with Grosjean. And it's come off with
with
Stroll now, so we've got to
tyres?
watch those tethers. But the safety car out on the 6th lap of 57. And again, we barely managed one lap of racing speed before something else happens.
So we've got Lewis followed by Max, followed by Perez. Checo is the only of the pink Mercs left in this race now.
Yep, and he's running in third at the moment, as you say. Watch out for Albon, though.
Yes, I was just going to say that 2 Red Bulls in the top
crash?
4.
No, I'm thinking Albon might score a podium here.
Yeah, Bottas down into 16th in the. He chose to go into the pits and change those tyres that we believe that was changed during the red flag period.
So let's take another look at this. Is the restart race. Great start once again from Lewis Hamilton. Trying to pull back. The 2 Renaults have a shocker. Ricciardo falls further back. Perez gets ahead of Verstappen, but Verstappen has the inside line into turn 1. And Verstappen on the radio saying that it was quite funny. And look, there's the Constantino effect back as Leclerc beats the side of Vettel once again and almost comes together. Going off the track there, that's Magnussen going right round the outside of what I want to say is Giovinazzi.
Yeah, he clipped Giovinazzi at the same time.
Yeah, so
it's because he's not in the right frame of mind.
None of them are. This is getting worse and worse and worse.
For a second, Perez was in second.
For a second, yeah, he was. Safety car is out then, and we'll wait to see what's going to happen next. Verstappen didn't get away well, did he? He bogged down in the second phase of the start, and that's what caused him to lose traction. And he was so close on the inside to
They
bounce
do have
him
a
across.
problem with that, actually, at Red Bull.
Yeah, the second phase, the launch sequence just doesn't work out. This is on board with Pierre Gasly then. Started 9th and still is 9th. Look at that. That's Ricciardo having a worse start. Of course, the double clutch system not working out. And this is, the 4th time now we've had a standing restart in this season.
Is Max's underground everything's sparking again.
It looks like the floor's hitting the front
Yeah.
there. So let's
Too
take
much
another look.
downforce.
Let's take another look. So Kvyat has the inside line. Stroll goes right round the outside, but I don't know.
Vettel almost comes to a stop.
Yeah, that's a very nasty accident once again.
They were going around a corner as well, so that's like...
I say that's Kvyat's fault. He shouldn't have been there on the inside coming into that half of the track. Look, there's the wheel, look. It
Well,
comes
Sebastian's
off.
a four-time world champion, and he said that straight away. So,
Yeah.
I think
Should have
he's
been
the
there.
expert.
Hey, look at one of those pole things came off.
So they're on springs as well, so they pop back up. So that must have been the force. It ripped it off.
I was just saying that yesterday.
You were, yeah. And it's not the only thing we were saying yesterday. Look, Kvyat shouldn't have been there. It was the racing line of Strolls. And again, a brilliant avoidance from Sebastian Vettel. You brought it up, but my goodness, he's having a great
Do you
reaction
know,
today.
he's slowly becoming one of my favourite
Oh!
drivers currently.
That's why Magnussen had to come into the pit lane. He hit the back of Vettel's tyre and damaged the front wing. So that is why he had to come in. So the car of Lance Stroll has been recovered.
What
No,
are we
yeah.
doing, Massey? I'm sorry. I know one of the people says don't have a go at
Are
my
there
Australian friend.
people on the
There are
track?
people sweeping the thing as the cars come round.
That's not safe at all.
Right?
Yeah.
Can we remind you that George Russell went off
Yeah.
the circuit
Very
during
close to
a
flying to
safety
Bahrain
car
right
lap?
now.
That's only 2 races to go in Emilia Romagna.
I'll tell you what, what is going on with Massey and
Yeah.
allowing these people on the track?
They need to be clear when the cars are coming through. Then they can go back out to sweep, which they can now.
These
So
cars need to be going much slower when they're
Yeah.
going past people.
the safety cars should really bunch them all up because look at the gap. That Hamilton's backing them up, really, isn't it? The safety car's going full pace, but on the driver tracker, the safety car needs to back them up, and Hamilton needs to stop playing God with thinking he's a safety car and follow
Ironically-
the speed of the
Bottas-
pace car.
Ironically, when this happened with George,
There was a puncture on the tyre. That's why they changed it. You're right. There was a puncture on Bottas' tyre between turn 3 and 4.
ironically, when this happened with George and he went off in the safety car,
Yeah, 2
right,
races ago.
and
yeah.
then they were sweeping the track. It was Roman that was making such a fuss about it,
Yeah.
and so he should. He protested to Massey that they should never have been on the track, as did Lance Stroll and his father, right? You know, I don't know what's going on in Formula One behind the scenes.
They
at the
need to
moment.
have a major shake-up coming into...
Have you seen the
Yeah.
incidents of in the papers and the reports about what the drivers think of those new tyres for 2021?
Yeah, they don't like them, do they? And Hamilton
No, they
and
were
Vettel,
horrible
yeah.
tyres, they said, according to Lewis.
They do not like them and want to keep them off as much as possible. And they've had, 4 years to develop something new, Lewis said, and he hasn't done nothing. Night has fallen in our UK studio where we're broadcasting from. So it's now a night race and night race. Yes, it has. So it's night has fallen and night has fallen. So we're level now with Bahrain. But it doesn't usually happen. The race should have been over by now. Not just beginning. Lap 8 of 57. And the safety car is out as Verstappen looks to almost pass Hamilton. Hamilton's backing the field up too much. Lewis is not the safety car driver. He needs to keep speed with
He's
Bert
being too
Mylander.
cautious.
Safety car's in this lap.
He's being too cautious.
No, he's trying to get tyre temperature in. So
I
that's
know,
what
though,
the
he's
problem
also
is.
being way too cautious right now. I saw how he went round that corner. He doesn't go round that corner.
Yeah, I think he was. I think he was just careful in case the marshals are there. But look, this was all about Lewis is now 6th, 7th car lengths behind the safety car. He needs to be closer than that so that everyone keeps temperature. The safety car in lights is at the entrance to turn 14, the last 2 corners.
Can you remember?
Yeah.
Can you remember any occasion over the last 10 years where we've needed the second safety car or the second medical car? We are operating under the second medical car.
The
first medical car was damaged in that incident.
So
its radiator has gone.
So it needs a new
fired.
one. But I think we've seen a situation where the safety car had to be replaced in Canada in 2007 because it was out 5
the
times.
door.
Yeah, the door, yeah.
Do you remember the door? It was
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Who took the door as? Was it
Heidfeld.
Massa?
Heidfeld. Yeah.
Heidfeld took the door off.
Bad, I found that funny.
Safety car
Yeah,
is
we
coming
watched
in. We're getting ready to go green here. Lewis Hamilton controls the field. The safety car is in. Hamilton bolts it. No overtaking until the start-finish line. I hope they know that. They're into the last corner now. The green flag is out. Hamilton accelerates away from Verstappen. Okay, so finally, after 8 laps, 2 attempts, the Bahrain Grand Prix at racing speeds is on as we head down towards turn 1. Bottas is already trying to look for an overtaking position. Perez is feeling very very lucky. Meantime, Raikkonen is looking to the inside of George Russell and Latifi. Leclerc goes to the inside of Ocon into turn 1, forces Ocon out too deep, and Ocon keeps the position. Raikkonen and Latifi making passes. Raikkonen goes through ahead of Latifi. Here comes Ocon back to the inside now, further back as well. Side by side, through goes Kvyat, and Gasly's up there as well, and Vettel locks up. That was trying to get off. Ricciardo goes through, and all sorts of omni shambles happening at the back half of the track. What a restart, and a clean one finally. Keep your fingers crossed they can keep it going. Downhill towards turn 8 to 9. Can they keep it? Yes, it looks to be a good restart this time. Hamilton leads, lap 9.
With two AlphaTauris alongside, I think it was when one of the Renaults coming down that straight, 3 abreast. I thought this isn't going to be another bad restart, but thankfully everything came right in the end, and they all got through.
And here comes the McLaren again, coming to the inside. Sainz trying to get past Ricciardo. Ricciardo nearly taking the front wing off, but then locks up mid-corner, runs too deep, and through goes Carlos Sainz up into 8th place.
You've got to take them as soon as they come. Megan.
At least no one's crashed yet, though I'm honestly still in shock after like nearly 2 hours.
That the race is still going on in some form. I agree. It's amazing that now after 3 attempts to get the race started, for the first time today, I might point out, we have completed a lap at racing speed. So finally, after 9 laps, 3 attempts, the race is on. Hamilton now finally sets the fastest lap of the race at 1:33.733. As further back, Raikkonen's having to go to the inside to try and defend. Latifi's pulling to the outside. Latifi's gone through. Raikkonen almost looked like he backed out. That was Latifi having so much more speed, and so is Russell as well, up to 12th place. So Raikkonen's dropping out big time. But now, already, Hamilton has a 1.080 second lead. No, 1.1 second lead to Verstappen. It's updating as quickly as we can say it. As Vettel side by side with Bottas. Bottas can't go through that part of the track. And this time, Vettel doesn't lose it on acceleration like he did 18 months ago, I should say. Because the racing was at a different time of the year. So, already, 2 retirements, Stroll and Grosjean, both in horrific circumstances, flipping up and blowing up. But it's Hamilton, Verstappen, Perez, the top 3, and he's got the gap to Albon. Who's first?
Well, what can you say about this race? We've gone 10 laps. You know, it's amazing because that's the most laps we've done consecutive. We've got an under investigation for Danny.
And Leclerc.
And for the incident with Charles Leclerc.
That's Danny Kvyat and Charles Leclerc for turn 8 incident causing a collision. Okay. Yeah. So that's... that must be a mistake, though, for Leclerc, because I don't think he was involved in it, was he?
He wasn't.
I didn't see him.
He was way up the field.
Yeah, unless there's another incident that we haven't seen from Kvyat again so far.
We thought it was a McLaren, didn't we?
What, sorry?
We thought it was a McLaren that there was, and Danny was forced in the situation.
To go to the inside, yeah.
I bet whoever's on either side of Kvyat is really, really scared right now.
Well, that's his teammates.
Hang on, are they investigating the incident that led to the safety car?
Not the red flag. I think it was caused. I think the incident involved in the safety car. Yeah,
with
with Stroll. I think that must be what they investigated because that was down in turn 8.
Was Leclerc involved in that? I didn't see. I want to see a replay.
Yeah, I want to see a replay. I don't think I saw.
I know
Leclerc
Vettel.
There.
We saw it from Vettel. I don't remember him being there.
Maybe they were getting confused with Vettel and Leclerc's cars.
There could be.
Well, Vettel never did anything wrong.
No, he just had to back out.
Avoided it.
We'll check if the stewards obviously feel that Leclerc did something, although we didn't think he was in the vicinity.
Wasn't even in that area.
Yeah.
The 2 AlphaTauris, when they were side by side, I'm sure it was McLaren of Sainz on the inside.
It looked to be as Bottas tries to go on the inside and then Vettel locks up coming to turn 8. Bottas senses it. Now he's going to try and hit the accelerator. But turn 10 is not the good one. Verstappen saying, my car's jumping around like a kangaroo, I swear. Vettel locks up again, big time, coming into turn 10. Bottas also locks up ever so slightly. And now it's the power of the DRS all the way down the back straight away. Pulling to the inside. Bottas trying to get through. Not paying off this time. Turn 1 seeming to be an optimum overtaking position. And correction, turn 8 involving Kvyat and Stroll under investigation, not Leclerc. So it was a correction there. Leclerc not under investigation.
And his car can't be, he's not big enough to be, his car's not big enough to be a kangaroo, it's a wallaby.
Yes, for Verstappen and wallaby. So, it's Leclerc, not under investigation. He's clear, but he's got Sainz right behind him with the DRS coming down the start-finish straight. Leclerc can see it. Well, now, which way is he going to defend into turn 1? Pulls to the inside.
Oh,
Sainz
whoa,
late
whoa.
on the inside.
That's brilliant.
That is a great move, but runs too deep.
Will he get it?
Yes.
You really
he's got
have to
it.
make my heart nearly skip a beat.
Leclerc, Sainz throwing it on the inside.
Sainz, the last of the late breakers there.
This is a fantastic one, but Leclerc's coming back on the inside, coming into turn 4. Sainz cuts him off, but has to leave him some racing room. And they nearly touched.
He went on the sand-coloured grass.
And he caught him out. The front wing nearly tagged the back of Sainz, and he nearly had a massive accident. That's leaving him under pressure. Ricciardo goes left, cuts back to the inside, gets back through on Leclerc at turn 8. Leclerc losing time, hand over fist at the moment. So Sainz 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Leclerc down to 9th. Now he's under pressure from the 2 Alpha Terrains. But that was a great move from Sainz, and it triggered that chain reaction.
Yeah, for any of you who don't know, that the yellow stuff is not sand or paint. It is yellow-coloured grass, artificial grass,
and it's slippery.
That's what caused Alex's crash on Friday, because he thought he was on paint. Put his foot down and soon found out he wasn't.
It was the artificial grass that looks like a bit of sand coloured, as well, as you can see on the exit there at turn number 8 if you're watching along on TV pictures. So Leclerc's coming under pressure from the back of Gasly. They nearly had a manoeuvre coming into turn 11, but not paying off. Verstappen is closer to Hamilton at the moment. That graphic looking a little bit wrong from my point of view. He seems to be closing down a little bit more, Megan.
What is, Megan?
So it's lap 13. I didn't think we'll get this far, to be honest. So that's about
2 seconds. I'm going to have to cut across it because this is a very late move from Gasly into turn number 1. He's got ahead of Leclerc, and now Leclerc's going to fight back up the hill towards turn 4. Back to you.
That's around 1/4 into the race.
Yes, round about lap 13 and 57. Here comes Leclerc, has the DRS, pulls to the outside. As a time penalty's coming in the way for Danny Kvyat, Leclerc almost loses his front wing again. Gasly forcing him the wide line, but Danny Kvyat, a 10-second penalty for causing a collision. That was for flipping Lance Stroll over on the restart race.
To be honest, it's fair.
Yeah. Well, this is certainly getting an entertaining one.
Expected.
Yeah, had to expect that one going forward. Ferrari, Vettel saying, okay, the car is undrivable. So Vettel reporting the car's undrivable. He's down into 18th place. Vettel.
He's had a few touches from other cars onto his wheels. So
that must be a problem,
It could be just a structure of the suspension problem.
Here comes Kvyat looking for a move on Leclerc down into the last corner, not paying off. There's a yellow flag somewhere on the circuit. I'm not too sure where, but it's brought out a yellow.
Isn't it strange that most days if there's a yellow flag, you think, oh, I'll go green in a minute. Now on this race, you think, yellow flag, what has happened? I can't see anyone who's stopped. I think it's a marshal out on the track as Sainz comes up to the inside, and that's how Sainz got through. Everyone is actually on the driver track and moving. Green
flags come back out, so we're okay. We're all good. That was Ricciardo going through.
I agree with Sebastian. The way that Ferrari is turning is not right.
Yeah, Vettel's losing a lot of time. I think he's actually got a load of yellow.
He's got a load of his oversteer.
Yeah, coming into the back half of the track, and here comes Kvyat. Yeah, Kvyat coming onto the back now, Leclerc.
Be careful, Leclerc.
Yeah, Kvyat's been a bit of in the walls today, hasn't he? Trying to get back through, but Kvyat has the DRS running up towards turn number 4.
Daniel Torpedo is back.
I wouldn't want to be near him right now.
Well, he literally was a torpedo in the first half of the race when he blew up Romain Grosjean's car into the barrier. Coming through now, that's Bottas making a move on Latifi for 14th place. So Bottas and the hard tyres going forward.
Stroll.
I don't think we're being a bit rough on him. I don't think he was absolutely to blame.
No, it's just way too coincidence.
There was an incident on his left-hand side that caused him to go.
Yeah, it's just another thing that wound up going forward. Perez saying we're still on plan A. That was the team talking to the driver. So they're on a one-stop strategy, Megan. They're going to pit around about lap 30.
That's fair.
Well, he's on plan A. We're on plan K at the moment.
Going everywhere at the moment, aren't we, with this one?
And creating a new alphabet.
It's already 2 hours and 22 minutes, this broadcast. So it'll be the longest one of the season. Even Mugello's red flags only combined time of 40 minutes for both of them. Not this much.
We don't have to pay for blocks on YouTube, do we?
No way.
Good, because we don't want to be paying for another block.
No, we can just broadcast live as much as we like. Alpha standing by, waiting to go forward. Is there going to be any sort of information coming further back? Raikkonen coming now on Russell for the battle for 12th place. but Bottas, the one to watch, storming through out the field on a hard compound tyre. Down the stuff. Look, has Raikkonen got damage on his front wing? Because look, the front end plate is vibrating and sparking. I think Raikkonen might have front wing damage on the left. It looks like it's
there?
well, I don't know. It might have been on the restart. But Raikkonen looks to have damage on the front wing on the left end plate. Because look, it's rocking. Look, it's vibrating.
It's also hitting a wheel.
Yeah, that's not good. That's a problem there for Raikkonen. He must get that pitted. He might get the meatball flag at the moment.
Had some,
it's on the right.
Some strange things happened. We had a rear wing delaminate during practice 3.
Right.
Yeah. That was
causing it to flap like mad.
That was Verstappen who had that issue, as you were on about it earlier on in the red flag period, Megan. So right now it's lap 15 of 57. And everyone's just going to have to keep on going. Hamilton versus Verstappen now. Battle 2.5 seconds. Perez is dropped into the clutches of Albon. But the midfield battle's still strong. Here comes Bottas again. So they've finally got a string of good laps together. And now we're seeing the point that they're all just sort of going to play Simon Says a little bit and just keep in order until something changes in the pit stops. So, who's going to fancy playing Russian roulette? Who's going to pit early? And who's going to reveal the winner and the loser? They need to get some strategy back in this Grand Prix. It's been a very distracted day. The race should have finished by now. We're now more into the time that we'll be racing next weekend at the Shakir Grand Prix for the outer loop, which we actually thought Bahrain today was actually going to be a bit boring, and next weekend's race was going to be the more interesting one. I think we were wrong with that one.
We're going to have to look at the safety issues of this circuit before we get to the next race.
Yeah, they've got a week now, haven't they? 5 days in effect to make this circuit a lot safer.
One of the things is to paint these yellow grass-like artificial grass things.
Yeah.
Because of the fact the drivers are getting confused.
Paint them back into position, yeah.
Paint them back to green.
Yeah, put them back to green. He looks pretty on the off-board, but drivers
David
are getting
will
confused. Yeah, he's got the green paint. As that's Giovinazzi looking to the inside of Latifi coming into turn 4, and Latifi is ahead still of Giovinazzi, so that was a move not going to work. Magnussen's caught up, and Vettel right at the back of the field. The gap total between the leader, 38 seconds, so he's really struggling out there. Unusually, the timing screen showing the gap between the leader, not the interval. So we can't tell where the battles are on the circuit at the moment. So we're having to use our own graphical view, as we're seeing. Yes, Sainz, Ricciardo.
There's the gap and there's the interval on
so
this one.
Here we got Sainz, Ricciardo, Gasly, all sort of closed up in a middle battle on the back straightaway.
This is the one that Megan usually uses.
And keeps an eye on the commentary box.
She's too far away from it today, aren't you?
She can just about see the other one. 7 monitors to watch on. We're watching now as this is Kimi Raikkonen closing in on the George Russell, the Brit.
I'm just too focused on the race right now, trying to hope that someone else doesn't crash.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation, isn't it?
Well, we're coming up to the... some of them might want to change tyres soon.
You're right. Ricciardo's in the pit lane straight away, as soon as you say it. Ricciardo's dived into the pit lane. So what tyre's he going to put on? Now he's going to fall right back. We're closing into that time, as Megan said, of a 2-stop race strategy. So Ricciardo was on, if I look at this monitor, Ricciardo, well, there he is. He's put on the hard compound tyres now, but was on the mediums for the opening stage of this race. So Ricciardo now puts on the hard tyres and falls right to the back of the field. But hopefully they can keep him to the end. 17 laps to the end? 17 laps go to the end? It's not going to make it, is he?
No.
He needs another set of softs if there's a safety car going forward.
17
laps.
One. We're only 17 laps in.
That's what I was on about. He's completed 17 laps on those mediums, and now he's going to go. Yeah, he's going to put another one on. Ricciardo will have to go softs at the end of the race and pray for another safety car in order to keep in. So we're watching Raikkonen versus Bottas now. The battle still for 12th place. Everyone is very much spread out. Hamilton has just ignited something in that Mercedes. He's going 3 seconds lap quicker is the gap.
Dill said that the thing about Lewis now is like he's on automatic pilot.
Yeah.
And every time he gets in the car, he does everything exactly brilliantly.
Yeah.
Instead of just great.
Doesn't have to think about it anymore, yeah.
He's just so at one with that car that it's got to be a mechanical failure for Lewis not to actually get fastest lap or even win the race on most occasions.
Mechanical issues.
And that has been the case for the last...
4 races in a row, yeah.
Races in a row.
Every time we've broadcast live here on YouTube, Lewis Hamilton's been the winner. Into the pit lane now comes Ocon and Kvyat. Raikkonen in it as well. So that was a 10-second penalty?
Lewis is a genius.
Yeah, Kvyat, I'll have to say that in the pit lane. Megan?
Bill says, what's your prediction for third place? I'm quite
I think
positive
Albon.
for either Albon or Perez. I'm hoping for Perez.
I think Perez.
I think Perez stands a chance, but I'm still hoping Albon, as Megan says.
Alex is taking it
Yeah.
easy. Alex is doing a fantastic job. He's not doing anything spectacular because he needs to.
And Kvyat released in the same path as Kimi Raikkonen, side by side. Unsafe release there from Alfa Romeo. They might be done with that one.
Although I must say, Dr. Marco's philosophy.
Yeah.
Wait, was that Kvyat again?
Yeah.
Not too loud in my ear, Megan.
Dr.
Oh my
Marco's
God.
philosophy is that
Yeah.
if
Yes,
you
one
don't
more.
go for
Yeah,
that
'cause it's
thing, you
going
shouldn't
to
be
the
out
car.
there.
Sorry,
If
say that
you
again.
Dr. Marco's philosophy is if you don't go for a
Position, yeah.
position, you shouldn't be out there, right? You've got to be able to pull out of it
And understand, yeah.
and understand why you pulled out of it.
Before going, yeah, I know.
You've got to learn your craft, and that's Dr. Marco's philosophy.
We- 2 seconds. Ocon's going for a manoeuvre.
I'm sorry, but Daniel never has done.
No, he hasn't. Ocon's just got through on Sebastian Vettel for 14th place. We
Kvyat.
had the 10-second penalty for Kvyat in the pit lane, but when he had the rear left tyre put on, it took too long, so he's lost more time in the pit lane to Raikkonen.
I mean,
Can
Daniel.
we just try and find the common denominator?
Ricciardo's alongside Vettel down towards the last corner of turn 14. Sort of kind of cross you there, Megan, but Vettel saying the car undrivable. Ricciardo goes back through. Megan.
It's not Kvyat's day. He's been the common denominator in everything today.
He has,
He has, and that's unfortunate because we really thought that he had learnt his lessons.
As Norris goes side by side and comes out in the middle of a battle between, where is he? Latifi and Giovinazzi in the Alpha. And Giovinazzi backs out of that one. But now, look at this. Norris, so much faster than Latifi, even on cold mediums coming through. That was an easy pass. But Russell's into 8th place.
How many times have you seen Dr. Marco sat on a bench with one of the drivers, one of the 4 drivers for them, and explaining why they went wrong, totally away from the debrief because they wants to make a personal comment on their driving and where he thinks they should improve.
Hamilton's in the pit lane, changing over from medium to medium. So a new set of mediums going on.
That's because his rears were quite hot.
Yeah, you saw that a couple of laps ago. So Hamilton pits, Verstappen taking the lead, Perez second. It's Albon into the pit lane now. So Albon takes the lead of the race. That's an impressive one.
It might seem strange for somebody in such a position to do that. It might seem like being over the top. But it's because Dr. Marco wants all his drivers to improve. And if you look at his record,
it works. Yeah.
It works. Karun is one of his biggest fans, of the way he deals with things. And it's quite like Ross Brawn.
Yeah.
Ross Brawn used to do that. He used to take people aside and explain his views. Whether you took them on board and did something about them was your own thing. But
so Albon's come out down into 7th place. Latifi and Ocon still a little bit closer together. This is the battle as Latifi, Ocon, followed by Giovinazzi and Magnussen. Here comes Ocon to the inside of the Williams coming into turn 4. Latifi just doesn't seem to want to care at the moment. He's letting everybody pass him. Latifi, you have to defend. You are racing for position, not a blue flag. So he's really got to pull his socks up now.
I don't think he wants to become one of those drivers out.
Well, he's got to pull up his big woolly Canadian socks. There's 3 into 1, doesn't go. Ricciardo launched up the inside of Giovinazzi. Giovinazzi himself was going for a move for Latifi. Latifi backed off to the outside extremely, looking like he was going to let them through. Giovinazzi goes to the inside and Latifi shuts the door. What on earth is Latifi doing? He's a danger out there. Learn. And now here comes Ricciardo going through on him. He's passed him side by side coming into turn 12. And Giovinazzi got caught out by all that. Great job from Ricciardo to get through the pair of them. But seriously, Latifi, that is the most stupidest line I think I've ever seen. He's racing as a back marker, not as someone in position. Into the pit lane goes Perez. Yeah. And Hamilton leads again. Verstappen has pitted.
2.5 for Perez.
And that's Verstappen coming out just ahead of Sainz, who's taken up to 3rd. Perez comes out just in front of Leclerc. So Hamilton leads from Verstappen, Sainz, Gasly, and Perez at the moment. Sainz has He hasn't pitted yet. He pitted onto the red flag.
Norris takes Russell.
Russell's in the pit lane. Giovinazzi pits and Vettel pits as well. So that puts Latifi back up to 12th place. Magnussen to 13th. As well, Giovinazzi drops further back, as you say. Russell pits, Giovinazzi and Vettel in. But seriously, Latifi needs to stop driving like a back marker and needs to start driving for position, because he could have just cost his team points there.
Well, Sebastian was on about the fact to Channel 4 this weekend.
Yeah.
About the fact that when he moves to Aston Martin next year, he hopes that he'll be able to work with Lance Stroll on improving Lance's driving to make him more consistent.
That's a good idea. Driver coaching.
Because he said that's always what happened, and he praised. Mark Webber was one of the interviewees, and he said that when he first started, Mark taught him so much.
Yeah, he did. And that's another glory thing as well. The fact that the drivers, the older drivers can teach the younger ones as sort of a protege. It's a driver coaching, and it works even for the older drivers. It should have on both sides. Formula 1 drivers should have driver coaches still as well.
He also said that if you are an older driver, he said Leclerc in the last season has taught him a few things as well. You've got to be able to listen to the youngsters and how they do it. And if they are doing something right, you've got to try and do that yourself.
And this is Verstappen. It is Verstappen getting through on Leclerc. And I'm not sure where that is at the moment because the computer's not showing where Verstappen is. So that's Albon. It's Albon passing Leclerc. So the computer graphics getting it wrong there.
Expanding that, I think that's what's wrong with Max.
Yeah,
Max hasn't got anybody now that is much more experienced. The most experienced person Max has raced with is Ricciardo.
And he lost, Ricciardo lost it.
And he wasn't going to listen to Ricciardo. Danny and him got on so well. And I think that's why Max isn't showing the momentum that we thought he would at the start of his career.
Latifi comes into the pit lane. Sainz has just pitted. He's put on a brand new set of mediums, so he's good then for a two-stopper going forward. He's taken those hards off, the soft tyres on, and put them on really late in the race. That's good.
There's no doubt that Max gets so much out of that car. That Red Bull isn't as good as the Mercs at all, and yet he's up there competing with them. How much better would Max be if he had an experienced driver by his side? That's when they was doing these things, and they was saying, would Max want to eventually end up at Ferrari?
Yeah.
Or racing at Mercedes? Karun pointed out that he felt that he needed a more experienced driver to learn off.
And this is Perez closing in on Gasly for third place. Very late, pulling to the inside into turn one. Gasly looks like a sitting duck compared to the DRS-powered Racing Point. Perez goes up into third place and looks to could make it 2 podiums in a row for Racing Point. Verstappen on the radio. Verstappen says, we have nothing to lose here, so let's go full send. And Red Bull, the team engineers, replied copy. So Red Bull, nothing to lose. They've secured second in the Constructors' Championship. They're saying go for it.
I think they also have a plan up their sleeve.
Yeah.
When he said send sounded like a code for them to do something that they've planned.
It's an unusual thing to say, isn't it? To say, let's send it. He could say, let's go for it or send it. You're right. He's chosen that word specifically as well. Megan? I thought you were going to say something a second ago.
I thought I heard something on Hamilton's radio.
That's Norris on our radio being told if you can pass Bottas, let's do it, but don't hold him up. Leclerc locks up on the mediums into turn 10.
How's Lewis doing? He's purple.
Sector 2,
Sector 2.
Verstappen's got the fastest lap of 1:33.085. Hamilton at the moment improving.
Verstappen purple in Sector 1.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay, Megan.
You okay, babe?
Verstappen will be back on. Megan pops back. As here we go then with, this is Albon on Gasly. Gasly's dropping back an awful lot. I don't think he's pitted, has he? No, 21 laps on the hard tyres, so he's sitting ducks to these guys. So Albon's easily going to breeze past him, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Gasly, though, in a good position, though. He's done 21 laps on that hard tyre.
But he's not going to be sitting duck to Albon, who's now within the DRS zone, pulls to the inside line, coming to turn 1. Light on the brakes, and it's still close to call coming into the corner, but Albon has got past him as Charles Leclerc comes into the pit lane, takes off the medium compound tyre, puts on a brand new set of the hards to go late into the race. That might be his only stop of the evening.
Leclerc stop, what was that?
3.2, I think it said.
I thought it was slower than the others.
Slow.
The others were averaging 2.5, 2.6. And Perez did a 2.5, didn't he?
Yes, that's slow from Leclerc. It looked like there was a rear problem as well. This is watching Valtteri Bottas now. He's moved up to 6th place after passing under the safety car after the restart.
Good fight back by Valtteri at the moment, but he might need another pit stop himself. So he's really got to get past a few of these cars because he needs to be up about 4th or 5th.
And they're going to extend the strategy on the hard tyre, look.
Yeah.
He's just got the radio message, we're going to extend.
The hard tyre is the one that you can extend on. You can't extend on the softs, can you?
Yeah, so the hard tyre is the best one to do it on because you can go longer into the
so
race
he's
distance.
lucky that he's got them on.
Yeah.
But he's battling away because he's had some adverse moments in this race.
Norris.
And he was shaking after that crash. And I think he's back in his zone now.
As soon as the lid goes down, they sort of re-energise themselves as well. He got a little bit wide there coming out of turn 14. But Norris is closing in on Bottas as well. Bottas has done 19 laps on those tyres, pitted under the safety car, as I said, just after the restart when Lance Stroll flipped over. But Norris, on those mediums, is catching him quicker and quicker and quicker. And he's in the DRS zone. Bottas knows it. Having to move his car ever so slightly. Here comes Norris into turn 1. That's a very late move in the braking zone going to the inside. He's going to run it too long. Bottas tries to get the cut back. Lando, that's a Ginetta line he just took through there.
Yeah.
He slid the rear tyre to stop Bottas going through.
He was doing things like that when he was 14 in British touring cars, Ginettas.
That's a fantastic move from Lando Norris, moving up to 6th place. The two Renaults now, Ocon ahead of Ricciardo, and in the Constructors' Championship, the battle for 3rd. The gap closing now with Racing Point on 169, McLaren on 158, and Renault 142. Ferrari have dropped out with scoring no points here so far today. It becomes a 3-horse fight.
During practice, we were being asked I asked the question, and people asked us various different things about when Lewis and Sebastian retire, who do we think would go through to become the top drivers? Obviously, Verstappen was one of them. But Norris is one that I feel that could do it.
He is. I think
I've
Norris
been watching
could be,
him since he was 13 years old, and I'll tell you...
Oh, sorry, it's going to crash in. Leclerc's diving to the inside in turn 10. That's not usually an overtaking spot, but he's made it stick on Magnussen. That is a brilliant move. Turn 10, a single-handed corner.
What you just saw from him wasn't unusual. That is in his stock.
Yeah.
That is one of a stock move that he used to do in Ginettas.
That's Lando Norris we're talking about. Just cut across. Sorry.
He's our next British hope. Along with George needs a better car, obviously.
Massively better car.
Alex is fighting for his life in this.
In Formula One, that is.
In Formula One.
Oh, Gasly pits. Bottas back in the pit lane. So Bottas, we just heard the radio message they're going to extend the stint, but they've brought him in early.
And young Callum had a very looking to win the championship in Formula 2 with fighting Mick Schumacher. Callum had a bit of a bad race today.
Oh, they cut back, didn't they, from Bottas coming out of the pit lane because Carlos Sainz has got a fantastic run right round the outside of Ricciardo into turn 4. Up the hill, Sainz goes through. Ricciardo must have had a downshift moment because he's lost so much time. He was right behind Ocon, his teammate, and going up the hill towards turn 4, lost so much more time.
We're nearly at halfway point in this race.
I didn't think we'll get halfway, to be honest with you.
And to be honest, they're not that spread apart.
No, they're not. Only a minute 7.
There's only Lewis and Verstappen that are way out in front of everybody else. Everybody else is just going through sector 2 into sector 3.
So they're all still in the same little zone, so it's getting closer.
Yeah.
Bottas is closing in on Kvyat as well.
The interesting thing will be when in about 4 laps time, where unless some of these lads start peeling off for another tyre change, that Lewis and Max are going to come up against the back end of this thing, which includes Mr. Vettel and Latifi.
Bottas goes for a move on the inside of Kvyat, and he had the DRS zone coming into turn 11. It was a breeze past in the end. The Mercedes is getting through on the AlphaTauri. This is the battle we're watching for the Constructors' Championship. Look at Carlos Sainz. He's lined up Esteban Ocon brilliantly. He must have turned up something with the fuel mix, which you are allowed to do. It's the engine mode. You're not allowed to change. Ocon defends hard, but right round the outside into turn 1 goes Carlos Sainz. He's running a bit too deep. Ocon comes back. They go side by side through 2, but Sainz shuts the door coming through 3 and gets ahead to 6th place. But Ocon now up the hill, has the DRS to fight back, can't really get through on the inside, and nothing really happening there as Ricciardo saying too much traffic as Bottas lunges up the inside of Russell for 12th place, and that Mercedes able to get stopped right on the mark at the apex.
Just like in Turkey, though, the McLarens were doing not very well in practice and in qualifying in Turkey, and then came alive halfway through the race. And who's come alive? 5th and 6th position. It's the 2 McLarens.
They need to get ahead of Perez, though, for the Constructors' Championship battle. Perez going to score 15 points. The only good thing in McLaren and Renault's arsenal is that Stroll's out of the race as Bottas lunges up the inside of Magnussen into turn number 8, and he goes ahead of the Great Dane. He's up to 11th now as well. So, good run so far, and Esteban Ocon and Daniel Ricciardo are currently going to go longer on their stint, I'm being told by Renault. So they're going to go longer on this stint. And they're both on, I believe, hard tyres at the moment. Ocon medium, Ricciardo hard. So they're going to go longer. Here's the race leader. 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton leading by 4.6 seconds. As Norris has been told on the radio, they're in the same race now as the 2 Renaults. So they're now going to fight for the position going forward. It's getting better, isn't it, this race?
Yeah, it's coming alive earlier than the usual. They usually come alive 15 laps to 20 laps before the end. This one's 26 laps before the end, isn't it? Something
right about
like
that, yeah. Just past half distance, as you said a couple of laps ago. A reminder that tonight at 9 o'clock UK time and at 12 o'clock UK time on BBB Racing 1, we have the esports series for the CRL. I know quite a few of their viewers watch our coverage as well with watch-alongs. That's on Twitch on BBB Racing 1.
It's really lucky, Josh, isn't it, that the race isn't
right about now.
later.
Yeah, we might not have a bit more.
Minute.
Well, it finished at 2 a.m. I do. I'm not going anywhere just yet. Debris on the track at turn 4, Verstappen's just been told.
And where's that come from?
Turn 4... Oh, it's Lewis is using a lot more of the track at the exit of turn 4. We've just heard it back in our ears through the F1 pit lane channel. So Lewis using a lot more of the track.
Yeah, it's not debris on the track. It's the way Lewis is taking the corners.
Yeah, so it's just the world feed that we listened to didn't get it in time. The pit lane channel replayed it in our ears.
And when a Mercedes starts to keep within track limits like that, and goes over the safety bit of the track as Lewis goes off the track
again at turn 4.
At turn 4. It's usually because they're trying to keep the sensors. They've got a warm sensor problem.
Teammates go side by side. Giovinazzi passes Kimi Raikkonen at turn 4. Now they can keep on the track. Lewis is doing qualifying lap times, isn't he? Trying to take off as much as he can. Raikkonen 15th, Vettel 16th at the moment. Now Vettel's struggling out there a lot.
Unless we have another safety car, this has become a 2-horse race halfway through.
It has, yeah.
But having seen the previous 5 or 6 races, nothing will surprise me what's going to come up.
After today's race, nothing's going to surprise me anymore. With accidents, we're still hearing, and we wait to hear more information on Romain Grosjean, but we know he's been flown to hospital. Ricciardo asking the team, why are we racing to each other? We've got to do something. Yeah, that's a good point. Why is Ricciardo racing Ocon at the moment in their battles? They've got to really slow down a little more because they've got to think of the Constructors' Championship. Norris and Sainz, 5th and 6th. And Esteban Ocon lets Daniel Ricciardo through for 7th place. A team order there.
I was going to say, I wonder if something was in his ears then.
Yeah. Well, Ricciardo's on hard tyres, Ocon's on mediums and older. Ricciardo on fresher hards. He can go longer, so Ricciardo's been released ahead of Ocon. Sensible there. They're thinking of the constructors. Megan, we have a YouTube comment from Gwenmin, I believe.
The race was supposed to be finished now or soon. 3.
It's 3:26 in the morning. Well, thank you very much, Gwenmin, for staying with us. You are a die-hard Formula One fan over in Australia.
I was going to say it's got to be Australia if it's 3:26 in the morning.
So did this race start at 1 a.m. for you Monday morning?
No wonder no wonder she thinks that Michael Massey is the not. You should not call Michael Massey too much because she's a fellow Aussie.
I'll tell you
It's
what.
11 hours ahead, so yeah.
Wow.
Sure.
Well, thank you very much, Gwen, for staying with us. You are a die-hard Formula 1 fan.
Danny Rick's doing really well. He's the 12 laps on that hard tyre. He's in 7th position. Let's hope that he can go better for you.
Yes, 1 in the morning was when the race started. I thank you, Gwen. He's there. So that's weird to have a race start on Monday. So I'm sorry if we confuse you saying that the race would start if the race didn't restart. It would be on tomorrow because it's already tomorrow for you. Sorry for confusing you.
You confused yourself now, Josh.
I did, yeah. It's confusing thinking of all the time zones around the world and how late the Bahrain race is. I'll tell you what, though, Gwen, the race is going to start at 4 a.m. next week, Australian time, from Bahrain to Australia. So
Yeah,
because it's
good
starting
luck.
a bit later.
Yeah, so good luck with that one. We'll be live as always. Kvyat and Giovinazzi, 13th and 14th at the moment, still battling it on.
You must love the Australian Grand Prix.
Yes, I love the Australian Grand Prix.
Well, Kellyanne went all the way out there to Melbourne, and
I hate having to get up early.
Yeah.
and the only thing she came back with was some of the gravel off the track
It's in a box.
for
We made a joke
for Josh.
about
Yeah.
how the session can't start.
Yeah. It didn't start, did it? It got called off for coronavirus. She flew out there for this
Yeah,
year's
my
race.
sister was out there as well, and
Got back just in time.
she got back just in time. Yeah, and
2 seconds. Giovinazzi is closing on the back of Kvyat, but not going to make a move this time. These two seem to be just backing off and just sort of leaning each other around the circuit.
So what
With
happened when I was gone?
Nothing.
nothing. When in the spread with science, just the transponder just stopped.
Yeah.
Did he have?
Starts going wrong now.
Yeah, it's gone wrong on the side. Vettel's almost spun at turn 1. So Vettel as well having problems. We heard he was having trouble controlling the car. Bottas versus Leclerc now for the last points-paying position. It's Turkey all over again. Trying to go side by side as well. Can they keep it through? Not this time. Bottas has the DRS on the run-up towards turn 4. Leclerc knows it, but I don't think Bottas is close enough for a manoeuvre this time.
Ramos says, what do you think of the Australian Grand
Oh,
Prix?
sorry, that's Megan's phone going off. Oh, it happens to Neil Hodson, it happens to us, gone.
Being moved.
Of being moved
To
to
night
the
time.
nighttime.
Just an
idea
idea.
of being floated around. I would like
I
that.
wanted that for years. I wanted the
Yeah,
Australian
but
Grand Prix.
what about the 130,000 Aussies and that want to go watch the race? They would rather it to be in the day, surely, because.
Yeah, well, I would like it as a night race from my point of view.
If I lived there, I wouldn't want it to be.
It's
just-
in the autumn, isn't it?
So
It's
a
in
late
the
summer, early
Australia's late summer, early autumn.
Here comes Bottas on Leclerc coming into turn 11. Not going to make any move there. But just quickly, we have a statement from the FIA about Romain Grosjean. The FIA advises that an incident occurred during the opening lap of the 2020 FIA Formula 1 Bahrain Grand Prix today, involving car 8 Romain Grosjean. The driver was immediately attended to by emergency and medical crews. The driver self-extracted and was conscious at all times. He was taken to the medical centre before being transferred to the Bahrain Defence Force Hospital by helicopter, where he was undergoing further evaluation. Updates will be given when further information is available. That's all we have at the moment on Romain Grosjean, as Valtteri Bottas passes Charles Leclerc for the last pointing position into turn 1. Leclerc's going to try and fight back, but Bottas secures that inside line. And I don't think Leclerc can fight back at this point. So it's all looking good.
Yeah, I feel that that's
Great news, yeah.
great news, but you know what we expected. We know that Roman's got some broken ribs,
Yes.
and he's got burns to his hands and his ankles. Those boots, as we were saying, they're
like socks,
whereas
yeah.
the suit underneath the race suit is fireproof, but you still get the heat coming through in that sort of situation. Ask Jos Verstappen.
Yes, Jos Verstappen had that incident in 1994, didn't he? Actually, I think that's the last time.
Yeah, he hasn't got wrinkles around his eyes; they're burns.
Yeah, they're
Jos has got those above his eyelids and that. The only part that the Flames could get, that was because of an incident where during refueling, when
Thank God that's not there anymore.
that was very dramatic as well.
I tell you what though, I'm gonna be interested to hear what Martin Brundle, David Croft made of the incident, because of course we're watching the commentary and commentating at the same time, so we never heard what Sky said. I'd be interested to see it back and hear it with live commentary from other broadcasters, especially from Channel 4 later on as well, whether or not they show it or not. Or do
Well,
a
I
voiceover.
do listen to the others. I listen to this back as well.
Yeah,
And,
we all do. Yeah.
I listened to the other broadcasters to see what they did.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to be intrigued to know. I think Crofty would have gone silent
I think everyone went silent. Yeah.
after initial,
Shock.
like us,
Shock and silent, yeah.
high and then low, because he would have realised.
It was a big one.
Murray taught everybody well
He quiet,
that
yeah.
if you react to the incident, and then if there's certain things you realise, like when the TV cameras aren't showing it, that was what happened with Anton.
Yeah, it's
Anton
serious.
Hubert, when he died, and we were very lucky, but they all thought that Roman died today. There's no doubt about it.
Everyone, we got very, very lucky today.
The emergency transponder that is on the drivers themselves would have hit an alarm.
I think
big
it was.
time.
It must have been over 100 G. That's a big accident.
Yeah, and the one on the car, as Josh said earlier, instantly triggers a red flag if it cuts itself off.
Because it thinks that it thinks there was no pulse.
Yeah.
Because they've got biometric gloves on. Of course, the gloves are on fire. So it cuts off the pulse transmission to the stewards. So it triggers the red flag automatically.
Yeah, automatically trigger it.
That's why if you see the accidents, like with Anton Hubert, as you said, it was an automatic red flag because the pulse had gone.
That was the thing yesterday. I know people think it was strange. Here's a replay of Lewis.
Now this is just a look at the tyres. He's graining on the front left.
He's graining there, yeah.
Vibration again.
Yeah, that's why, Lewis. It's the front right.
Yeah, front right and front left, both of them. And that's a line appearing now in the middle of the tyres. You suggested last time out. No, it looks like it, doesn't it? You suggested that line on the tyre in the middle that you saw back in Turkey.
It's to do with the camber.
Yeah.
It's self-inflicted, that one.
Yeah, as Kvyat in the pit lane.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, a lot of people said, was it an overkill with Sainz yesterday when he stopped on the track? But the point was, Michael Massey had no choice because the car was sideways.
Yeah, and it was
it's
in a
the worst
position,
part. It's what killed Antoine.
Oh, problem on the rear. Max Verstappen's come in the pit lane. He's put on and used a hard compound tyre, but the rear jack failed. It wouldn't put him down. All wheels are connected, but he lost 2 seconds. It was 5.1. Albon comes in the pit lane again. We've got a mechanic running down the pit lane. Now that's not allowed either. You're not allowed to cut across it. But Perez has taken second place.
Actually, I think it was an FIA delegate.
It looked like it, yeah, Formula One person.
From this weighing station, Megan.
Hold on.
I'll just say from Hamilton, the tyres aren't great on our radio.
I've just seen Kvyat go out on Okay, when he was driving out, I saw the back. I saw the rear vibrate as well as the back wing.
Is it on properly?
I don't think it is.
Well, he's on hard tyres at the moment. So
it was vibrating way too much. It was like...
Renault getting ready for their...
It's Ocon.
It's Ocon, yeah.
Ocon into the pit lane. And they've got a problem on the front left, it looked like this time. It wouldn't go on again. 3.4 seconds. It's just a few fractions.
Look at this is what we're talking about. The camber is with the way the wheels bend in or outwards to get maximum track onto the road. And the Renault there is running quite a lot of camber because this is a circuit that bends inwards.
Yeah, race leader in.
It's not flat. It does bend inwards.
Yeah.
It's quite a few of the...
Well, Hamilton comes into the pit lane, puts on a hard set of tyres. That's a good stop, so he had to get off those tyres. We heard it on the radio a couple of minutes ago. He was desperate to get off those tyres. He's got 23 seconds to Perez. Perez may as well box now and keep it out, but he's going to go through and catch up. Is he going to take the lead, actually, from Hamilton? Hamilton's coming out of the pit lane now. Perez is much faster behind him. Hamilton has the position coming into turn one. Perez senses an opportunity here to get through. He's done 15 laps on those tyres. He's good to the end of the race, but Hamilton's on brand new ones.
Once you don't get Lewis on that first little corner, you've lost him.
He's trying desperately, isn't he, though, Perez? Were you going to say something, Megan?
No.
Okay. I just thought I cut you off there talking about Verstappen.
I thought she was about to say something as well.
Yeah.
I'm just watching intently.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on where the Kvyat seems to be circulating. So the car seems to be okay with the rear tyre. The gap now 0.9 of a second. So Perez has got tyres up to temperature compared to Hamilton and will be in the DRS zone in just a few seconds' time. So we'll keep an eye on whether or not he's going to go for a move into turn number 11. He's getting very close, isn't he?
Yeah,
DRS
but he's
isn't open.
already
1.4.
it goes from 1.3 to 1.4. The gap between Lewis and Perez.
So he's outside of that gap position. So already he's lost it.
Perez, how can this guy be out of a race seat?
Out of seat next year, yeah.
You know, the guy is challenging the best of all time at a race and can't get a drive for next year.
For the second one running as well.
Yeah, and I just feel someone's got to give him a good drive.
I think Red Bull are going to sign him. I honestly do. Perez seems to be very close with Red Bull at the moment.
The rumours until Friday were very strongly that Alex was going to be getting another 6 months.
Well, that'd be interesting.
Perez
So that'll at least
going
that'll take it to mid-season next year, won't
Yeah.
it? So Perez comes in, good spot from Megan. As Verstappen does a 1:32.663, the fastest lap of the race. Not close enough to Pedro Della Rosa's race lap record. That's a very slow in for Perez, wasn't it? They pit lane at an angle almost. Taking it a bit carefully. No, Norris. Yep, Norris takes third. Sainz coming out ahead. He'll take fourth. So McLaren onto the podium here in Bahrain.
But they had to pit Perez. In the first half lap, Lewis had got 1.5 seconds on him on these new tyres. So you had to pit him.
Renault responding. Ricciardo comes into the pit lane as well. So they're going to try and undercut Perez as well at the end of this strategy. The McLarens have not come in yet. So this is going to work out brilliantly for Renault and Racing Point because now they've forced McLaren's hand. Norris is on mediums, so is Sainz. But Perez and Ricciardo have gone on to hards. They can push now into the remainder of the race. So now McLaren need a safety car to get a free pit stop, and they might get it. The two Renaults going side by side, coming through the back half of the track. This time Ocon staying ahead of Ricciardo. Down now towards turn number 4. Renault side by side. Ocon has the DRS, going to hold the inside line, and he's going to hold it a lot. And Ricciardo tries to cut back. Not going to work out this time. Down through the dunes. Holding it through. Takes a little bit more curve through turn 4 that I'd like to see. And this time I think Ocon's got it done. So they were nearly coming out in position. And now Ocon is on 2-lap-old hards. He's pitted. Ricciardo on new lap hards. So they're racing for position. And surely they need to back off just a little bit.
I think they're enjoying themselves as well.
A little bit, yeah. You can tell just a little bit they're enjoying it. Keeping it up with pace.
It's nice of Renault to allow this.
Yeah,
because this is what the supporters and the people watching.
Oh, Perez passes Sainz
For the first time, want to see. They want to see things like this. They don't want to see the choreography of team order like there was earlier in this race. 1 point separates them at the moment because Renault only getting 1 point with Ocon. Ricciardo getting no points at the moment, so they must gift it to the one who's just ahead in the Drivers' Championship. That must be Ocon. I thought it was Ricciardo going into this race, but who knows? But that is Perez splitting the two McLarens. He's gone up into 4th place. He's past Sainz. Perez on those much fresher hard tyres. Here comes Ocon defending late. Ricciardo goes right round the outside into turn 1. Well, it seems to be turn 1, 2 and 3. Teammates galore. Mercedes did it in 14. Ferrari did it in 19. Renault doing it in 2020. After double DNF last year, they're racing in the desert as Ricciardo sends it round the outside of Esteban Ocon for 10th place. So now they're racing for position, and now Ricciardo says, I'm number 1, not you. And at last, Ocon finds his mojo.
Yeah, can finally get back in and now start fighting back again. It's only lap 90. It's lap 90. It's lap 39 and 57.
Feels like lap 90.
Well, we've got 89 laps coming next weekend, we're being told. They've increased it from 87 to 89 laps.
The fact that it's in the 80s is bad.
It's about 55-second lap times, so it shouldn't take that long. There was the manoeuvre again of Ocon getting out ahead of Ricciardo in the pit stops, and Ricciardo fighting back into turn 4, right round the outside. A lovely move.
Next weekend, you're taking a lot of the corners out, Megan.
Yeah, you've only got this. Pit lane for Norris. They're putting him on the hard tyre, so I told you to have to respond. Meantime, Albon passes Sainz. They should have double stacked the McLarens. It's going to lose them a lot more time. Sainz will have the DRS, though, at the other half of the circuit. Trying to go back through. Sainz pulls to the outside line, goes off the track. Oh, so close to all four wheels off us. Keeps it back through. Bottas goes to the pit lane, puts on the mediums to the end of the race. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'll double check. I think he didn't have a set of mediums left, so I think he might be on a new one. No, he had one new set of mediums. He used that a couple of laps ago. Yeah, he did. So he's on used
Both
set.
Renaults now have points.
Yeah, he's on a used set of mediums now. Is Bottas his second
Renault both
one?
in the points, as Megan pointed out.
And we just heard box from somebody as Albon is on a replay now. It was Bottas between told box.
I thought it was Bottas.
This is Albon going to the inside and getting ahead of Carlos Sainz for 4th place. Again, that's looking a little bit better. And Albon's coming into his own, as you were saying. He's just getting there. He's looking like he deserves 6 more months to try and get it.
Alex's problem is that he tries too hard. He overdrives that car. And whereas Max is overdriving it and overperforming in it.
Yeah.
Right? Alex just can't. They changed the front brake bias, and
suddenly it worked.
Suddenly it was, and they adjusted the front wing to do something totally different to what Max has got, and he's had better results since. But it also makes the car a little bit more unstable.
Oh, Sainz comes into the pit lane, but like many of the cars today, has a problem on the rear right. So that took him 3.9 seconds, and it was a late drop with the what looked to be new air jack on the McLaren there. It seemed to pop up.
Christian didn't seem that bothered when he wrecked £1 million worth of car the other day.
Albon, on Friday.
Yeah. It's as if they understand that
You saw it. He crashed into the wall.
He crashed into the wall. It wasn't as anywhere near as bad as we had in today's.
With Grosjean.
It could have been. You know, all the left-hand side of that car was absolutely... No, the right-hand side of that car was absolutely destroyed. But there seems to be an admission at Red Bull that some of Alex's problems are actually of their own doing. Because the setup was very similar to what Max wanted.
Vettel pits down from 16th place as well, so Russell's in as well. So a bad day for Vettel keeps going as Leclerc sends it round the outside of Lando Norris for 6th place. No, it's Carlos Sainz for 7th. Apologies, the computer's getting it wrong. So Sainz is side by side with Leclerc down towards turn 11. Breezes past with the DRS. Leclerc's going to try and hold it though round the outside, both on the hard compound. Not going to work off this time. Back to you.
What they did was they're going back to Alex.
Yep.
Right. What made them realise that it might be them was the fact that Pierre couldn't make this car work either. I was complaining of the same things. They realised that Pierre and Alex were complaining about the same things, and then they took it seriously when Pierre won that Grand Prix in Italy.
And they realised
that hey, the guy's a good driver.
Yep. Leclerc comes into the pit lane from P8. That's going to promote the two Renaults back up into the positions of points. But they'll be on, as I said, Leclerc will be on fresher tyres. As you say, the race has come alive a bit early.
Yeah, a bit earlier than it normally does. But could that be the fact that these lads are getting their mojo back after seeing one of their friends really, really, really lucky to survive?
I was about to ask you both, is this an effect of the red flag? We had
it's adrenaline.
Yeah, it's come back to them, hasn't it? Because it's now 25 minutes they spent just sitting around. It's also a question I forgot to bring up in the red flag. They take a lot of fluids on board during the race. How many of them are desperate for the toilet right now? Because they take a lot of the fluids on to keep them going, don't they?
I don't know.
Well,
I think we should all wear nappies, to be honest.
Well, as Johnny said...
Raikkonen pits, by the way.
And Jensen said, when that happens, you just feel for the people that have to clean your seat.
Yeah, if you got to go, you got to go. Last thing you need to on your mind is a bladder.
They should wear nappies.
I think one of the drivers did at once in a 24-hour race. I can't remember who, though.
Dill used to put because the drink gets hot.
Yeah.
And Dill used to put tea in it.
Yeah, cold tea.
Cold tea in it. So that by the end of the race, he's having a nice cup of tea.
Hot tea.
So the car's
and he wasn't joking.
like a kettle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't joking.
Yeah, not kidding. He had hot tea in it.
Famously...
What do you got in there? Oh, I just made myself a cup of tea.
Yeah. Well, it was tea, yeah. The drinks bottle isn't drinks bottle, it's a bag.
Famously, Kimi, right, Doesn't drink during the race.
Yeah, he has no water bottle. He hasn't had one for about 3 years.
Yeah,
I don't blame him, to
refuses
be honest.
Yeah, he doesn't see the point. And that's why I don't think Bottas has one either at the moment. I'm not too sure. He might put it back on.
Yeah, but definitely Kimi.
Yeah.
Kimi famously hasn't had. That's why we used to make up those stories that he used to stop at McDonald's and get a drink. And
Yeah.
He obviously
one
doesn't want to
constantly.
go to the toilet.
No, it helped. I think that's what he does. Raikkonen doesn't need it. He's so focused on the driving. It's usually only 90 minutes.
Yeah, he
but
doesn't realise.
well, we've just clicked over 3 hours of broadcasting for us. I think I need a drink. We've just got 15 hours to go.
3
I
hours,
don't.
Megan. Overtime.
I must be really like Raikkonen because
Megan,
I hadn't had drinking hours and I
This
don't
is
need one.
seriously going to damage Joshua's bank balance, isn't it? Overtime.
You're massive with the red flag. Extra 1 hour, 25 minutes. We will have a Sunday race review show, but unfortunately we don't have time to broadcast that tonight. So the Sunday race review will come out tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock UK time.
You
Join
have
us for
no
that.
idea how happy I am.
Yeah, well, you don't film it either. I film it. But we don't have time because we have to
Yeah,
go
we
off
used
air
to
quickly.
in the summertime. When in the races either side of the summer, we used to get the table out and go
Yeah.
outside into the carport. And
Then it got cold.
It's freezing out there, so we have to do it in here. But
Also dark.
we're running out of time.
yeah, but we
for
used to do it
getting
in
done.
T-shirts, didn't we? I used to use my Silverstone
Oh,
T-shirt most of
2
the time.
seconds. Leclerc's going for a move on Giovinazzi for 11th place. That was a breeze pass in the end for 11th.
Now I've got my fisherman style jumper on. So if people think, oh, he's always got that jumper on, it's because it keeps me warm. I've got different T-shirts underneath.
Personally,
Yeah, every day, yeah.
But
personally, my favourite season is winter, so I own a lot of jumpers.
2 seconds, going to have to stop you because here comes Bottas with Ocon. This is crucial for the Constructors' Championship for Renault. Bottas lunges up the inside very late into turn number 1 and gets back ahead. Ocon surely can't fight back, so that's Ocon down to 10th, and that's even more disastrous for the Constructors for Renault. But hello, Bottas is coming under pressure, has to defend. Ocon's fighting back, but backs out into turn 4, but might get the toe at the exit down in the June section. It's for a move on turn 8. Doesn't look like it's going to pay off this time.
Valtteri, though, is a fighter.
Yeah.
And you know, remember him at Williams? The moves he put in.
Talking
And
moves.
he was very Kevin Magnussen, wasn't he?
And Vettel gets past Magnussen now for 15th place. So Magnussen, I don't think is going to fight back too much.
He's very good at making that Mercedes wide. But what happens also is that he makes that Mercedes look very wide.
Yeah.
And that's good. He's blocking him. But then he takes the line wrong. And that's when you've got to take your chance with Bottas, isn't it?
Keep them all going, keep them on track. This is how Vettel got through. So Magnussen ran a little bit too wide coming out of the last corner, and Vettel had the DRS. I'm not sure we need a replay of this, to be fair, when there's much more exciting action going further up the track. I think the stewards have realised that because we just missed the overtake as Gasly's past Norris. So Gasly's up into 5th place now, as Norris is now going to try and fight back up the hill to turn 4. Has a DRS activation zone. It's so much faster down this straight. Norris pulls to the outside line. Gasly has the inside line, and Norris sweeps off and gets the manoeuvre.
The
done.
West Country boy is doing it for us, isn't he? He really is pulling off some nice moves on that circuit today. It's as if he's gone back 5 years, and he's in his Ginetta, you know.
And I think we all like him in a Ginetta. I remember him fighting with Sophia.
You could hardly see him over the steering wheel when he was 13.
And that was it. That was Russell saying. Russell says he wants to go pack hunting. Well, he's got Vettel just behind him, lining him up for a pass as well.
Yeah, but you know, he's in a good position for Williams.
Yeah, 14th.
And Latifi has been lapping quite close to him.
He's behind Magnussen, and I think he's going for a move. There he is. Latifi passes Magnussen.
At that time.
Yeah, for 16th place. Magnussen's going to try and hold him, though, side by side down through turn 2. Latifi got the power on just a little bit earlier than Magnussen, and it compromised Kevin's exit. But he has the DRS open now, up towards turn 4.
Kevin is in shock, remember.
Yeah.
He's very good friends with Roman.
All the drivers were shaken with that one.
Yeah, I know. But
yeah,
when
Kevin
it's
is
your
your
teammate,
teammate,
DC talks about when Senna was killed and the sheer shock.
Well, thank God that we
DC
avoided
actually has
today.
the T-shirt that
Senna,
Senna
yeah.
did the interviews before that race.
With Murray.
It was still hung up the next race weekend.
Yeah.
So DC has got it in a frame.
That they didn't take Barcelona raced, didn't they? They didn't take Senna's truck to Monaco, so it went straight to Barcelona, and that's where it was.
Where
He
it
said because
was,
he did
so what?
testing, didn't he? Because DC had to test the car to get ready. Mansell came back a few days later as well.
Yeah.
So we're watching Vettel closing in on George Russell for 14th place at the moment. Hamilton has kept a 5-second gap all race to Verstappen. And it
Thankfully,
keeps going
though,
through.
we will see Roman, not this season, and possibly never again in Formula One, but we will hopefully see him racing
WEC,
when he
yeah.
gets his recovery fully in WEC, because I think that's where Roman was going, because Roman has been making mistakes for 5 years.
Yeah, I think he's off to
But
WEC.
today,
Oh, hang on,
I feel
Raikkonen.
it was a mistake of the car, not of Roman.
Wasn't Roman's fault today at all. As Raikkonen passes Magnussen for last place, so that's Magnussen down to 18th at the moment. And if that is Grosjean out of the season, then it's a question of who's going to fill his seat.
Hülkenberg.
Yeah, it would be Hülkenberg, wouldn't it?
Would have been strange, wouldn't it? It would have been a Brundle situation if Kevin's going over to America, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because if he'd have gone into WEC, is it WEC where he's, or GT, that his father is still?
Jan Magnussen's in WEC, yeah.
Yeah, WEC. So you would have had father and son in WEC, and
Maybe same team.
in the Le Mans series, we've had that with Martin Brundle and Alex.
Yeah, the two.
Albon, rears are gone.
So Albon's complaining in 4th place that the rear tire's gone. How many
Oh,
laps
what a
has he
shame,
done?
because he's
11.
11 laps from the finish.
Newcastle won super.
No,
Hi.
yeah. So hang on. He's done 11 laps on those tyres, and they've got to go 22. Hamilton's the same, so Hamilton's tyre's gone as well. Hello.
Good result for Newcastle, England last night.
Pit lane,
Or was it the night
Verstappen.
before?
Verstappen pits from 2nd place. He's got 25 seconds to Perez. The question is, can Perez light him up? Now, into the box. This is going to be a super stop. They're putting on used mediums for Verstappen. That's going to be brave going into the last stage of this race. Where is Perez? He's coming across the last corner now. And Verstappen emerges from the pit lane with Perez bounding him down in towards turn number 1. I think Verstappen's just got this one covered.
I think they're from the start of a race because it says that there's.
Yeah, they are. They're the ones who started the race on, aren't they? So yeah, they're the 4-lap old ones he started the race on before the red flag came out. Yeah.
New.
Was that yeah?
They're effectively new.
Yeah.
Because there's a Newcastle in Australia, you
Yeah.
know, because that's where Grandad used to live.
You're right, Megan. They are the tyres.
40 miles outside Sydney.
The 4 changes of tyres we've had in today's race because of the red flag, and everyone could change over.
I think anyone predicted that.
No, I didn't. No one predicted the red flag. Everybody was a bit shocked with that one. As well. And that's Perez looking to the inside. That's to get through a lapped car.
Yes.
I'm happy. I'm so happy Roman is good and alive. Says Newcastle 1.
Aren't we all?
Sugar. So yeah, I completely agree.
It
Miracle.
was amazing seeing him, the pictures of him emerging, and the doctor
In Roberts.
helping
Something you would
him out.
see in a movie.
Yeah, I must admit that is.
As Megan
moment of
pointed
the year.
out, that the pictures showed how long Roman was. It seemed a lifetime that Roman was in those flames.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Later, I'm going to time it.
I think it was about 30 seconds. I think somebody did time it for me. It was 30
Yeah,
seconds.
because he's got to unbuckle the belt. And
Kvyat.
then the thing that's helped
And the belt will
helped
be
him.
hot.
Oh, Kvyat moves over on Giovinazzi, goes around the outside to turn 1, then puts the car in the middle of the track and brake checks Giovinazzi. Giovinazzi has to
Then he's
lock
got
up his
that
own tyre.
Yeah.
Kvyat seems at the moment today to want to battle everybody because he nearly caused a massive accident just then with Giovinazzi.
As Megan pointed out, he had to undo the belt, which would have been hot.
Yeah.
Then he had to get his neck brace off.
He had to go near the flames with his hands. I think
To
that's
where
where.
he's
take the
got the
neck
burn,
brace
yeah.
off.
Yeah.
He had to take, the thing that comes, the goes round. Lewis famously, it came loose.
Oh, the headrest, yeah.
The headrest that comes round the car, that was after the race, after the stoppage. You saw
it,
the
yeah.
pictures. You saw that.
Yeah.
He'd clearly taken that off. And
The halo
and
was
then
used-
he
yeah.
must have used the halo to actually get out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lucky,
he did.
if the halo wasn't there, he would have been dead.
It reminded me of a crash.
Niki
of the crash
Lauda,
from
yeah.
Niki Lauda, yeah.
Yeah,
And it could
someone
have
had
ended
to-
up that way as well.
Reminded me actually at the time.
He was unconscious, and didn't he have to be rescued?
Yeah, by John Watson.
John
and,
Watson, that was it.
Another driver, I think Beltras?
Yeah, and Baltras.
I think it was Beltras, yeah. Science. Hamilton's saying the team's just told Hamilton the tyres won't last to the end, and Hamilton has said, let's hope for a safety car. So Hamilton's in trouble. How do you think his tyres are going to last to the end of the race?
Yeah, well, he's won a race this season on 3 wheels.
But he's got 26 seconds to Verstappen. He's got a pit stop window there if he wanted to.
Yeah, he needs to try and eat out a bit more to make it safe.
Yeah, but he's on, as Megan said, Verstappen now on new tyres compared to
And the
Hamilton.
fastest lap for Verstappen.
What is it? A 1:32.014.
Yep,
So
purple
even
all the
quicker.
way.
Yeah. And Hamilton's got to respond. He has to. Otherwise, he's going to be left in the
Here's
dust.
the
There he
fastest
is.
lap, 1:32.04.
Yeah, he's on 6-lap-old mediums now, Megan. So you're right. He has put so Verstappen's on the tyres he started the race on before the red flag period was brought out.
Do you reckon that Lewis has enough in those tyres to last if he slows down a little bit?
If he slows down a little, he might just have enough. I agree with that.
Slows down a
He's
little,
on
he
11
might get past.
He's on 13 laps on these set of tyres, so it's a bit risky to call.
Whichever way, we're in for a photo finish.
It seems to be, yeah. Because if Hamilton does have to stop, what tyres is he going to put on? He's used up his hard compound, and he's got old mediums, but Hamilton does have a new set of soft compounds in his arsenal, but they take a long time to heat up, and the rears wear out quicker. At 24 seconds. Hello, if Hamilton doesn't pit soon, he's going to lose that pit stop advantage to Verstappen.
He's got to pit next time.
Yeah, because Verstappen's closing him in on those mediums. That can last the distance. So if I was Mercedes, I'd box now and put on that brand new set of softs.
See, the only other thing they've done is, like we've just said, that he's got to catch him.
Yeah. And this is going to be extremely close now. Verstappen's in free air, isn't he? Yeah. Hamilton has got the clear in front of him, but he's in free air.
7 laps to go, isn't there? 50, 51, 8 laps to go.
8 laps.
8 laps to go, and
24 seconds, but catching.
24 seconds.
But if something happens,
is he gaining 3 seconds a lap?
Round about that, yeah, because he was what was he? 29 when he came into the pit lane.
Wow,
so, yeah.
we're going to have a photo finish, whatever happens.
Yeah, so whatever happens.
Like I said.
The Perez on the radio. Are you falling asleep? Wake up, wake up. Perez is having to wake up his mechanics. He thinks that they're falling asleep. Yeah, we're here, Checo. And they're all laughing at that now, watching along. Racing Point laughing and Perez saying, wake up, wake up. It reminds me of an old school song you used to sing in assembly. Wake up, shake up. Well, I think they need to do that and have a little bit of team bonding because they're not awake. As Perez is in third and stands a very good chance of taking second, but he's 9 seconds away from Verstappen, so he could get second if Hamilton has to pit. The gap now between Hamilton and Verstappen, 23.9.
Yes, all 3 of us went to the same school, but not at the same time.
Yes.
I'm still going there.
Yes,
Newcastle says he will need to box now as if Verstappen is on fresh tyres. Yeah, Verstappen closing in. He's just hearing that Perez radio again in her ears.
But I'll still be going to the same school next year, won't I?
What?
Well, I hope so.
Oh, Franklin, yeah. Just going forward again, we must...
Oh, I never went to Franklin.
No, I did.
I went to the main college.
It's basically the same thing.
Quickly,
okay then.
the gap now, 23.3 seconds. So Verstappen is inside the pit window of Hamilton. So Hamilton has got to box this lap and just fight because he's losing time.
Yeah, he is. This is looking more like a Red Bull race.
Yeah, it's the strategy calls, isn't it, from Adrian Newey, Christian Horner.
Driver of the day.
Grosjean's been voted driver of the day, and for once, don't disagree with that one bit. Driver of the day. I think, actually, I'm adding to that, Dr. Ian Roberts and Alan van der Merwe. They're drivers of the day for me. For what they did, that was fantastic. On the opening lap of this race, when the red flag came out.
Well, we can give them...
The kids are all good. Perez has just been told in the ears, the kids are all good. That's the mechanics. So the kids are all good. As here comes Carlos Sainz closing in on Gasly into turn 1. Gasly goes defensive. Sainz senses an opportunity to send him around the outside. Into the first corner, not making a move. Sainz going to try the cutback, which compromises the exit of turn 2 to get a better run up the hill. It's worked out perfectly this time for the McLaren. Sainz up into 6th place. That was textbook and something I've been saying should have been done all weekend long. And Helen and Becky like that one in the McLaren garage. Brilliant. That's maximum. That is now points on the board that closes them up to Renault and Racing Point in the Constructors' Championship. That was textbook, look. So he comes into turn 1. He already has the DRS. Knows that Gasly's gone defensive. So he compromises the apex at turn 2 by going wide. You get a straighter line through 3. And you get the power down earlier to open up the DRS to escape. Perfect overtake from Sainz. I think he's been watching our coverage.
Yeah,
to do that one.
That's another example of the McLarens in the last 2 races coming so good in the last third of the race. So, what have we now? Lewis is in trouble on his tyres.
Sorry, quick question. Newcastle there, yeah, we're watching it on Sky and broadcasting it back. So it's Sky Sports F1.
So we've got Lewis on these tyres that could last out, and if anyone is going to do it, Lewis is going to do it.
21.9.
And Verstappen is 21 seconds behind, nearly 22 seconds behind.
I'm not sure now.
That's not enough.
No. They need... Safety car would help them, but this late in the race, it would probably end under the safety car. So we're getting to the stage where Hamilton's safe enough just to risk it.
Is that Ricciardo's wing? Has it had a touch?
It looks like it's a bit of end plate damage on the front wing there, Ricciardo.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Just on the inside, look, because it's got one of them missing. As one of the arrows get blown up. Yeah, something's off on Ricciardo's car. Just underneath. 5 to go. 20-second gap.
Yeah, he's got it. He just stay out, Lewis.
Verstappen is closing in 5 seconds.
The only thing is you've got to worry about the old. It's a very abrasive track with its Shrewsbury actually.
Same tarmac as in Silverstone.
The stone that's in this tarmac comes from Shrewsbury.
But it's the same as
in Shropshire.
It's the same as the track type that's at Silverstone, and we all remember what happened there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a very abrasive track for you to with your tyres gone. But
it's 18 years old.
You don't know whether or not Lewis is saying. Well, never.
Yeah, if he's saying, is it
we
safe
have
enough?
We have a motorway around here that is 28 years old. With
concrete, isn't it? Yeah.
Concrete and makes a noise, but still as good.
Doesn't make a noise in the Chevrolet. I just like to point out. Don't hear a thing.
Don't you? That's unusual.
Yeah. Oh, when we came back, there was nothing. Just being told in our radio, the gap that they're going to predict between Verstappen and Hamilton on the last lap will be 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, I used to drive a Chevrolet, and now your mum's got a Chevrolet.
So we're understanding that Verstappen might just catch Hamilton if the pace continues, but Hamilton is responding with some fastest second sector times. They've gone green at 2 points, so Hamilton might just win this Grand Prix.
So in IndyCar, we actually support the Chevy drivers.
Yeah, has to really.
Who are your favourite drivers?
We try and remain impartial. I do.
I'm not gonna.
I have one very favourite driver, and the way I react to things, Lewis is the thing for me. I love the way some of our young Brit drivers are driving, even though they're driving at the back or at the front.
Russell and
Albon.
Hang on, failure on Ricciardo. There's massive sparks coming off the track from Daniel Ricciardo, and it looks to be okay now. It looks like the floor's collapsed. Megan.
Well, overall, Alonso. My actual favourite driver who's in right now is actually having problems.
Has she ever Russell's moved up the order. Fire, smoke, racing point. Something's off the back. It looks like the engine's gone.
It's all happening, isn't it?
Looks like the engine's gone on this of Sergio Perez because he's stopping. Perez in trouble.
We're all Danny Rick fans as well.
Yeah, but 2 seconds. Perez has had a massive... But look, it's smoking again. The Racing Point's giving up. It's going to gift a podium to Albon. But he's in a battle still at the back. So, bang, bang. Bang, bang. The engine's gone. Perez is out of it.
Has it, though?
Well, it's still smoking, and it's getting worse and worse. He's dropping all around the circuit as well. And it's gone.
Now it's gone.
It's gone, and it's dropping the blue
oil. Hang on a minute.
This is it. No,
hang on, it's doing it under braking.
No, that's not under braking. It's accelerating around that.
Is that a turbo?
It could be turbo. Oh, that's exactly where Raikkonen lost it in 2004 with the engine failing. And he's got to stop it now. And it's gone. It's blown up this time. Another car. Failure.
It's on fire.
It's on fire. We've got smoke. Oh, we've got flames now. Safety car coming out again, surely. We have flames from the back of Sergio Perez. The car's on fire.
Get out.
Safety car deployed. The safety car's out already. And the car is on fire for the second time today. And, well, the Bahrain Grand Prix started with a fire. It ends with a fire. The safety car has been called. Hamilton wins the Grand Prix of Bahrain.
Yeah, because I wouldn't. Lewis, I wouldn't. This is going to take more than 3 laps.
Yeah, so Hamilton wins.
I would say Lewis, don't come in.
Yeah, Hamilton wins from Verstappen. The race will end behind the safety car. It's lap 55 and 57. By the time they catch the safety car, it'll be 56.
And I was just about to say, one of the other favourite drivers for us is Perez.
Yeah, and he's gone out now in a
Who
big...
always gives $1 million every race.
And McLaren are jumping up and down because that's exactly what they needed for the Constructors' Championship to battle up for them the third place. A double DNF for Racing Point. Stroll out. Perez out. And now this means that we see Norris fourth with Sainz in fifth. Big points for McLaren that bring them back into the title fight. The same with Renault.
That's racing, though.
Yeah,
But Albon was just like, oh, not again.
Yeah, and he's right. Albon got a face right full of it. And that looks to me turbo. I think you're right, Dad. But look, there's flames coming out even the side of the car like we saw with Grosjean. So, Grosjean's car...
Oh, is it the shiny...
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's just the reflection.
Well, Grosjean's car exploded at the start of the race, and now Sergio Perez
Now
has
they're
exploded.
awake.
Yeah, now they're awake. I think he was voicing concerns. They were pushing it. So the safety car is out, and this dramatic Bahrain Grand
Otmar's
Prix.
more worried about the fact that it's not the fact that he's lost 2 cars.
Oh, 2 seconds. Lando Norris just said there's some marshal running across the track right in front of him. He nearly hit them. Norris had to take avoiding action.
What a Grand Prix.
And they're going to pit. Are they going to pit? Well, I think the Mercedes are standing by just in case Hamilton wanted to pit. But I think Lewis just stay because the safety car's not going to come in on the last lap. I'd be very surprised if it will because, look, the field is too separated to do that.
Leclerc and Hamilton are just going like, nope.
Yet Hamilton's been told on the radio, stay out. They think it's going to be taking too long to clean up. Yeah, has to let that pass through. Hamilton's disagreeing with them, saying if they've got the gap, we should take it. But the gap is marginal. It is now because it's closing down massively in terms of the result.
Yeah, Lewis, I know you're panicking about this, but think it seriously.
You can't
You're
overtake.
not. You're going to only be travelling around very slowly.
Gasly's saying the same thing. He's going to finish in 6th where he started. Can they get that car to behind the barrier in time? Now, they shouldn't really be touching it because the red light is on, which is... Oh, they're wearing the marigold gloves. They're okay. So the car is actually electrified. The battery's failed, but they are wearing the special marigold gloves.
Yeah, but as was pointed out by Bono to Lewis, that the safety car has to let the lap cars go. So if you did, that's on the, it's not going to come in.
He's picked up Hamilton.
Yeah, Lewis is going to finish his race under the safety car. He's only got this half lap and a lap to go.
So the race will end
under the safety car.
Yeah. Well, it started with a red flag. It ends with a safety car. This dramatic Bahrain Grand Prix certainly has delivered one of the most unusual races I think I've ever seen in Formula One. A driver nearly killed at the start, lucky to survive.
I thought previous ones were bad.
Yeah, it starts with a fire, it ends with a fire.
I quite like Gasly as well. He's come on a lot.
Yeah, Gasly's better, isn't he, now, than he was last year? That's a big fire from the back of Perez's car.
It's got to be turbo, hasn't it?
That looks turbo to me. The engine doesn't explode that way. That's a huge fireball for the second.
As we saw earlier on today.
Well, let's have a look from Albon. Look, Albon could see the fire walking round as well, and he ducked out the way immediately, didn't he?
I can just hear Albon now. Oh, seriously, not again.
It's the last lap of the Grand Prix. This is what Lando was on about. Yeah, look, there's a marshal, a fire marshal, running right across the track, right in the front of Lando Norris. For the second time, we saw that back in Emilia-Romagna. There was a marshal across the track to put the fire out when he shouldn't have been crossing, when the Grand Prix was still on. It's the last lap, though, and Daniel Ricciardo, whose floor looks to collapse, by the way, will finish this race. And they're desperately trying to get that car out of the way, but it's too late. So Perez's retirement puts Albon to the podium. I'd just like to remind you. So it's a Red Bull double podium, McLaren are 4th and 5th, and Leclerc gets a point in 10th, and Russell is 12th.
Yeah, this will be a good
14th.
result for Alex.
Megan.
Getting a podium.
Can I just say, I can just hear Bottas now, just like, you're going to seriously finish this race with sparks coming out? Okay.
Yeah, he's right behind Ricciardo, isn't he?
Yeah.
But this is... Well, where are they now? They're just coming through
Otmar,
turn 4.
head in his hands.
Still on the
Everything's
pit wall.
happened. The loss of Stroll was not his fault. And we don't know what's gone wrong with this.
Whatever's happened
stop and
today,
starts that has happened today could have affected. We think it's the turbo.
Yeah.
Looks turbo.
Sounds turbo as well. Well, we do it all again in 7 days' time on the outer loop. This Bahrain Grand Prix has been crazy. We thought this one was going to be dull. We thought next week's was going to be the best one. What on earth awaits us next week with 55-second lap times?
And for Valtteri, right?
Yeah.
That's if.
Oh, and Bottas has got a rear right puncture, is being told. And it looks like he's got one as well. Look. Bottas has got a rear right puncture. Russell. So that's going to put Leclerc and Kvyat into the points, and Russell just avoids the points again in 11th.
19 points for Verstappen, 4 points for Bottas. Means that Valtteri is now under a lot of pressure from Max for that second place.
And that's going to be one to watch. Hamilton's bringing it in. Well, we seem to be gifting Lewis Hamilton race victories because every single time we've broadcast a race live on YouTube this year, he's won. British Grand Prix, he won. He won further back as well in Mugello, another red flag affected race. He won at Germany, Portugal, Italy and Turkey. But he won, of course, in Styria, Silverstone, Spain, Belgium, Italy. Then Germany, Portugal, Italy again, Turkey for his 10th win of the year. The 7-time champion crosses the line and wins a very crazy Bahrain Grand Prix.
Brilliant.
Verstappen is second, and round of applause for Alexander Albon, who will take home his second podium of the year in third place. Norris is fourth, Sainz fifth. That's even more crucial for the constructors.
Good day for Red Bull. Good day for McLaren. Good day for Lewis. Bad day for the likes of Racing Point and Valtteri Bottas and Leclerc and Vettel.
I've made a mistake. It's his 11th win of the year. I do apologise. Hungary was blotted out on my list.
Not a very good day for Ferrari. They seem to be caught up in most things. Look at the
fireworks. I've had enough of fire today. Thank you very much.
I know.
But Lewis Hamilton wins his 11th race of the year. Breaks another record again. More and more. This is Lewis Hamilton's dominant season. But thank you, by the way, for correcting me on that for Andreas. He said it's 11th win of the year. I did not see Hungary on the list.
To be honest, it's dark in here when he's only just put his glasses on.
It's dark and he can't see the notes in the box. But what a race it's been.
We have 2 lights. We should have strip lights above, but we haven't at the moment.
Yeah, that's why it looks a bit dark.
So we have 2 spotlights, and they rebound off the silver soundproofing.
And it just sort of flashes back. We can't see much. It's why usually...
It's why we're bright in the face, isn't it, Meg?
Yeah, and the TV is 40 inches, so it flickers back at us. And you two got a white light next to you as well with the computer monitor.
No wonder I look so pale.
Yes. So the fireworks go off. The safety car is still in effect. That's why the lights are still on for the SC boards. But Lewis Hamilton wins his 11th race of the year.
What time is this race finished in the UK?
It's finished at 5:15 in the UK, 18 minutes before the 2-hour cut-off.
Right, okay.
Verstappen coming in. Next week, we would have just gone green, I'd just like to point out, for the start of the Shakir Grand Prix on the outer loop.
And maybe the Incredible Hulk will be back.
I think he might be, actually.
Because, unfortunately, Roman won't be able to drive next week.
If Grosjean drives next week, I'll be incredibly surprised, but I think he's ruled out with medical.
Has to have a third car.
Oh, no, of course not. Broken ribs. He's out for the remainder of the season, isn't he? Yeah.
Has to have a third car, but whether they want to make it drive...
They might just...
Because, after all, the drivers... It would have to be somebody like the Hulk, because...
He's driven this year, yeah.
Because Mick is involved in the Formula 2 Championship.
I'm trying to think who else. Robert Schwartzman, who just won today in the Formula 2.
Yes, Schwartzman did a fantastic race today. Young Russian lad.
I'm trying to think, would they bring Esteban Gutierrez, who was driven the Haas car before, back?
Oh, that's a good point. What's Gutierrez doing? Because
he was in WEC, and that's just finished with their previous racing. So, So we'll keep an eye on who's going to bring him back.
Ant's back, isn't he? So.
Yeah, Ant's back, yeah. PDR, Paul di Resta.
I love how the only one not to hit the sign was Albon. He's just like, I'm actually taking this seriously.
Yeah.
I don't want another broken wing after what I've done this weekend.
I'll tell you what, though, that might have just secured him a drive for next year, a second podium.
Well, good. I hope so, because Alex tries. As you say, he overdrives the car. And when he just hasn't got the experience that Max has to overdrive it and deal with the mistakes.
Just trying to have a think who would fill that Haas seat, and I think Paul di Resta's a good shout because he's COVID tested and he's here, and Davidson, another good shout, but it's a Ferrari car, Ant's a Mercedes driver. Who would suit a Ferrari car? I don't really know.
It was Damien and Karoon.
Oh, Karoon Channel could do it, yeah.
Pointed out that that Alex was on grass when he accelerated.
And that's why he lost the rear,
Damon was going around the track this weekend.
Yeah.
Looking at the corners and broadcasting.
And that's what the issue was in the back, yeah.
That's who Dill is, by the way.
Damon Hill. 3 hours and 37 minutes later, we've been broadcasting so far. That included the build-up show, which was only 20 minutes.
You know, our Australian friend, jokingly said about Danny Rick, we should somehow get the Australian government to ask the Queen to make him a Duchess. Seriously, right? Why is Damon Hill only an OBE?
Damon's done loads.
Why have we got no Sir in front of not only Lewis, which we think Lewis will
happen,
be,
that would
Damon and Nigel,
but a certain other person.
Murray.
Yes.
Where's Murray?
Murray.
Would Murray really want it?
Murray would. I think he'd be honoured if Murray Walker.
Quite a few of the designers have got it, haven't they?
Yeah.
Has Gordon Murray got one?
Sir Gordon Murray, I think so.
Yeah, Gordon Murray. I'm sure he's a Sir.
I think he got one a couple of years ago, didn't he?
Then there's a couple of Williams lads, like Sir Frank and who's the other one?
Is it Sir Patrick Head?
Patrick,
I'm not sure if he's got one or not.
I'm pretty sure it's Sir Patrick.
I think it's Sir Patrick, yeah. But I must admit, I don't know
There's
why. Angie gives Lewis a big hug, and I'm delighted that we're not having a muted celebration and with the best possible outcome.
Well, I think they will.
Yeah.
I think the drivers themselves won't.
Lewis, where's your mask?
He doesn't need it. He's out of the car. He's going to put one on in a second. What a Grand Prix!
Yes, Lewis does need his mask.
We started this broadcast at 1:30.
Angie usually gives him his mask. He's got it in his hand or his hat.
Got another 20 minutes. We might have a 4-hour broadcast of the race here. I'm just thinking because we've got a bit of time to go yet. 2 punctures for Bottas. So Bottas did have a puncture when he had to pit into the safety car just after the restart, and he had a puncture on the last lap.
There's the mask.
Thank you, Andres.
I know Angie had the mask.
Gordon Murray has a CBE. I thought Gordon Murray had something. It was awarded a couple of years ago because it made the front cover, didn't it, of F1 magazine. Paul di Resta hosts the interviews down in the pen.
I think Verstappen and Ricciardo are talking.
But where are Verstappen and Ricciardo? I can't see them at the moment on the monitor.
The Halo Save Grosjean's it was
the Halo Save Grosjean. Yeah. I'd say I'm not looking for. I'm interested to go back and look what Sky broadcasting was.
Here's a surprise.
Alexander Albon, 3rd place, his 2nd ever podium in Formula 1.
Nice smile, Alex.
Took podium in Mugello, the last race that was affected by red flag. Seems like red flags are actually good for Albon, it seems.
He's such a nice, quiet lad, isn't he? And, you know, he's not controversial in any way whatsoever.
And just being heard on the radio that Norris is celebrating 4th place. And this is the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes now lead 533 points to Red Bull 274. Now, McLaren have taken 3rd place in the Constructors on 171 points. Racing Point on 154. Renault on 144. Ferrari 131. So McLaren have a big stronghold now in the Constructors.
So us Brits have got 1st, 3rd and 4th.
Yeah. And then, lucky for me, I don't
Honorary
have to...
Brit, Dan Ricciardo.
7th. I tell you what, though, I don't have to wear my Williams shirt because Russell only got 12th. He got dangerously close to the points today.
Yes.
So I don't have to wear a Williams shirt next time out in...
Great day for both of the Williams there.
Yeah, where are they? Latifi was 14th. Russell 12th. Yeah,
they really pushed it today. Maybe they heard about the bet.
So look at this in terms of the championship. Ricciardo takes up to 4th place in the drivers on 100. Perez on 100 now as well. Leclerc 98, Norris 86, Sainz 85, the same as Albon, and Gasly 10th on 71, and Stroll on 59. So now look, from Ricciardo all the way down to Gasly, and technically Stroll, the fight's still on.
We don't know who suggested that your Williams shirt from a few years ago might not fit you, Megan.
Hey, it still fits. I only got it in 2018. I wore it in Azerbaijan.
Yeah, it still fits.
Still fits. I don't know where it is.
Unfortunately, the shirt he's got on is 2 years old as well, and it does fit him.
It does.
Unfortunately.
It's a bit
Kai
better.
Abel, eat your heart out.
I know. We were discussing this on Friday, weren't we, Kai Abel's
Funny
shirts?
trousers, flowery shirt.
Yeah. I thought I'd just
You
one
just
up
haven't
him.
got different coloured socks on. Usually fluorescent.
No,
in
I
Kai's
think they're
case.
black today. Yeah, they're black.
No, Kai has
Different coloured socks,
different
yeah.
coloured socks.
Lewis Hamilton being interviewed now by Paul di Resta as well. Still no word on how Romain Grosjean is. All we know is he was taken to hospital with burns, broken ribs, and concussion, we understand. So
He is
yeah.
lucky to be alive, and thankfully he is.
Yeah.
Right? We say a lot about the fact that
Here it
he
is
should.
again.
For the last 5 years, we've been saying that he's had his day in Formula One, but no one would want that.
Oh,
Look
there it
at
is
that.
again.
Man, it ripped the
And
car
look
in
at that
half,
very
yeah.
brilliantly that
Dr.
he
Ian
managed to get
Roberts.
out of there. You can see the burns on his suit.
Yeah, it's still on fire. You can see it as well. The comments in the group chat. Pedro says the Halo save crash is nice and very scary. Hassan says, great stream. I'll definitely drop a like and subscribe. And thank you very much for that. We're back for the remainder of the season. Pedro also said, nice transmission, guys. I really enjoyed to watch the race and you at the same time. Thank you very much for all your company as well. We'll wrap up the show just after the podium. And because we don't have enough time today, we're on BBB Racing 1 on Twitch in a couple of hours' time. Just me doing the commentary for the CRL series of the Formula 1 eSports. Join us for that.
Yeah, me and Megan will probably be asleep.
Yeah,
won't
you'll
we,
be
mate?
asleep. But we don't have enough time, unfortunately, due to the length
What
of the
time?
red flag.
He's
That's
at-
9
till
o'clock.
2 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, that's 9 o'clock UK time start for the eSports.
I
And we
have
finish
a
at 2.
test, so I'll probably still be awake.
Yeah, but you can watch.
I won't be.
But so we do
Hopefully.
apologise. We can't bring you the Sunday race review show tonight.
Be on tomorrow.
It'll be on tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the evening. We'll set it as a premiere. Because of the red flag, it's delayed everything.
My usual going to sleep time recently is just 1:30.
I was
so
going to
Yeah.
say it's 1:30. I sometimes hear you moving about.
Mm.
Luckily, she doesn't do a kickboxing at 1:30 in the morning.
No, I'll wake
Although
you
it
all
was
up.
about 11:30 last night, you were doing kickboxing.
Yeah. I'd like to practice fighting.
She can kick above her head.
I can.
So we'll just run through the results quickly before we head on to the podium. These are the final results then of the Bahrain Grand Prix from 2020. Lewis Hamilton wins from Max Verstappen second and Alexander Albon takes third. Lando Norris is fourth, Carlos Sainz fifth, Pierre Gasly sixth, Daniel Ricciardo seventh, Valtteri Bottas ends the race with a double puncture in eighth place. He got lucky by the safety car. Esteban Ocon is in ninth and Charles Leclerc scores the last point in 10th. Then we see George Russell is well, hang on, let's see that as the timing screen updates briefly. Kvyat's now 11th, Russell's 12th, Vettel 13th, Latifi 14th, Raikkonen 15th, Giovinazzi 16th, Magnussen 17th, and out of the race, Sergio Perez, Lance Stroll, and I think we all know Romain Grosjean.
That is a good sign that the car has been given back.
Ah, that's good then. So, well, they can't save it, surely.
No,
Yeah.
you don't understand. If
It's
if they
it's not locked down,
FIA,
yeah.
they must have been able to work out
How it happened.
how
yeah.
it happened.
So they're giving it back, but
They have all sorts of telemetry and things like that.
we said
The worrying thing for us was it broke in half.
that's the shocking thing as well, and the way it exploded.
What, the
it's-
engine of the car?
Both of it, yeah. And I've just noticed as well, Bahraini officials have put out the wrong checkered flag. It should be the checkered flag that has got fans' names on it. That's donated to charity. They've put out their circuit flag as the checkered, so they might get a bit of
Well, with all the
sanction for that one.
confusion today,
Yeah.
that's possibly understandable.
Yeah, so they'll probably just save it and wave 2 checkered flags next weekend because it's all for charity and it's all for the COVID-19 Project Pit Lane that they still do. All the teams working for COVID relief around the world, and they're doing a fantastic job.
Let's hope that everybody around the world who's been listening to this have been able to watch the pictures as well.
Hopefully,
that your
yeah.
broadcasters were able to extend.
And hopefully, if not, you've found our coverage of the
Because
commentary very
this
useful.
has had a bit of everything, this race.
It has, yeah.
And it's shown the determination of Formula One as well. And
Onto the podium comes Alexander Albon.
our own Sir Jackie Stewart, after he lost his own teammate, pushed
Yeah.
very hard for
More safety
safety
measures, yeah.
things that have helped today. And people like Sebastian and Roman,
Yeah.
who are the drivers' representatives.
So we see Alexander Albon third, Max Verstappen takes second, And another win in Formula One for Lewis Hamilton. It is rising up at the moment. His 94th victory in Formula One. Lewis Hamilton wins for Britain and Mercedes. His 4th victory here in Bahrain. We will hear the British national anthem for Lewis. And now the German. Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes win again in 2020. The 13th win for Mercedes this year, I want to say, out of the 15 that we've had. And a big trophy.
Beautiful trophy that mirrors our own Silverstone trophy.
That's a lovely trophy presented to Lewis Hamilton. He gets to keep that one as well. And that's, don't throw this one, Lewis. Don't think it's too heavy. It's got weight at the bottom. Lewis Hamilton wins brilliantly as well. Pedro says, I hope Grosjean is okay and that he can race next week. Would be sad if his F1 career ended that way.
I don't think he can race next week.
He's got broken
Pedro.
ribs confirmed.
And it's nice to see Pedro that's in Brazil. Your race is broadcast on the TV. There should be more of that.
Yes.
There should be more national broadcasters being allowed to...
For free,
Free to air.
So, hopefully, it looks like Grosjean won't race because he has got broken ribs. They take 21 days max to repair.
Every time he breaks, it would hurt him.
Yeah, so
it's not like in MotoGP where, your hands hanging off and you can still race.
So it looks like Grosjean won't be in Formula One anymore. So
Our own local lad in MotoGP, in Moto2, raced with a broken hand last race.
Second place for Verstappen with the trophy. Third for Albon. The rose water is sprayed on the podium. No champagne here in Bahrain. But we will have it in Abu Dhabi because they've allowed it at the venue, but no Bahrain alcohol allowed here. So it's the rose water being sprayed. But Lewis Hamilton wins on a day in Formula One that we were reminded motorsport is dangerous and the hands of the racing gods were over.
We've got a Roman Grosjean is the best come up.
Yes, Roman Grosjean definitely is the best at the moment to survive that. It's certainly legendary. So, we'll be back in 7 days' time for all of the action from the Shakir Grand Prix on the outer loop at the same circuit. That's going to be a cracker, isn't it?
Yeah, keep smiling, Grosjean.
Yes.
Grosjean.
Megan? Moment of the race, and don't say the obvious.
I'm going to say Stroll crashing because I thought, seriously, again?
Yes.
Well, that's the thing about Grosjean. What you remember about Grosjean all the time, the opinion you get of Grosjean, is that he never stops smiling.
Yeah. And now
even when things are really adverse. And when he was sat in that car today, he even had a little smile then.
He did. Just a little one.
Probably
cheated. He's cheated death today, yeah.
He had.
So we're going to have to go off here.
Thankfully.
But a reminder that we're back next weekend when Formula One races into December. And we'll have Christmas full throw as well. So, Driver of the day, please. And I think we already know, we can all agree for once, it must be Grosjean, it must be Dr. Ian Roberts and Alan van der Merwe.
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement there.
Okay, fine.
You got someone else to say?
Actual race.
Actual race,
it's Perez and Lewis.
Yeah, I think I agree with that one as well.
With Alex getting a nice position as well.
Norris did well. It's been one of those races where it's been too long. 2 hours 22 minutes in the end. This race was, and it's been one of those where anything could happen.
Well, I want a break.
Yes, right. We'll go off here. Right, join us next week for all of the action. But we send our best wishes to the Grosjean family and to Romain Grosjean. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye bye from everybody.